Hello and welcome back to a brand new episode of the Pick a Side podcast. My name is Joel Moran and I'm here with River Brown, Andrew Velez, and Joe Dehls. In this episode 401. In this episode, we're going to give our top 5 shooting guards in the NBA, respond to Anthony Edwards calling out the 90s. And then for football, preseason just ended, so we're going to give our preseason takeaways, but in a better, fun format if we're higher or lower on certain teams or players after the preseason. Beautiful. And then this week in the NFL, fellas, how you guys doing?
We're doing top 10 shooting guards, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Top 10, not top 5.
Just making sure.
Just want to make sure.
That's why I looked back. I was like, did I read it wrong?
Said
No,
top 5.
10,
I was concerned. Said, did I waste a little bit of my time?
Top 5 would have been easier.
Way easier.
A lot quicker.
But we're here. Episode 401. We appreciate the love that you guys showed on episode 400.
We gotta go live.
I know that we have a new setup. I know that it was a great episode, but regardless, appreciate the love that you guys supported.
Hey, you know
that
what
you
we
guys
could
showed
do?
on that one.
What we were talking about outside, we could go live that day. If we want to do that.
No, absolutely. We should start
dope.
doing that.
Yeah.
We could do that.
So that there's a section of our YouTube on live that
Yeah. We'll
isn't-
announce that when time comes.
That's a fact. But I'm excited. Listen, this is a new chapter of Pick a Side, and it already started on a great note. So I'm excited to see it carried over into episode 2.
99 left to 500.
So close.
Cook. Episode 500, I have some ideas of what we're going to do.
What do we have for 400? We're at 50K now? The video? Video went crazy.
No,
Yes.
it's at 50 bands.
It's at 50K.
500, we should
You guys
go
went crazy.
strip at Atlantic City.
In.
Mad drunk.
Wait, so strip in Atlantic City, mad drunk.
Yes.
Interesting.
For episode
Where's the
500.
stripping occurring?
At the beach.
At the beach.
Yeah, like race strip.
Oh, naked
Race
run.
strip.
Maybe like some draws on for obvious YouTube purposes. You don't want them profanity and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So you don't want to have 4
You weren't
beefs
trying to
out
go
there.
skinny dipping in the Atlantic Ocean?
No, I don't want to get nothing to touch in that water.
I'm just more
That
concerned.
water's disgusting.
Yeah.
No, it's horrible.
Yeah.
It's like
Probably
when you
catch
see
the
people
cloud.
swimming in the Hudson River, like by the Statue of Liberty.
No, never.
This is crazy, bro.
I'm jealous of anybody that's ever went on vacation and they just get nice, clear ocean water. I've never seen that in person in my life.
Really?
No, I have not.
Puerto Rico has some nice beaches, really nice water. Obviously, you go to like Greece, the water's insane. You go anywhere European. Let me not say that because the water in France wasn't the cleanest when I went.
Caribbean islands have like nice water.
They
That's a
probably
fact,
do.
too.
I mean, that's where everybody goes to vacation, right?
Yeah.
So I would
I
assume
would
so.
love some clear, nice looking water. Like I can look through it and see the floor.
Ours is a navy blue.
Yeah, it's nasty.
Maybe.
It's like a, yeah, bro. It's
green. It's green.
Yeah.
Forget about it. It's
dirt.
green.
Yeah, it's like
It's
dirt all over.
disgusting.
I didn't go to the beach once this year.
Really? No, I went to the
I'm not a
beach.
fan of the beach.
I don't love it like other people.
Well, I guess I
love
went.
it.
I went once for Chelsea's birthday, but that wasn't like a beach day. That was just like we went and got some food. It wasn't that cold. It wasn't that hot, so we didn't like swim or anything. But I didn't have like a dedicated beach. So you get up at 9, you go down the shore,
Yeah, those be the craziest
Yeah.
days. Why are we getting up so early?
because you got to be out there.
Hate it. Out there,
When the
11
sun's at its
o'clock.
peak.
You want to leave by 1. It's like, why do we come?
Maybe this is overrated and a hot take, but I don't like going to the beach. And it's not because I'm fat. It's not because of that. I take my shirt off. I really
I
don't
do
give a
think
fuck.
the beach is overrated.
No, yeah, I don't care. I take my shirt off. I'm not one of those fat guys that's with a tank top. No,
love
no
that.
disrespect, but I take my shirt off. I hope there's no cameras around. I don't want to be photographed.
I respect
But
that.
I don't like the beach because once I get in the water, that sand gets
And you crack.
all around your body.
No,
It's hard to
doubt.
get it out.
Yes,
It's terrible.
it's annoying. I'm sitting
little
down. I got sand all over my body. And some beaches don't have showers readily available. So that's why I hate the beach. And then the car ride home is just awful. You have sand
got
in
mud
your
butt.
ass. It's just terrible.
Everybody's
This is
sleeping
terrible.
in the
honestly.
Always traffic. You go on like a
Yeah.
Saturday or something. There's always
It's not
traffic.
fun anymore.
So that's why the beach to me is a little bit overrated. I'm not really a big fan of the beach.
I love pools better. Pools are so much.
Pools are
Pool's
calm.
clear.
So
I haven't been. I only went to our pool a couple times
I
this
only
year.
went like twice.
Yeah.
Just the
Yeah,
vibes
you guys
was
didn't
there.
invite me once, so
I went maybe 4 times.
I didn't go enough to invite you.
that's a fact.
I was with things.
Things.
Things, huh?
What is things?
Things?
That didn't
Things.
sound right.
Remember what he said before the show started?
Oh,
too?
trust me, I know.
That didn't
I
sound right. I was
know.
with other people.
Ah.
Yeah.
Damn.
Pretty interesting. Good, interesting word choice, I should say.
Were you with your other group of friends?
No.
Okay.
No.
do you think
Because I
meant
remember
by
you
that?
said that you separate your group of friends by races. Didn't you say that?
Oh wow, he's straightforward about it. At least I respect that.
Kind of, sort of, yeah. Like I just don't mix. I only mix in everything, I like
Martin
to keep
Luther
good
King wouldn't like
habits.
that.
He would understand.
Would he?
Yeah, because I just feel like it's not even a race thing. It's more just a personality thing. Like you don't want to mix two
Sounds
different.
like a separate but equal type of thing, and to me, that's not all right.
Staying out of this conversation.
You should. No. It's just, like I don't want to mix.
I feel like we've extended me and Drew's friend group to y'all, and I hope you feel, welcome in there.
I wouldn't want you guys to come to that friend group. Honestly.
That's fine. You
See what I'm saying?
I'm just saying the opposite around. Like, I hope you feel like you're part of our friend group.
Yeah, I do, and I appreciate that dearly.
Well, you could tell he's part of the friend group. He's wearing glasses now. Look at him. Look at how
he wants to be me.
Shout out to Maxwell.
Yeah, I can.
This is Maxwell Brown, not River. He's not River today. He's Maxwell.
I can balance. I can be with you guys and kind of like, act the same, be the same. I wouldn't want you to come act the same, be the same as these other.
I'm gonna be me.
What is acting the same and being the same?
You don't want to know, man. It's truly brutal, man.
I was in a car with one time and your friend was speeding, but did you really know him like that? I remember you told me after you didn't really know him like that.
How much was he speeding?
Remember
crazy,
we was at Seb's birthday. It was like the cruise like on the boat, like just around NYC. And we was in the back seat and we was bumping music. And we was speeding on the highway.
That's Seb's friend.
Yeah, it was like he was like going like 100 on the highway.
100% Seb's friend.
And I was just
You were
like,
scared?
goddamn. I didn't have my seatbelt on. I'm
Didn't
always
either.
frightened if I don't got my seatbelt on.
Yeah,
Especially if I'm not the one driving.
Word.
Yeah, I'm frightened. I'm
Are you
like,
scared in vehicles?
No, not a vehicle. It's just when somebody's driving and I'm not comfortable with them.
Yeah, no.
Like I don't know you at all, and you're
wasn't
clearly
really
not valuing
Nah,
my
I
life
get
if
that.
you're
I
going
definitely
100.
get that.
wasn't
If it's
really-
someone
I
I
didn't
don't
know.
know is driving and he's going 100 plus.
Hundreds nuts.
No,
Hey,
he
but
was- he was
I
wild.
came
I know what
here.
you're talking about.
I came here with no ride, and the Uber's 150. I'm gonna take this ride.
Yeah, nah, facts.
I'm gonna take this ride, even
Yeah,
if I gotta risk it.
he's not my friend. I keep the word friend exclusive.
Okay.
Like, I don't call everybody my friend, so I'm cool with him.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's very Instagram quotey of you. I like it.
He loves his Instagram quotes.
Loves them.
I'm just a real
He
N.
posts them with his photos.
I'm a real N. So like
Yeah,
being a real
I like
N,
that.
I just,
Real N?
Yeah.
What does that mean?
I don't gotta I don't gotta say it too much. But yeah, it comes with a different type of lifestyle that I live,
So for episode 400, we're doing things much different around here.
401.
You 401. Well, after 400, the 400 era. That's what we should call it. The 400 era. You can see the set is different as well, and we know that you guys were talking about the audio, but I think that's now fixed. John, cue in here right now, and let's see how this sounds.
How are we doing, fellas?
Boo.
John, where's
You're
your
gonna show
camera,
your
bro?
face or just there we go.
Right here.
And you're
How
gonna
we
get
feeling? We
double.
switched it up. I like the other angle better, but this is what we're working with today.
Unfortunately,
And,
the other angle looked like absolute shit, the background. So even though John has his back turned
It's
to
all right.
us,
I can
it's
creep
cool.
in there anytime I want.
touch it.
Bastard.
Unfortunately, yes.
Oh,
Whoa.
Why is it unfortunate?
I think we understand why, especially with that guy.
So John is here,
Unbelievable.
and then we didn't do this for episode 400, but moving forward, we're gonna try to start looking like these productions in these episodes you see on the mainstream media. So we got some lower thirds, and John's gonna put one up right now.
Bang, right there.
It'd
John,
be hilarious
do it
if the
now.
audio was just terrible again.
So John, read out what the first lower third says, and make sure your mic is unmuted.
just if he takes, if he hurry up and does
My mic is unmuted, and the first lower third, I'm on split screen. That's where it's located. There you go.
This is our producer.
What's going on here?
This is our
He's moving the lower third around.
This is the guy. This is the guy that the comment section were begging and pleading for.
Drew, what are you getting on?
I don't know what the lower third. What the lower
getting
third?
on?
You want me to
say.
get on?
You have to read us the lower third, John. We can't,
can't
see
see
it right
it.
now.
Right,
Asking me to get on is insane work.
So read it. What does it say, John?
Pick a side now has a lower third.
I love
Yes, and then it says yay because Jess made it. Jess is
Yeah.
my girlfriend.
Way to
She
be,
does
Jess.
the graphics.
Way to do
And,
your job,
Thank you,
Jess.
Jess.
She did the lower third. So for every topic, we're gonna have that lower third. So you guys don't need timestamps. We're always gonna provide timestamps, but you could just see what topic we're on based on
That's
the
tough.
lower third.
So when did you guys decide to do this girlfriend thing?
Draft? It's been in the works.
We did it. We set it up first at Max's birthday.
Dope.
That you didn't go to.
Yeah.
I forgot why.
So I don't know what you want me to say about that.
Nice. You're in it?
Yeah, but it's kind of weird how we're making it work because some people want it to be a couples, like each couple has one team, but Dehls kind of wants each couple to have separate teams.
We could do same team. I didn't care. I just didn't think we had enough people to do that.
Now we can finesse
Because
it
I
for
only
sure.
have 5 couples in that chat or 6.
Oh, okay. I mean, I can join.
I don't mind having 2 separate teams. I'm gonna draft for my girlfriend anyway.
See, that's what I'm saying. That's why I'm
get
just
that.
like,
I need 2 cracks at it. She's gonna draft. She's a player, but I'm a coach. She's a rookie right now.
Yeah.
Right now I'm scheming up things like Tua style. Might be the end for Tua. I'm scheming up things. You got a great
She's going
season,
through the
doing
Mike
my thing.
McCarthy fantasy type situation there.
She's going through the quarterback school like Trey Lance
Yeah.
went through. We're gonna talk about Trey Lance later in this episode. I'm gonna start off the show. Dehls Hoop Grid.
Hoop grids, yes sir. So last time we did hoop
wait,
grids.
I can't join.
Get
You
a
can join.
girlfriend.
Damn, that felt.
All right, no.
That felt.
All right, what did you want me? Someone had to say it.
I heard.
Just join.
I can.
If
I
we
can
don't get
find
enough
one.
people. 'Cause
Claim-
there's a theme to
listen, no,
this.
I need
Wait.
you to put a label,
Ah, why I gotta do all that?
or at least tell us who the girl's gonna be.
Cool. I'll add somebody.
All right.
Let us know. All right. So hoop grids. Last time you guys had unlimited guesses, right? And the comment section was not happy about
They
that.
didn't like that?
They did not like that one bit. So this time around, one guess
Nah, you
per
do it.
square. A couple days ago, it was 8/24/24. RIP Kobe. We have a Kobe Bryant hoop grids for you today.
Your
The
one of your
first-
favorite players, if not your favorite player.
One of your favorite players. They don't know that. Not everyone knows that. You keep that on the low. I respect that. Everyone's a
Very
Kobe
low.
fan. Everyone's a Kobe fan. I
We said
get
it, my
that.
guys.
Yeah, he did not.
Kobe Bryant didn't come up.
at all. He didn't even get a thought. I don't think.
That's your guy. So the first column, played in the 1990s and was an NBA All-Star.
Nick Van Exel.
Cook.
We want to get a low percentage. One guess per square.
Brother, it's an all-star.
Yeah,
Not many people
it does have to be.
There is
lower
this
key.
one column is playing the 1990s, so it has to be.
What was a
recent
teammate
old
of
heads.
his?
Could be Shaq or Nick Van Exel.
No, so this first one is playing playing the 1990s, and then it's NBA All-Star. Also played for the Hornets, and also played with Kobe.
All right, let me
So,
get
like,
a quick glance at
those
that.
are the
Eddie
three.
Jones.
Could be another one. See the
Oh,
Shaq.
okay. So it doesn't have to necessarily be Kobe Bryant centric. So it's just straight up NBA All Star and playing the 90s. Van Exel might be a low one, truthfully.
Shaq is also up there.
No, but that's too
But
high.
he's gonna be
Again,
like
does
50%.
not have to be a Kobe Bryant.
what's our
teammate.
number that we got to beat? You didn't give us a number.
I feel like we should just do this and see what the numbers at
it
the
should've-
end. Because we only have one guess anyway. We can't go back and change our answers.
Point.
All right.
How many-
So, like I said,
how many
does,
strikeouts do we get? I never played hoop grid.
I don't think you
There's
get
no strikeouts.
strikes.
You just
Yeah.
keep guessing until you fill the square up.
Okay, cool.
So Nick Van Exel, that's what I want to do
I
for
like that
playing the
one.
90s.
You should put a time limit. Fuck a score. Put a time limit.
Nick Van Exel, 0.8%.
yeah, you cooked. I knew
Cooked.
That was good.
it. As soon as I saw the category, I knew it was
All
money.
right.
job, bro.
Played in the
Playing with
90s, also played for the Hornets.
Muggsy Bogues.
I was thinking
Did he
the
play? Did he have to
teammate.
play with Kobe though, or no?
No, that's what I'm saying. Does not have to play with Kobe. Right now, does not have to play with Kobe. I was thinking the player that used to play with Jordan on the Bulls.
Horace Grant.
No. He, oh my God, BJ Armstrong
He played on the
Hornets.
Okay.
BJ
He played in the
Armstrong.
90s on the Hornets.
Yeah, he played in the 90s because that was the team they played in 98.
No, that was the. Was you sure? Okay.
1.18%.
Come on.
Nice.
We're
That's
here.
good.
Played in the 90s, also played with Kobe.
See, there we go. Now
No
this is-
Hornets.
Nope, just Kobe. Played
Played
in the 90s and played with Kobe.
Did Rick Fox play with them in the 90s?
It's a good question that I'm unsure.
Vanko. That's his last name. There's nobody else with that last name. Just type in his last name.
What was it?
MEDEN.
He played in the 2000s.
Okay,
2000, 2006.
Did Vlade Divac play with Kobe?
he did.
I don't think he did. In the 90s?
You're
Really?
right.
Good
100%.
shit, Johnny.
100%.
He was.
why we keep you there.
No, I don't think he did. Because I think he was on the Lakers and then got sent to
So he
Charlotte.
got
Yes.
traded to
Yeah.
to
So
the
they
Hornets.
didn't play it together.
Interesting.
Kobe's teammate and played in the
I think in
90s.
99, 98, 97.
Eddie Jones, but I feel like that's a common name.
Yeah. Think of them bum teams. Or not the
Played in
bum
the
teams.
90s, but Kobe Bryant team. I'm trying to think of a played in the 90s, but later in their career ended up playing together.
Damn. Ryder. Did Isaiah Ryder play with in the 90s?
J.R. Ryder.
J.R. Ryder, yeah.
Checking. RIDER. There's Isaiah Ryder. Talking about
Yeah. Put that in.
0.66%.
Come
Guys,
on.
All right.
Good shit.
So this is moving away from the 90s now, so don't got to worry about it. NBA All-Star also dropped 50 plus points in a regular season game.
Malachi Flynn. Is that two?
NBA All-Star.
Oh, apologize.
NBA
Mo
Almost
Williams.
fucked up. Almost
Mo
fucked up.
Williams.
But did he play with it just Rander?
50 plus point game, NBA All-Star.
Mo Williams.
Doesn't have to, and nothing Kobe.
Valid.
Okay, send it.
Mo Williams, 1.25%.
Very nice, Joel.
Wow,
50
that's
plus
very
point
common.
game, regular season, also played on the Hornets.
Wait, say that
Say
again.
that again.
So 50+ point game regular season like the last one. This one also played for the Charlotte Hornets. Or the Hornets.
Did Steven Jackson have 50?
Who could have had 50?
Shit.
Terrence Ross never had a stop on the Hornets.
No. He had 50.
Yes, that's why that was a name that came through my mind.
I don't think Jared Wallace.
Sadiq Bey never played for the Hornets either, correct?
No.
No.
It was just Atlanta
We got to go
and
way
the
back.
Pistons.
We got to go way back. DJ Augustine, did he have 50?
Wow. I'd be surprised.
That
if he
would
had
be
50.
tough.
But this is the Hornets. Did he play on the Hornets?
He played in the Bobcats.
He did. Ooh, that
I don't
might
know
be
if
muddy
they're-
water.
It just shows Charlotte Hornets. I could put it in, pause, and see if it says right or wrong.
Okay, put it in.
This is where the comments
Please.
are going to be.
Incorrect.
Oh, okay.
Hornets franchise, dog shit.
They're young, too. That's the problem.
So scored 50 and played for the Hornets.
Yep.
Sheesh.
I'm trying to think.
If we
of a
want to
player-
skip this one, we could come back.
I'm
to
fine
it.
with that.
Has
actually.
Kemba Walker ever dropped 50?
100%, yeah.
He's just probably gonna be the
Kemba's
highest.
going to be the
We
highest.
might get like 8% with him.
Okay, let's do the other
All right,
ones.
50+ point game in the regular season. Also played with Kobe.
Ron Artest. No, that might be too high, though. I don't know if he
Scored
had
50, but also played with Kobe.
Yep.
You should try that.
Ron Artest.
I don't even know if he had 50. 50 is like a shit.
50 is a lot of points.
Was he under meta world peace?
Might be.
Incorrect.
Okay.
Nick Young.
Ooh.
Yes, you might have done it.
Nick Young had 50?
Incorrect.
I don't know.
He seems like a
I
guy
don't
that
think
would get
so.
it, right?
Yeah, he seems like a
Did
random
Julius
50
Randle
point
ever
game
have
scorer.
50?
Bad guess.
He
feel
had
like it's-
hella threes against the Heat.
I don't think
Try
he had,
it. Can you try
I
it?
don't think he had 50 that game.
Yes,
No.
14%.
No,
Nice.
too high. Too high.
No,
I
we
can't
can't, we're
ex-
done. We're stuck there.
Ah,
Yeah. Damn.
that is high.
Last time you guys got what? 25% rarity.
No, we got 20%. We got 20
20%?
rare.
We
What
got-
are
we got
at
like
now?
You're at
over-
18.
No,
You're at
I
18.
fucked us.
All right, Lakers.
I wish you didn't send it off the ripper. God.
Lakers NBA All Star.
Played on the Lakers and an All-Star.
Yes.
Gary Payton.
Okay. Hold on.
Okay, yeah, I won't do anything.
All right.
But
Until
he
it's
was an all-star,
consensus.
and
He
played
was.
on the
Yeah,
Lakers.
no, absolutely. You did your thing right there.
Karl Malone played on the Lakers.
See, this would have been a perfect Julius Randle. That is on me, gentlemen. I'm sorry.
Julius might have been.
He probably
more
would have been
picked.
high still.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Brandon Ingram.
Because these are new people playing. Like, these are young people
You're
playing
cooking.
this game.
You're 100% right.
Like, Brandon Ingram would probably be a high guess. This is just 2000s.
No 2000s.
Oh,
just
just-
NBA All Star. Lakers. Could be anybody. Could be from the
Cooper,
fucking
Michael
70s.
Cooper was never an all-star, correct?
think so.
He won DPOY but didn't have an all-star.
Kind of sucks. I'd be sick. I'm trying. That's what I'm trying.
I'm trying to get into that later bag. That earlier
Was
bag.
Andrew Bynum an all-star?
He was.
I don't think
That's
people-
not
I
a
think-
terrible
terrible.
guess.
I would guess some people are guessing that though.
Think so?
Yeah.
Theo Ratliff.
Fuck no.
He was an All Star.
He was for
He
the
was?
for the Sixers, I believe, that one year.
Do it. Oh,
Okay.
You lied. You were confident. Why did you think?
Because I watched a documentary on my flight about the Sixers and Theo Ratliff was having an All-Star
for
year.
real?
Yeah.
D'Angelo Russell.
Need you
Is
guys
that-
to
Do you
lock
think
in
that's
here.
going to be high?
Yeah. Just
Brooke
I say-
Lopez.
Did he make an all-star game?
Yes, with the
He did.
Knicks.
All right, I like that actually.
Want to go with Brooke?
Are we,
Send it.
are we
I'm
thinking
cool.
about Andrew Bynum?
Hey, more people probably guess Andrew Bynum than Brooke Lopez.
think so?
I do think
I could check both.
No,
I'll
we
check
can't.
both. I know,
Lock it
but
in.
we'll, no,
No,
we'll
I'll
lock
be-
in
I'll
one
be
just out of
interested.
It's up
curiosity.
to us. Which ones do we think?
I feel like Brooke
more
is
rare.
going to be
All right,
more
we'll
rare.
go Brooke.
Brooke, okay. Brooke
can
is
check
1%.
Quaver fine with that.
Good pick,
Bynum
good
would
pick.
have been 1.8%.
Oh, it's the
All
same.
right,
thing, same thing.
essentially, but every point matters here.
For sure. All right. Lakers and Hornets played on both teams.
John, you can help us too if you want.
I know. I've been putting these in along with you guys. There's a player who played on the Lakers and Hornets who you've mentioned, and
Jeremy Lin.
Yes, yes. Is that one going to be too high?
Possibly.
People
Lin.
love Jeremy Lin.
At this point, we're at 19. The goal is 20.
Ramon Sessions.
Ooh. He played with the Bobcats. I don't know if it would count. But
Yeah, I'm not sure because it has the Charlotte Hornets
No,
logo.
I definitely remember seeing him in a Hornets jersey.
Send it.
I don't think. No, I think he
Ramon
played with the
Sessions.
Bobcats.
Send it.
All right, let's see.
Adam Morrison too.
Oh, that
That's Bobcats.
is Bobcats.
Mm-hmm.
Fuck it.
You're right.
Sessions?
Yeah.
Kwame Brown.
Sessions 1.6%.
Nice.
Are we at over 20?
Brown, everybody know him.
20.69. I think maybe redo Randall because not everyone
Yeah.
was on board. I think
Agreed.
that's fair.
It was only me, and I sent it. We
he
didn't
did
come
kinda
to a
do
No,
Like,
I'll be
send
honest.
it.
I only heard Joel, so it was the both of y'all. You're cooked. Joel said yes. Send that in.
I did say yes.
Damn, I didn't say a thing.
I didn't hear you, Drew, but I know you're
Ramon
cooked
said
now.
Nah,
You're
it
cooked
wasn't
now.
me.
All right.
How many more do you got?
2 more. So we have the Hornets and Lakers, who we have to come back to. Or excuse me, Hornets and 50+ points in the regular season. This last one is Lakers and Kobe Bryant.
Play with the
for
Lakers and Kobe Bryant.
Kobe.
Sasha Vujovic.
Vujicic. All right, Sasha Vujicic.
Shannon
is-
Brown.
Oh,
Shannon
people
Brown.
know shit.
Yeah, that's a fact. That's
Sasha Vujicic is
Sasha's
pretty
decent.
firm.
Theo
Yeah.
Ratliff.
Okay.
Is this the Theo spot?
This is the Theo Ratliff spot.
0.15%. Cooked.
Nice.
That's the best one by far.
Let's go.
All right, you have 1 spot left. You're at 20.83%. So you can still come in pretty nice.
Can we get rid of this fucking
We
Julius?
can't. We have
I
to keep
feel-
it.
I fear you're
We have to
cooked.
keep
My
it.
God.
All right, so 50+ points in a regular season
Can
game.
we try Steven Jackson?
And also play for the Hornets. We could try it. Steven Jackson. Incorrect.
Okay.
Wow, 50 points and played for the Hornets and
Yes.
Kobe.
And trying to
No,
keep
nothing about Kobe.
It's just Hornets.
This is
Oh,
just
you're right.
This
This
is a
one we
Kobe
didn't get
themed
yet.
board. You have the Hornets, the Lakers, All-Star 90s.
Oh, Al Jefferson.
Corey Maggette.
Ooh, we're getting somewhere. We're getting here.
Did Corey Maggette score 50?
Shit,
I'm
maybe.
thinking about those teams.
Ricky Miles.
Corey Maggette.
Oh, he played for the Clippers. I'm-
Steven
Gerald
Jackson.
Wallace ever dropped 50?
Oh, good God.
I
no.
doubt it.
Jared Wallace was a 2K legend.
Reggie
defensive
Williams was a
specialist.
2K legend.
Reggie who?
Reggie Williams. Have you ever heard
Oh,
of him? He's
lefty?
a lefty, yeah.
Yeah.
Reggie
Jeremy
Williams.
Lamb.
Ooh, try it.
Yeah, I like
That's
that.
the one?
I'm with it.
If it's 15%, I'm going to throw up.
Incorrect.
Okay, then I'll take that.
I'll
I'd
take
rather
that.
that.
Let's try Al
Can you
Jefferson.
try Corey Maggette too?
Al
Try
Jefferson?
two. Try both of them.
What do you
shits.
want to do first?
Corey
Al
Maggette
or
first.
Corey? Corey
Corey
Maggette
Maggette.
first.
That's real
I
team
think he's
players.
more of a clip.
Incorrect.
Yeah, it might have been.
Al
Clippers.
Jefferson. Incorrect.
Okay.
Here we go.
Are we fucked here?
Kind of. We're going to keep going.
Just
now.
gonna have
John,
to guess
do you have
Kemba
anyone?
and get an 80%er in here.
Now we're going to wait on Kemba because
Has
we know
Nick
he had
Batum
50.
ever dropped 50?
I don't think so.
John, you got this?
I can't name anyone outside of Kemba who's dropped 50.
We
Damn,
gotta
this
think.
is
We
tough.
cannot give. We cannot. Oh, it's just 2000s, right?
No, this
No,
is everything.
anything.
Try Larry Johnson.
But this is the Charlotte Hornets.
Could it be a player who dropped 50 on a different team? Because if that's eligible,
That's
then
kind of
we
what I'm
can-
thinking too, John.
We can really pull a name here.
All right, who?
This guy act like he knows what he's saying and it doesn't have a name.
Because that's what I'm doing. I'm naming players that had dropped 50 and played for the Hornets. Or I thought dropped 50, I should say.
Did Gordon Hayward have 50?
That was who I was thinking also.
It's a decent guess.
I don't think he had 50 though.
On the Jazz, never had 50.
Could
I don't
have.
know. 50 is like an
He's had
insane
40,
amount.
I think.
LaMelo's never had 50. I know that for a fact.
Marvin Williams.
He's so terrible.
What was the name of that other? I don't know if he played for the Hornets, actually. Now I'm thinking about it.
This is the toughest one. Wow, this is hard.
Ooh, I have a name in my head. Larry Johnson.
All right, we're at the 12-minute mark right now. What time should we give you guys to?
1350.
All right. How about while we guess this one, we come up with another player that scored 50 and was a Kobe Bryant teammate?
I mean, but Isaiah Rodgers points or
Oh, I'm
Julius,
sorry.
you're saying?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
we're
yeah.
14%.
Let
Get
it
rid
go.
of him, please.
We lost.
Yeah, I'm blank on that too. I don't know a player that did that.
While you guys think of that, I'm gonna think of someone else.
Kevin Martin.
Did he play for
Did he
the
play on the
Hornets?
Hornets? I really don't know.
It was Kings,
I
Rockets,
could check.
OKC. I don't know if it's
And
Hornets.
Rockets. You said
Kevin
Rockets
Martin,
or Kings?
No, both.
Try Nick Batum.
Fuck it.
I feel like he
Fourth
didn't
quarter.
draft.
Yeah,
No, I
why
don't
the
think he
fuck?
did.
No.
But still, just Nick Batum is no.
I was tweeting that during the Olympics. Like, why the fuck is
Did you try Marvin Williams?
Brother, Marvin Williams didn't have 50. If he did, you got
Malik Monk.
Oh,
He may have done it.
okay.
He's had 40 for sure.
Is that the one we want to go with? I feel like Monk has a 50 game.
brother, we have nothing
It
else.
feels like he does.
We're not sending Kemba. I don't care.
We're not-
what
yeah,
the
we're not
fuck.
sending
We're
Kemba.
taking the L.
Malik Monk?
Incorrect.
Incorrect.
We're
That's a respectable name. I ain't gonna lie. 50.
Damn.
Who the fuck has scored 50 points?
We gotta figure out who played for the Hornets first.
if you go to the Hornets, that's where shit gets bad.
Yeah.
Miles Bridges.
I don't think he had 50.
Trey Burke.
He may
Played for
have done
Utah.
it.
He did, and he played for the Knicks. I don't
Did
think
Did
he ever
Dennis
played
Smith
for.
Jr. ever have a 50?
Oh my god.
Tony Parker never dropped 50, right?
No. Wait,
He-
but that's
Send it. I don't give a fuck. As long as it's not Kemba
I don't think he had
Walker.
50.
Tony Parker, correct. 10.5%.
I knew that shit was gonna be a nasty amount.
I mean, it's Tony Parker.
Yeah.
So rarity scores 31.4.
That's garbage.
I blame John and Drew.
Whoa.
Julius Randle.
We could have thought about it
and then
round
Tony
table.
fucking Parker.
We went through like 90 names.
I want to see what Kemba's would have been.
Yeah.
I feel like it would have been something crazy high. It's saving the screen recording first.
Great job, Dehls.
Thank you.
Yes,
Dude.
sir.
Dude, type in Kemba Walker.
Where
You should type in who dropped 50 that played on the Hornets.
He was 30? 33%.
Oh my god.
Yeah, Tony Parker was way better.
Yeah. 33
Who
would have been
scored?
done.
Yo, look up who scored 50 and also played for the Hornets, please.
Yeah, you need 50. It can't. So it could be anyone who just played for them. That's gonna be a bit harder to find. Know what I mean? It's not like 50 in a Hornets uniform. It's
I just would
you
like
had
to
a
know
couple
who
calls
dropped
with them.
50 though for the
I need
Hornets.
it.
Like,
I'm just like, bro. Has Malachi Flynn been a Raptor his whole career?
Shit.
Malachi Flynn, only a Raptor?
He's been a
the
Piston.
routine?
That's where he dropped 50 points.
Pistons, that's it. Yeah.
No, he was on the Raptors. I'm bugging.
nah,
He was on the Pistons when
Detroit when
he
he did
dropped
it.
50.
Ah, okay.
It was like late game shit.
It's okay.
Yeah,
no
he
one
was
else
only on the
watching.
Raptors, though.
Shout out to Malachi.
In spirit of keeping the fun alive, I actually do want to start with the NFL.
Let's do it.
With the higher or lowers, with the preseason takeaways. I'm really excited for this year's NFL season. I feel like we're going to get a lot of surprises that nobody's going to be predicting, like the Texans last year making the playoffs. But NFL is back, and I love it so much. And the preseason finally ended. So each of us brought in our own statements on things we want to see if each other are higher or lower on. So, Riv, I want to start with you. Off of the preseason, what are your statements that you're most intrigued by, or players' teams?
Well, since you wanted to talk about it so vividly, I'll start with my first one. It was just a trade that happened yesterday or 2 days ago. The Eagles sent out, what was it, a 7th rounder, 2025 7th rounder for Jahan Dotson. And
That was a third.
third?
I thought
It was a third
the
rounder.
Commanders
Third?
gave
It-
up Dotson and a 5 for a 3.
Okay. Well, put it like this. Jahan Dotson's on Philly. I've seen a lot of uproar from Washington fans. They're pretty upset. Like, what is, McDaniels is going to have in the weapon room, this, that, and the third. Question for you guys. Higher or lower on Jahan Dotson in Philadelphia? Do you think he could be a wide receiver 3, a low end 2, or do you think he's still going to be a bust?
He's better than their other option. Johnny Wilson was, at least in training camp, looking like he was going to be the wide receiver 3. So to throw a rookie out there who was still kind of like a project wide receiver coming out of college, Jahan Dotson's an upgrade over that. But Jahan Dotson's like long-term outlook as a wide receiver 3, I'm not super high on. I think if the Commanders, who are still searching for their wide receiver 2, are looking to trade him and they're trading him to a division rival, that makes me think they really think he has nothing going for him. Listen, Commanders haven't always been right. We know that. But my stock on Dotson is still pretty low. So I think he'll have a solid impact for Philly just because there was a void there. But I don't think he's the long-term solution.
I'm going to be transparent. I'm pretty hurt about this. Jahan Dotson was awesome his rookie season. 8 touchdowns. Did it with Carson once. I'm gutted at the idea of him being gone off the team after 2 seasons with the Commanders. And I get it, last year was definitely disappointing. Sam Howell was airing the ball out. Didn't matter if he was making a good pass or a bad one. He was just letting that thing go and never seeing that Jahan Dotson can be one of the recipients of a pass of his. And even when Jacoby Brissett went in there and stepped in, it didn't matter. Jahan Dotson was not really producing at all. So for him to get traded, especially after the reports of him not having a good camp, wide receiver 2 was up in the air, and we all assumed that it would be Jahan Dotson. It's very disappointing to hear not only was he traded, but also an in-division trade. The Commanders are so unmoved by Jahan Dotson that they were willing to trade him to a division rival. That's what doesn't sit right with me in understanding what I thought Jahan Dotson could be to what has translated into what has happened in 2024. So to me, I'm lower. I mean, I really can't be optimistic about this. Wide receiver 3, I guess that's intriguing, but also who's in front of him? A.J. Brown, fringe top 5 receiver in the National Football League. Devonta Smith, fringe top 15 wide receiver in the National Football League. You do have Dallas Goedert on that offense. You also have Saquon Barkley in that offense, who's a good pass-catching running back. There's so many mouths to feed. Where is the opportunity for Jahan Dotson going to be there for him to be successful?
I'm higher on him just being a replacement level player for the Eagles. And I think that that's exactly what they need because they don't have anybody they can trust. Johnny Wilson, you can't trust. Paris Campbell is very up and down. I think, to be fair to Jahan Dotson, his first 2 years in the NFL, he was in systems that didn't fit him. His rookie year, he played all right, but the touchdowns kind of skewed what he actually was as a rookie. And then in his second year, they moved him to the slot pretty much full time, and Eric Bieniemy's offense was so terrible. And I really don't think we talk enough about how terrible Eric Bieniemy was in his first stint as an OC. They had one of the highest pass rates in the NFL when they had a bad quarterback and not a lot of support on the offensive line. Jahan Dotson is a very uninspiring receiver, though. He was amongst the top in the league in receivers to drop passes. He had one of the highest drop rates. He dropped 8% of his passes, and he doesn't have any yak ability at all. 91% of the time on first contact, he goes down. So he's not getting you extra yardage like that. I think with the Eagles, with you having Goddard, AJ, Devontae, and Saquon, he's the fifth option. And for what they're getting, I mean, they're only paying him $4 million total for the next 2 years. I feel like that's just fine as another guy. But Jahan Dotson, like his own outlook to want to get paid after this, he has to produce in Philadelphia, and Philadelphia is not the situation for him to produce at a level to where he can actually maximize it and get paid in free agency.
Are you in? Dotson, wide receiver 3.
I'm in terms of depth. Like, we just needed some depth. We need some dude that can come in and be the fifth guy. If he's the fifth guy and he's seeing like the fourth, fifth corner, if you can't do shit, then it's like, bro, you're done. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, just like just another guy, because, you know, Dallas was a little bit banged up last year. Saquon has his history of being banged up. You know, AJ and Smitty, for the most part, relatively healthy.
Pretty reliable.
Yeah, so it's really just that third wide receiver, and I think he can be cool at it. Like, you got AJ, Smitty, even Smitty, like, he gets so much attention. Dotson, make a few plays here and there. We're good. We're solid. Don't drop the fucking ball. We're here. If he drops the ball, y'all know how Philly gets. It's going to get very, very racist out there. So,
oh, wow.
Yeah. Philly's pretty fucking nuts. So
we should go 1-1-1-1, just round table. Mine is, are you higher or lower on the rookie quarterback class?
It's hard not to be higher.
No, for
I
real.
mean, there's really all the quarterbacks. We saw, I think, Drake May probably played his most last night going up against the Commanders. I thought it was as good as he's looked all preseason. We saw him be accurate. We saw him get out there, get mobile. He's athletic. Tried telling you guys this last show, he's athletic, even though he's white. But no, he was fantastic. And, of course, Caleb Williams, we know what he can do. Caleb had probably the most splash plays, but as we've talked about, there's definitely plays in between where they're going 3 and out and they're stalling on offense. And I think that should be that should be a situation that all these rookies are going to go through, obviously. But of course, Bo Nix, the guy that was the last first round pick of this quarterback class, I mean, he arguably looked the best. He looked in command of Sean Payton's offense, especially compared to what we saw last year with Russell Wilson, where that offense was hard to watch. It was mostly checkdowns. It was, Russell would scramble. He wouldn't really read the field. So I think what we saw from Bo Nix was definitely encouraging. Jaden Daniels, we discussed. It really is a shame JJ went down, man, because JJ's first game, other than that one interception, first play, he looked fantastic. Like, he was really going to push Sam to be QB1. I don't know if we would have just gone into week 1, although JJ was a bit of a project. If JJ was going to look like that for the entire preseason, assuming he's doing that in camp too, there's a real world he would have started. So shame he went down.
Somebody here thought Darnold could take Purdy's spot, and he might not have even be the rookie.
JJ might have more upside than Purdy.
It just doesn't stop. It doesn't stop.
JJ has a lot of potential. Purdy he's doing it though. He's out there and he's producing. Higher. How can you not be higher? Especially when Bo Nix is one of the rookie quarterbacks. Caleb Williams has been awesome. Splash play after splash play. Last game, although there was issue in the headset, didn't matter. I mean, you still saw him. Let me not say didn't matter, but still he was able to be creative, get out of structure like we know that he can be. Jaden Daniels, kind of keeping everything easy for him in his second game versus Miami, taking the easy things. I'm fine with that, especially as a rookie going through your growing pains. Of course, Bo Nix has been probably the best in preseason. Drake May was awesome in his last showing. This is going to be a very fun rookie class that we may be talking about for years to come.
You're not really feeling them?
It doesn't feel like he's moved.
Nah, it's a tricky question because I feel like...
And Michael Penix.
Hey, shout out to Spencer Rattler, too.
Derek
Carr's job, I mean, he was terrible last year, and they're paying him a ton. I don't know. Does he have guaranteed money beyond this year?
No.
Okay, so Spencer Rattler has a real chance to start this year.
Well, Actually, they're gonna have to eat a lot of dead cap.
Oh, so he does have
He
It's
does.
the
money.
Saints. It's the Saints.
Yeah.
They're going to be okay.
It's a tricky question because I know it's preseason, so you got to be excited about something. I just think like outside of Caleb, they're in all pretty dog shit situations. So like, am I higher on their long-term potential? Probably, yeah. But we can see a situation like how we saw last year, for the most part, if I remember correctly. CJ Stroud was the only rookie quarterback that really played well. Like everybody else was either bad to okay to terrible. And CJ Stroud, after we've seen, had a slightly okay infrastructure. Like it wasn't the best, but it was okay. Coming into this year with these rookies, I mean, Caleb has the best infrastructure. He's probably going to be by far and away the best rookie quarterback. Drake May's situation sucks. Bo Nick's situation isn't the best. Jaden's situation is awful.
JJ's good.
But
What
he's
have
not
been
playing.
Michael
So it's like,
Michael Penix,
not
when he
playing.
plays, will be good.
see, so it's like I have to wait a year or two, maybe 3 to see those two. Drake and Jaden Daniels to see a good situation is going to probably take 2 to 3 years. So I don't know. I would say I'm stale.
This class could be an outlier, but what we've seen through basically every NFL draft is you're lucky if you get one good quarterback. If you get 2, it's like a great class. If you get 3, you're an all-time class. So we're talking about like 5 quarterbacks here. Odds are like 2 of them, probably one
Hopefully.
hit,
Yeah.
and then the other guys eventually
I think Caleb and Drake
aren't as great.
obviously are the 2 guys that we believe are going to be the hits. Jaden, it's going to be a little bit more complicated. Bo Nix probably could hit. It really just, he has probably the best coach out of all 4 of them. It really just depends. Like I'm stale with it. I'm not higher. I'm not lower. I'm going to just say I'm stale. I'm in the
Listen,
middle.
I understand that because for me, Drake May and Caleb Williams are carrying a lot of this for me. Drake May has looked phenomenal in preseason.
Fell off, man. He fell off.
No, I didn't
It's
fall
a
off.
Tragedy.
I like Bo Nix, but here's the thing, and this is a reality check for you and all these Broncos fans.
Here he
Bo
goes.
Nix is
No, the
not
issue
special.
that kills me
Bo
is that
Nix
you
is not
can
special.
never, ever, ever let anyone be happy. You are miserable. Are you kidding?
You think
God
that- you think that
forbid
Bo Nix
we're
has
a
star
franchise
potential?
that has had
Oh my
misery at quarterback for almost a decade. Bronco fans, shut the fuck up. Shut up. You,
like
don't
Bo Nix
deserve
after
it.
they got picked.
He
I
was
remember you liked
happy.
it.
I
but
like Bo Nix.
I
Bo
do- I
Nix-
feel like it
It's like up and
changed
down.
pretty
Here's
Here's
quick.
the
I don't
thing.
know.
Bo Nix fits Sean Payne and what he wants to do to a T. But this is the thing. Bo Nix, 66% of his passes went beyond the line of scrimmage in college, which was one of the lowest rates in college football. In the preseason, the first game, his footwork was sloppy. He was throwing off platform when he didn't need to. In the second game, he had one great play behind a cover 3 defense, and that was good. I feel like it was aggressive, but he had one of the lowest ADOTs in that game for the entirety of it. It's very vanilla defenses in the preseason, and I like Bo Nix's traits. But when you're drafting a first-round pick, you're looking for a franchise quarterback, especially within the top 15. Drake May and Caleb are franchise guys. Bo Nix, is it crazy for me to say that 3 to 4 years from now, we're saying Bo Nix is uninspiring for the Broncos and they're looking to maybe get an upgrade and somebody who can do more? You're in a division competing
No, I
with
haven't seen him play
Justin
one regular
Herbert
season
and Patrick
game,
Mahomes.
Joel. And what we've seen in the preseason,
He doesn't have the physical tools of Justin Herbert and Mahomes, though. He
he's
doesn't.
getting outside the pocket.
Does he have
he's
the tools to
extending
be
play.
ever a top 10 quarterback in the NFL?
Okay, why have to go to top 10? He's
That's
picked
what you're
12.
talking franchise
He was
quarterback
the
for.
6th
Nah, I
quarterback taken off the board,
I think
Joel.
if you get, as long as you get what Jared Goff or Brock Purdy,
Yeah,
what Tua
fucking
has
Jarrett
shown us
Stidham
is
and Zach Wilson. No shit, we had to take a QB.
If you put a good offense around him, whether that's personnel-wise, whether that's creative coaching, Jared Goff, I think, is worth a first-round pick. The Jared Goff we're getting now in this Detroit offense is worth a first-round pick. So if that's all Bo Nix has to be, I think you still return value on the 12th overall pick. If this was number 1 overall, which I think is the question we have when we look at Bryce Young, because you were picked number 1 overall, you don't have to be a franchise quarterback. You have to be generational. You have to be a top 10 quarterback at the minimum if you want to be number 10 overall. For Bo Nix, 6th quarterback taken, an older prospect. I think as long as he's a competent quarterback, because they have not had competent quarterback for a decade plus, that's a win for Denver.
Yeah, but here's the thing. There's
Like,
a
if
difference.
he's Alex Smith, I'm smiling ear to fucking ear.
Yeah,
The
Casey
I'm
difference-
not asking for the world. I'm asking to be Alex Smith.
There's a difference between looking the part and the stats saying what you are. Russell Wilson had amazing stats last year.
We knew it was
We
fake.
all knew how limited Denver's offense was. And Bo Nix, I think he has a very safe floor. He's a safe guy. He is what he is. He's not a bad player. He's a good player. But when you draft a player in the first round, I kind of thought in this draft, a lot of teams reached. In other drafts, J.J. McCarthy, even though I think he has the most traits of him, Michael Penix, and Bo Nix, J.J. McCarthy in other drafts is a second-round pick. Bo Nix 2, Michael Penix 2. There were only 3 true first-round quarterbacks in Jaden Daniels. I've spoken about why I'm not the house on him and how he handles pressure. Drake May and Caleb are the 2 surefire guys, and I think Drake May is a lot closer to Caleb than we think. Drake May is an absolute stud, and I think he's going to bring life to this New England situation. And that's why I'm higher on this rookie quarterback class, because of Drake May, honestly. Caleb was going to be what he was going to be, but Drake May in this New England situation, I think he'll play really well.
I'm with you. I'll move on to mine. John, I would love to get your input on my higher or lower. Are you higher or lower on Justin Fields, Russell Wilson, and the Steelers offense? What do you got, John?
I'm lower on it. I can't feel good watching Russell Wilson in the preseason because everything that I feared is everything that I've seen. He's throwing 1 of every 4 passes behind the line of scrimmage. Justin Fields can't get a snap off with Zach Frazier, and on top of those 2 things, it's just a bleak situation because the saying is you kind of get what you paid for. But if the Steelers get what Russell Wilson last year was for the Broncos for $1 million, I think they'll be okay with it. But as a fan, it's uninspiring, so I'm lower.
Yeah, Steelers are going to be mid on offense. I'm pretty low on them. Russell Wilson and Justin Fields, you put those 2 together. I think there's probably 20 quarterbacks very confidently that are still better than that player.
Crying. Oh, you put them together.
So I look at this offense. Neither can win in the pocket. Neither are good in the pocket. Yeah, they did kind of cook with that one. If you give Russ his athletic ability again, now he's back. OD. If Russ gets his athletic ability back, he's a dangerous guy. But neither can win in the pocket. Neither are really letting plays progress and really keeping their eyes downfield on a consistent basis. It's just not something that I want any part of. And you said it perfectly, John. This is what they wanted. This is what they were willing to pay up for. You give Russ a vet minimum deal. You think that that's a steal because he just got cut and left the Broncos $80 million dead. And then you trade for Justin Fields only for a 6th round that can turn into a 4th round, if I'm not mistaken, if he plays 50% of snaps. It's like, yeah, you kind of cheaped out on your quarterback, and now the results are going to follow.
I don't think I'm low, by the way. Let me start by saying that I'm pretty
Yeah,
low.
the defense is going to absolute fucking carry.
Yeah, and I love Justin Fields. I'll definitely be rooting for him. I'll be supporting. But it just, when it comes to, like you mentioned, winning in the pocket and winning with your arm, he just cannot on a consistent basis do it. Love the playmaking with his feet. Like, he is a dog out there in space sometimes. If he can get a little head of steam, it's over. But in just terms of making accurate throws, having the pocket presence, Fields just don't got it. And Russell, he's just garbage now. So, like, you going from Kenny Pickett to these 2 doesn't help George Pickens in any way. I don't think in the passing game it helps Warren, helps Najee. Doesn't help this offense at all. So, I'm pretty low on this offense being, mid to poor. I think the defense is going to carry them, and they'll win some games just because they have that Steelers toughness and that Steelers edge and that mental Mike Tomlin energy where they just pull out games out their ass.
They'll find a way to win 9.
Yeah, but I'm lower on them for sure.
If Jalen Warren is not healthy, which he's looking like he's not going to be.
No, he's expected to play week 1.
Apparently week 1 with a hammy. I don't know.
That came from him, though, I believe.
Yeah.
I would let him sit for week 1, maybe week 2, he's back. And if they don't trade for Brandon Ayuk, I mean, this is an inspiring unit. Either wide receivers are uninspiring. You could talk yourself into George Pickens, but long?
You can't talk yourself with Ayuk.
How long until George Pickens is throwing a temper tantrum on the sideline because the offense looks so putrid?
Probably
I don't know.
week 1.
I give it very soon. And the quarterbacks just aren't good. Like, even if you combine Russ and Fields, their weaknesses are pretty much the same.
What if you give Russ Fields height and athletic ability?
Maybe he can throw to the middle of the field if that's the case.
Oh, it's
Yeah.
6'3".
But I'm low on the
Jumps
Steelers
out.
offense. I think the Steelers, I know we always say that they're going to find a way to win 9 games. I really think they're like a 6-11 team.
We keep doing it every year.
So wait, if they
They're
get,
7 and
They'll
10.
find a way.
if they get Ayuk, they jump to 10 to you?
I think they're in the hunt and they could be a wild card team, 100%.
I'll give them 9 wins.
And it
with Ayuk.
depends on what. It's not just Ayuk. It depends
giving
on
them 9 wins.
what
I
version
refuse
of
to
Arthur Smith
be
are we
wrong.
getting.
Right.
Are we getting Arthur Smith in Atlanta this past season, or Titans OC Arthur Smith first 2 years
Even then,
at Atlanta.
The quarterbacks
that
are
was
so
the difference.
bad. So bad.
That's why even with Ayuk, it's hard to see them make. Ayuk's phenomenal, top 10 receiver, easy in the league, but I don't know if he makes 3 wins happen for Pittsburgh.
All right, my higher or lower is going to be: are you higher or lower on 5 rookie wide receivers having over 1,000 yards?
Good. Can you name a few? You got
So
Neighbors.
Marvin,
I feel very confident.
Neighbors,
Very confident.
Rome.
That one might. I don't know. He might get like 8.
Okay.
Yeah.
Brian Thomas Jr.
He might get
Jalen
like
Polk.
7.
I'll be honest. 5 is a crazy line. I'm under 5.
Okay.
I'm under 5.
Polk
I
is
like
in
those
New
guys.
England?
New England.
Polk
yeah.
is in New England.
Polk has shown something this preseason. Those other guys though, Rome. Although Keenan Allen has looked a little scary this
He'll get more
preseason,
targets, I feel like.
I still think he has the wide receiver 2 locked for the first couple of weeks at a minimum. Rome eventually down the line wouldn't surprise me if he takes over wide receiver 2, but I think DJ Moore's a lock for 1,000 yards. I think they're going to run the ball. It's going to be tough for Caleb to support 2,000
Let's
yards.
also throw in Lad McConkey. Let's also throw in Xavier Worthy.
Yeah, I'm lower on
Don't
that.
forget Leggett, baby.
Xavier Leggett's a good
The
one.
only
receiver too,
player
baby.
that's getting 1,000 is Marvin Harrison Jr.
Ooh,
The
I
only
think
one.
Neighbors might get 1,000.
Malik Neighbors
Close.
will 1,000%
Neighbors
have
has
over
a chance.
1,000.
I've seen Terry do
It's
it.
too inconsistent quarterback play.
No, he will, even with Daniel Jones playing mid, the target share he will get will most definitely put him
Zach
over
got
1,000.
1,000 his rookie. Or Zach Garrett.
Garrett,
He had
did.
1,100 actually.
Okay.
Yeah,
I
he
think
did.
Neighbors could get like 1,095. Like maybe 1,000.
He'll be right around that 1,000 mark.
Well, the only person I'd be willing to bet gets 1,000 is Marvin Harrison Jr.
For sure.
I'd bet on Malik.
That's it.
I'm not even gonna lie. If he's healthy, 16 games,
I wonder what
I'd
his,
bet on Malik.
his
I'm
numbers
saying
are.
I'm lower on it.
That's fair. I also say that with the idea early. I know it's preseason, and I know that Keenan Allen and DJ Moore are better than Rome Odunze, but we've seen already the connection that he has with Rome and the ability that he trusts Rome regardless of situation. I look at Lad McConkey on the Chargers. There's not really many wide receiver options for Herbert to trust. I believe that he'll look to him early and often, and it could relate into a very productive season. 1,000 yards for a rookie is not easy. Does not happen very often. It has not happened very often in NFL history. But I look at the necessity for wide receiver on NFL teams, and I can see it being a reality. Brian Thomas Jr. with the Jaguars, they need a reliable wide receiver that can win consistent and often. That can be Brian. You look at, of course, Marvin Harrison. I think that that's a lock. We all agree to that. I think Malik Neighbors. I'm shocked to hear you say that you don't think that it's going to happen. I think that given situation,
a lock.
he's the best wide receiver the Giants have had since Odell, and that's coming in day one. He will hit over 1,000. Xavier Worthy may be a little bit too risky, but I'm just throwing out that because he was a first-round pick. And Jalen Polk, for the fact that he is going to be the wide receiver 1 for the Patriots. If Drake May is going to be the quarterback, if it's going to be Jacoby has to throw to someone. Maybe 1,000 may be a bit strong, but he does have a strong skill set. And he can be a really great option. 1,000 may be fringe, but there's so many good wide receivers that were drafted this year into good situations for them to put a productive running.
When
wide
was the
receiver
last
seasons.
time a wide receiver in a Greg Roman offense has had 1,000 yards?
When was that
Andrews.
quarterback when did that
When is the last
offense
talent?
have?
When is the last time Greg Roman's had a wide receiver that's talented?
Or also,
Lad McConkey, Hollywood Brown. He was more talented.
my kind of question
Mark
would be:
Andrews had 1,300.
when was the last time Greg Roman had a quarterback that passed as well as Justin Herbert?
Lamar Jackson.
I said passed as well.
Yeah, Lamar
Lamar had
Jackson's an
35
elite
TDs.
passer.
He's
a high
not a
level
better
passer.
passer than Justin
No,
Herbert.
I think
This year, I
I
see where
think
this is going.
Herbert is probably a marginally better passer, but Lamar Jackson is an elite passer.
I also think Greg Roman hasn't had Lamar Jackson. I think this past year was the best throwing Lamar
Correct.
Jackson we have ever
Easily.
gotten.
Easily.
Even that 2019 Lamar as a passer could be inconsistent at times. But 2024 Herbert, I'm expecting to be a better passer than honestly 2019 Lamar.
Yeah, I don't think it's even happened with Tyrod and Sammy Watkins when he was with the Bills.
Sammy did have 1,000 in year 2.
Okay.
He did. 2015.
I don't know if that was with Greg Roman.
And his
Maybe it
rookie
was.
season,
He was like
Sammy,
890, right?
his rookie season, Sammy had just over 900.
So you're higher on these receivers.
Polk,
Getting
I don't know. I don't know
getting
if I see
1,000.
Polk.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
Because I think
we've
Demario
seen it,
Douglas
though.
could
I think
lead
at
that
most
team in
we'll get
targets.
two.
Because we saw 4 wide receivers go in we saw 3 go in the top 10. We saw Brian Thomas, we saw Ladd, we saw Xavier, both Xaviers. A
And
lot
Leggett.
of receivers. That's what I'm saying. Both Xaviers.
Ricky Pearsall.
And Keon Coleman also. That's another one that's in a situation where it'll
went
be a
around 2.
necessity.
I don't know if he'll get a lot
Keon
of
was
touches.
the first pick of round 2. You're 100%
I
right.
don't know if Keon will get a lot of touches.
So how many receivers do you think is getting 1,000?
Keon was the last pick in the draft. They traded up with the Panthers. Oh, no, Cap. They traded back. The Panthers traded up the one spot. Apologize. Say that one more time.
How many receivers do you think is getting 1,000?
Rookie wide receivers, realistically, I'm around 3. I
Neighbors
think 3 is a
plus
possibility.
175 to get 1,000 yards. So
Yeah.
Vegas is still saying it's more likely he gets under.
And Marvin's line right now is 1,000 and
I think Marvin's a lot.
1,000.5 is his line.
Yeah.
I think Marv might get 13 of them boys.
Bro, he could have an insane season off rip, and I would not be surprised.
What do you think? Should we do 2 each for these?
Yeah, I could just cycle right
Yes.
back to.
Because if we do 4, it's going to be a fucking hour segment.
Are you higher or lower on Anthony Richardson? A lot of mixed reviews over his
buddy.
preseason game. I sent mine before you did, so
You lied.
about
I sent mine before you.
okay. You
And
just
I was
called
next.
raid. No, we just said 2 each.
We could go back this way.
Snake.
Like Snake.
You guys are crazy.
Snake higher or lower?
I'll do a different one then. I'm more than okay with that. Are you
bro. I
higher or
appreciate
lower on Brock Purdy? Now, obviously, I say that with the idea that
You elaborate on the question.
are you higher or lower
Some
on Brock
context.
Purdy this upcoming season without Trent Williams, maybe without Brandon Ayuk?
Trent's gonna play, bro.
He said he's not playing week 1 if the contract isn't reworked.
Trent might not play, bro.
If Ayuk is gone, Purdy's going to regress tremendously. 100%. 100%.
What do you mean by you just have a bad
I'll be
year
more
of
concerned if
regress?
Debo doesn't play than I do with Ayuk with Brock Purdy. The difference when Brock Purdy has Debo on the field and without is drastic. We've seen it week to week when
It's the
Debo
most
is not
drastic.
there.
No, with Ayuk, I'm saying.
No, I'm saying with Debo. When Debo's
I
not there,
disagree
just the
heavily.
Niners offense is
Those
just
couple
simply
games
not
did
the
look really
same.
bad.
It's tough because
But
if
Trent
you don't
wasn't
have
out there at that time,
Ayuk,
too.
really Kittle's the only one who's going to create consistent
You need him for
separation.
blocking.
And it's tougher. Debo one-on-one, like he could do a lot of things, but if you're telling me one-on-one Debo, I trust Ayuk more in that situation
don't
to get
trust you
open.
with that.
So,
Maybe
and I feel like a
20
lot of
receivers
San Francisco's offense, it's creating space, and they're not really going to have receivers to create space if you lose Ayuk.
I mean, we just saw in the preseason, Debo ran a slant and it got intercepted because he created no
No, I take
separation.
probably like 20 receivers just man to man over Debo.
No, yeah, Debo Samuel is a very specific receiver. He has a skill set, and he's great at the skill set. But in order to beat man coverage down the field and press coverage, you need Brandon Ayuk. And all the numbers point to whenever Purdy targeted Ayuk, the difference in efficiency was massive. Ayuk cleared any passes thrown to CMC, George Kittle, Debo Samuel from an efficiency standpoint. Ayuk is Purdy's favorite target. And the reason why the Niners have been able to get a historic offense from this group and they weren't able to with Jimmy Garoppolo is because Jimmy
CMC.
Garoppolo played within the system. And Jimmy Garoppolo didn't take the throws that Brock Purdy takes. Brock Purdy is throwing down the field. But in order to have that, you need Brandon Ayuk to get down the field and come up with those catches. So I think if Purdy loses Ayuk, it's going to put a lot of stress on this offense from an intermediate perspective. They're not going to have a downhill beater like that. So that's why I feel like Ayuk is so valuable. And if he gets traded, Purdy's going to regress. The numbers are going to look much worse than last year's.
I don't think regress is the right word. I think his numbers would drop, but I don't think he'll be worse as a player. When you lose your top receiver, it is tough for any situation. I do agree with you, though. I think Ayuk is very important for this offense.
For sure.
You know, Brock Purdy being able to go off, make off-platform throws and get out the pocket, Jimmy just unfortunately couldn't do. He's a much better version of Jimmy G. I'm going to go lower, though, because it's not just Ayuk, too. You just told me Trent Williams also might not be out there. He is there. He's literally a walking backpack when it comes to carrying an offensive line.
yeah.
Like, he just carries them. And then, of course, Kittle helps in the blocking, too, when he can. But if you lose Ayuk, Kittle has to be more in the pass-catching department, and then you don't have Trent Williams, so now your offensive line is going to look pretty broken. CMC is also a little bit banged up. So I would say just for the situation, being banged up with injuries, and you might lose 2 of your top guys. But it also depends on what they get back for Ayuk, because if they get back something, like I know Cleveland when it happened, they would have got Amari Cooper back. That would have been not like Ayuk, but it's still somebody
It's
who
not
could
a
get-
drop-off
No,
like that.
it's not like an
Yeah.
insane drop-off, you know, because Ayuk, of course, is one of those ones, but Cooper still has it. But I'll go lower for sure.
You take Cortland Sutton. We'll take Brandon Ayuk. Give you a first. You doing that?
Doing
For a
that?
first, yes.
First in Cortland
It's a
Sutton.
first-round pick.
I'll be honest, we're here.
All right, I would love Brandon Ayuk on the
pay his
Broncos
bread.
with Bo Nix.
How much money does he want?
Well, he wants 30 mil plus. I think he wants to get what CeeDee Lamb just got, maybe a little bit below. So 32 to 30.
He does not deserve CeeDee Lamb money as of right
You can
now.
get Amon-Ra money. Amon-Ra got 30.
Yeah, no, I think that's the.
Not to say, no, I'm not saying like just, but Ayuk's up there.
Ayuk's a better player than Amon-Ra.
I mean, that's what he's saying. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just saying, Ayuk's up there. He can get 30. 35, no. 30.
You know,
Listen, he
35 mil
separates
is for
better
the
than everybody.
Jettas.
Say he's better than Tyreek. Say he's
not.
better than
He's not better than
AJ
Tyreek.
Brown. Say he's better
Ayuk
than
didn't get a new deal
Jamar
yet.
Chase.
Ayuk could be better than AJ Brown. That's a legit conversation. That is a conversation.
I think AJ's
can
one of
we-
the ones, man.
can we
I don't know.
relax?
No, that is a conversation.
That's the next tier he has to jump into because I don't think
I
AJ's
think
quite
Chase
in
might
the
get
Tyreek
33.
tier.
34.
No, Chase might get 40.
Lost
Yeah,
it.
I mean, CeeDee
Hell
just got
no,
40.
he's not getting 40.
He didn't get 40.
CeeDee just got 37.
Oh, my apologies.
Yeah.
I mean, but
ain't
everyone,
getting 40.
you know, everyone's
might get
gonna.
40.
If it's next off season, we get another year under the belt. I would not be surprised if he
I
Jamar
wouldn't
Chase
give
was happy to
I
show
wouldn't
up to
give Chase
practice.
give him 40.
Jamar Chase was lit seeing CD get paid. He's about to get paid his bread.
CeeDee, or excuse me, Garrett's due for a contract next year,
Garrett's
or
not-
he's
let's-
eligible. He's eligible. He would have, I think, 2 years remaining.
This
still, but
season will get Garrett Wilson as a top 4 wide receiver paid wise.
The
So
truth
we get
is
35.
that there's really a three-headed monster at the top with the receivers with CeeDee, Tyreek, and Jettas. I think all of them are like in the exact same tier, and you can't go wrong with
I
neither
think
of
Jamar
them.
also deserves to be in that conversation
He
as
really
a skill
fucking
wise,
made it,
as
man.
a skill set.
no, he's one of the ones. All right, I'll go on to mine. Are you higher or lower on the Bills' offense so far this preseason? So this is the first time we haven't seen them with Stephon Diggs, of course, even though the second half of last year he basically wasn't a part of the offense. I have some numbers here. This is just going by players who played the most passing snaps. Not all of these are with Josh Allen, of course, but no one really stepped out or stepped up for Buffalo. You had Keon Coleman. He got 6 targets, but only 2 receptions for 20 yards. Khalil Shakir had 4 receptions for 33 yards. Curtis Samuel, 2 receptions for 23 yards. There was no one who really stood out of the bunch. So do we have the same worries that we had coming into the season, just with a lack of wide receiver 1? Or do you think Josh Allen could figure it out with these wide receiver 3 type of players?
I'm lower on the Buffalo Bills offense as a whole. When you had Stephon Diggs, you had this guy that can be a strong decoy, but a lot of attention is being drawn his way, opens up the field for these other guys to have their big plays and push the ball downfield. Josh Allen is Superman. He will be a one-man wrecking crew. With Josh Allen, automatically the offense will be successful. But in terms of a prolific, one of the higher end offenses in the league, I like Dalton Kincaid. Obviously, was a first round talent, but go look at the numbers. When Stephon Diggs was kind of phased out of the offense, it's not like Dalton Kincaid suddenly took this giant leap into tight end 1 territory. If we're speaking in terms of solely fantasy football numbers, obviously that's what I remember because we did our tight ends list already. He had 2 games of over double-digit fantasy points. He scored 1 time in that stretch from week 10 to week 18, and that was week 10 versus the Denver Broncos. It wasn't as if because Stephon Diggs was drawing all this attention that now Kincaid was going to be heavily involved. Not really. Dawson Knox was now playing heavily as well, and not that much attention not that much love was being shown to Dalton Kincaid. And now Dalton Kincaid is supposed to be the number 1 option going into this season. I think that in terms of a run offense, we will see them be prolific. I believe James Cook is one of the most efficient rushers in football. The only thing he needs to clean up is his hands in the passing game. Their run offense will be one of the better ones, but in terms of their offense as a whole, I do have genuine concern. Not a huge supporter of Keon Coleman. Curtis Samuel is a great wide receiver 3, super low end wide receiver 2. Don't feel great about that if he's your wide receiver 2. And Khalil Shakir, I need to see it. I need to see he showed flashes last season, but I need to see it for a full season where he right now on paper technically is their best wide receiver. And if that's the case, I can't feel great.
You're higher?
Nah, I'm lower. I think 2 things can be true. I think you can be lower on this Bills offense while also thinking Josh Allen is Superman. He will be able to propel this offense to a top 15 or whatever offense it is. But my concerns are the same. You know, what is Curtis Samuel, Khalil Shakir, Dalton Kincaid, Dawson Knox, Keon Coleman? What are they going to look like when there's actual starters out there, when there's actual defenses game planning for you? And a lot of the attention is going to be on the run game because, you know, you saw towards the back end of last year, Joe Brady kind of geared to that. That's what he's going to run. So I expect the same things coming on to this year. So a lot of the defensive game plans are going to be stop Josh Allen, stop this run game. In the passing game, I do worry a little bit about who's going to be that number one guy that can get open late in the games. But, I trust Superman at times. But I still am a bit lower because, like you mentioned, they were a prolific offense. 3 to 4 past seasons, they were one of the best high-octane, high-flying offenses in football. In the regular season, they were one of the top scoring teams. So we will definitely see a regression from that. So I would say lower.
I'm higher. I feel like whenever you get rid of a locker room cancer, which Stephon Diggs was, regardless of his play on the field, I think it boosts everybody else's morale. And I think there's a lot of young players on this Bills roster that are good and they're looking to break out. And when you see the weeks after Stephon Diggs stopped being involved, this offense was still a top 5 offense and everybody had their fair share of touches and targets. I don't think Kincaid or Shakir are going to walk into the territory where they're like one of the better receiving options in the league. But I don't think you need that. This offensive line is elite. Josh Allen is a one-man offense. I would be shocked if they're not a top 10 offense at minimum this upcoming season.
Me too.
I think Milano hurts them way more.
Do we know how long he's out for?
It might be out for.
See, I just saw indefinitely. I didn't see any like timetable on that.
6 to 8 weeks.
I'm guessing he's out half the season.
If it's a torn bicep, he's cooked for the season.
And he just came back. So it's like, and he's like 31, 32.
It's tough. We talked about this when we did our power rankings. It's just the Bills got no closer this offseason. No closer to the Chiefs. And I feel like other teams caught up. I think the Jets are better than them going into this season. Of course, Baltimore is going to be there. I think, losing Stephon Diggs, I get it. Cancer. Towards the end, they had their issues on the sideline and whatnot, but they still need to, I think, infuse that offense with a real one. You have Josh Allen. Let's figure it out here,
Best quarterback in the division.
Who? Josh Allen?
Yeah, shit.
That's easy. That's easy.
What'd you think?
Second best quarterback in the league.
Not all time, though. That's our quarterback, baby.
Who?
Not all time. All time is our quarterback.
Oh, Josh is better.
Yeah. Not all time.
Who's
Show some
our?
respect. Aaron Rodgers. That's our quarterback.
Well, technically, all time, your quarterback stinks. He's not the Green Bay.
That's
Aaron.
the most loyalty you've shown in a while. Nice.
That's Aaron Rodgers. That's our quarterback.
All time, he's higher than Josh.
He is
for
higher
sure.
than
For
Josh
the Packers, yeah.
I mean, no shit. He's played 4 snaps.
It's your fault.
Hasn't completed a pass yet.
Nobody told you to come out the flag.
Whoa.
Oh my
not
God,
America's
he's
team.
getting nuts.
Bro, it was 9/11.
All right, there you
got
go.
New
Yeah,
York.
yeah,
It
yeah.
happened in New York.
I didn't know it was 9/11 that day. You got me.
That's why it was super significant. It was the
Thought
best
he just
thing he
ran out
that-
with the flag for
I
no
did
reason.
think he just ran out the flag for no reason.
I could see him also doing that first game. It was first game of the year.
Was that
It was
Thursday night or Monday night?
Monday
I just
night.
thought that's America's football day. Monday night, he's just coming out here. Jets been gassed.
Nah.
I did not know that it was 9/11.
Yes,
So now that I know, he
it
did
was
a good
lit.
thing.
Yeah, it was cool.
He did a great deed.
This preseason, we saw amazing drops from the Jaguars offense. They lost Calvin Ridley. Are you higher or lower on the Jaguars bouncing back this year?
I'm here for it. I think higher. I'm very high on Trevor
What's your
Lawrence
definition of
this
bounce
season.
back? Like make it the playoffs?
Be
They're
better
making the playoffs.
than last year.
Yes.
Okay, I think that they will be better than last season. I think Trevor Lawrence has had a
9
lot of
games
criticism. Yeah, but they gagged.
They did gag.
They were like 8-3 at one point,
They
if I'm
were.
not
They
mistaken.
They choked.
So
Yep.
I look at Trevor Lawrence, and I feel like a lot of criticism has been put on his name. I still believe he's one of the most talented quarterbacks in the league. You name a trait that you want in a quarterback, he has it. Has a strong arm, great pocket presence. And let me not say great, good pocket presence. Has a bad offensive line. He does what he can with that offensive line that's in front of him. I look at his ability to escape the pocket. I look at his ability to read the field. I think that he has essentially everything. I look at Brian Thomas. I believe that he will be one of the breakout rookie wide receivers this season. Christian Kirk, when healthy, has proven to be one of the better wide receivers, probably in that top 30 range. He's still reliable. Evan Ingram has proven to be one of the most reliable tight ends. Last year, led all tight ends in receptions and targets, was a dog. I really like this offense. Slightly improved the offensive line, which means ETN could be a little bit more efficient. Last year, 3.9 a carry really shocked me, especially with the way that he started to the way that he finished. It was night and day, but got into the end zone a ton. It really begins and ends with Trevor Lawrence for me, and I believe that it will be a bounce back year for him and the Jacksonville Jaguars. He simply will be a lot better than he was last year.
I'm trying to find this stat because I was on Twitter. Maybe it's after the second preseason game. There was some said about the offensive line, but I would say I'm pretty neutral. I'm not higher or lower than we were entering the preseason, just because that offensive line. You could have upgrades at wide receiver and Brian Thomas, and should be Gabe Davis. Seems like Christian Kirk is still, of course, going to play that slot role for them. But if this offensive line doesn't get figured out, and it's a similar result that we got last year, where it is just one of the worst units in the NFL, it's going to be really tough to have a capable offense consistently if you're going to beat like that. And defensively, I think, you have some pieces that have been great, like Josh Allen. Of course, you're still expecting more from a guy like Trayvon Walker, but I don't think this defense is anywhere near good enough to carry them to wins. I still think Trevor Lawrence has to do a lot of that work. And if the offensive line is going to look how it looked in this preseason, although they did have a great opening drive their last game, Trevor was like 8 for 10 and really moved the ball down the field. But he's just that talented where he could overcome some of this. But to overcome all of it and, potentially win the division, wild card team I think is in the cards. I think they could sneak in as a 7 seed, win around 10 games. But I think there's still some real concerns on this offense that really haven't got figured out.
Damn. That AFC, man, that shit is a bloodbath.
It's a
you
doghouse
can
for
make
sure.
the argument about 9 or 10 teams have a legit shot at making the playoffs. And that is unfortunately why I'm lower, because I don't think this team will make the playoffs. I think they've made necessary improvements in the wideouts, drafting Brian Thomas, getting Gabe Davis, that kind of fits their style. Defensively is probably where my concerns is more in the secondary. Like we talked about it before, Campbell was dealing with a hamstring injury. Will he be back to form? Only time will tell. They did get Josh Allen his money. Shout out to Josh Allen. That offensive line is still one of the worst units in football until we see it on game day improve when the season actually starts. And if you got that offensive line being that bad, you're already in the division with the Colts and the Texans, who pretty much have a good rush defense. And then you have, the Browns, you have the Chiefs. Like, you have all these other teams, the Baltimore Ravens. Just defensively, they're able to be elite or great. Even Buffalo, I think, would be a good to great defense. I don't know if I fully trust in this Jacksonville defense. And on top of that, your offensive line is going to be pretty piss poor. So I would say I'm lower, or I'm still where I was at with them prior to this preseason. Like, I still don't have a expectation for them to make the playoffs. I think they'll be maybe a little better than last year, but to bounce back, you're a team that was 8-3 at one point, and then what you finished 9-8 or something like that. So to bounce back, you'd have to win about 11 games or so. And I think in the AFC, even in your division alone, that's going to be tough. And in the AFC, I think it's hard for a team like that to win like 11 games.
I feel like all the question marks the Jaguars have, we still have about them. The offensive line only got one notable addition. That was Mitch Morse. I think Cam Robinson means much more to this team than people think. They lost 6 of the 8 games in which he didn't play. They were the 27th ranked offensive line last year, but they were 4th in pressure rate, partly because they let go of the ball quick, and also Trevor Lawrence is really good at managing pressure. He keeps those sack rates down. I think this offense makes sense this year. I don't trust Press Taylor as a play caller, but last year he clearly was using Calvin Ridley in the wrong spots, playing him as the lone outside receiver on a line of scrimmage. And I think this year you have multiple players who can play that role, whether it's Brian Thomas Jr. or Gabe Davis. It opens up the field for Ingram and Christian Kirk. But their offensive line is still a concern. Travis Etienne was stuffed on 24% of his runs. One of the worst rates in the NFL. I think the Jaguars are going to bounce back, though. I think they go 10-7, and they will be with the Bills, or I should say with the Dolphins and those other in the hunt teams, the Chargers, and who's going to get that tiebreaker to get that final spot in the AFC playoffs.
The Jags should have been one of those teams calling for Brandon Ayuk, because I love Brian Thomas as a prospect. Gabe Davis wins down the field, but I feel like both of these players kind of share that similarity where they're using their big bodies to win down the field more. Now they can win on, an intermediate level, but I don't think outside of Christian Kirk, they have guys that can consistently separate. I think Brian Thomas has shown some flashes in the preseason for sure. So there's some potential there, but getting a guy like Brandon Ayuk, of course, we could say this about every team, but just thinking of the type of receiver they needed, instead of paying Gabe Davis, using a first on Brian Thomas, I think they could have used Brandon Ayuk a lot more.
So I guess I'm the last guy to go. Love that. Excuse me. Are you guys higher or lower? I changed it up a little bit. Are you guys higher and lower on AR, Michael Pittman Jr., and Jonathan Taylor showing their full potential this season?
I'm higher. I don't care what anybody says. Where now there's been reports of he's not a quarterback. He kind of just throws to spots. To me, all I heard was
the Bengals were
anticipation,
talking
right?
crazy.
Anticipation, is that what it means? But to me, that's irrelevant. I still think that his unbelievable athleticism, the one-of-one athleticism at the quarterback, will ultimately help him in the long run. Hopefully this season we see him slide more, especially because last year that was the reason why he wasn't able to play a majority of last year. But as a passer in that first drive, that's kind of what you wanted to see, staying strong in that pocket, making quick decisions. It will translate, especially with Shane Steichen calling the plays. Jonathan Taylor is one of the best running backs in football when healthy. If he's healthy, I don't have to worry about him. He's signed and sealed. And Michael Pittman last year with Gardner Minshew was excellent. And now you add A.D. Mitchell, Josh Downs hopefully will be healthy. And whenever he's healthy, he'll get back on the field. That's looking like late September, early October. This offense will be fine. Anthony Richardson will be fine. He's going to be very successful this season. And so long as him and Shane Steichen are on the same page, the two will have success. I'm not going to overreact to a pick six in preseason as to why Anthony Richardson no longer is going to be in my good graces. Are we going to overreact to every single negative play? If he was throwing the 5 INTs like a Trey Lance, then we can sit here and we can be having some serious conversations. But one pick six after a near perfect first drive, that's where I have a strong disconnect with the Anthony Richardson naysayers.
Anthony Richardson, think that is that dude. Jonathan Taylor, Michael Pittman, having Shane Steichen. I really have no concerns about this offense. The only concern I have is just, can Anthony Richardson stay healthy?
That's a fact.
If Richardson gets banged up again and it's back-to-back years that he's injured, we're going into next season as a make-or-break season for Anthony Richardson. And there's probably a decent chance they go into next offseason, they're taking a quarterback on day 2. They're looking to sign a high-level backup like the Jets did with Tyrod Taylor. There has to be some insurance there because he has not played a lot of quarterback throughout his whole career. Even when he was at Florida, he didn't start right away, right? It was really just that final season where he played a majority of the snaps. So, you mentioned Trey Lance, but it's funny. It's kind of similar paths for these two guys where all the physical talent in the world, but they really haven't played a ton. Of course, Trey Lance took that year off during COVID where they just had that one season. He sits a year, his rookie year, then he gets hurt. And all of a sudden, it's like you're trying to figure out who this dude is who hasn't played a ton of football. So I still have all the faith in the Colts, mostly because of Shane Steichen just being there. I think he's one of the best head coaches and offensive minds in the game. But Anthony Richardson, it's this year because there was questions coming out about if, of course he has the build to handle it, but can you take 17 plus games being a quarterback, being that physical? So this isn't the make or break year, but it's the year leading up to the make or break year if something bad went wrong.
19% of the Colts plays last year were RPOs on offense. And we've seen in preseason that that's going to be a main staple within their offense. And that's a lot of easy looks for Anthony Richardson, just reading off one guy, throwing it to a spot. And I think he'll be very productive. I think we have to temper expectations a little bit, though, because this is Anthony Richardson's rookie season. Mm-hmm. If he had his entire rookie season to play, and this is the year where he's playing, I would say it's the breakout year for him. But I think that a lot of the expectations placed on Anthony Richardson are to be a star and to be a star now. And I think there's more of a learning curve for him. And I think next year will be the year where he fully breaks out. I think this year he'll be a great player in fantasy as long as he stays healthy. But this is the year where I'm expecting those mistakes to pop up a little bit more often for him to have those learning experiences because he doesn't have a lot of playing experience. And then I think the Colts will be fine. But this offense is going to be, I'd be shocked if this wasn't one of the 15 best offenses in the NFL.
Yeah, it's tough because, you got Trevor Lawrence, then you got CJ. You kind of saw CJ kind of just propel himself in the top 10 talks after a year. Trevor Lawrence, came back, 27 down or some shit like that in the playoffs, propelled himself in those talks. So it's kind of like you're the Colts. You're sitting there like, all right, I know this is year 2, but we kind of want to see what we have with this guy. We kind of want to get to that process. And, I don't know any NFL teams off the top that were damaged by injuries, but I remember in the NBA, you had the Blazers when they had Brandon Roy, LA, Greg Oden, what damaged them? Injuries to Greg Oden, Brandon Roy. Houston, they had a team with T-Mac, Yao Ming that could have went deep. What damaged them? Injuries. So, starting off not too great. AR missed basically his whole year last year. JT's been banged up back-to-back years. The only real guy that's been healthy has been Michael Pittman Jr., and we see how great he is. So, you don't want to overreact, but you definitely have a little bit of that concern because they're all relatively young, but they haven't really played enough yet together.
Now, talking about preseason, Daniel Jones struggled in preseason.
He did.
Versus the Texans, he had 2 interceptions, and on the first play of the game, first drive, he could have had another one, but He got dropped by Derek Stingley.
Apparently, he still didn't play that. He played well, though, according to you.
After those 2 picks, I swear to God, he locked in. He got the garbage out of the way. He was horrible in the first 3 drives. No way around it. After that, he settled in and made some good throws.
So he has to throw 2 picks to settle in, that's when he locks in.
But unfortunately, true. And I knew it was going to be bad, especially after watching the plays. And you mentioned that first drop pick that could have been a pick 6 from Derek Stingley too. it was a bad one. The second one, the first INT was bad, especially because he's trying to make something out of nothing, and that obviously leads to mistakes. Just kind of floats it was like a Jimmy G when Jimmy G did it against the Broncos, or I forget what team it was, but then he went down and didn't count. But in this situation, it very much counted, and he floated it perfectly for the guy to just walk in. Second INT, you need to put a little bit more air underneath it. I thought Stingley made an awesome play on the ball, but regardless, that's a throw that he needs to make 10 times out of 10. And obviously, I thought Stingley made a good play, but again, Daniel, you need to be better. Rest of the game looked good, but the question is Daniel Jones going to be the starting quarterback for the New York Giants beyond this year? And truthfully, I believe that it's primarily based off this year and how he finally performs with having a true star wide receiver. We all agree Malik Neighbors is the best wide receiver option that he has had in his tenure with the Giants. The next best outside of Malik, Sterling Shepard, Darius Slayton, Wan'Dale Robinson,
Evan Ingram.
And Evan Ingram was not good when he was on the New York Giants. He went to go play with Trevor, and he remembers how to catch a ball.
Maybe just quarterback play.
Could have been.
And catching the ball, that simply does not have to do with quarterback play.
He was a Pro Bowler with Giants.
Eli Manning. And then after that, after his
Right.
rookie season, he was not good.
Maybe it's the way Daniel Jones throws the
Nah,
ball.
it really sounds like a Daniel Jones issue.
But you look at the situation going into this year. This was the most I've seen the Giants do for Daniel Jones. And ironically, it comes in the same offseason as losing Saquon Barkley. But you bring in Devin Singletary, who was solid for being a average running back, was good in the passing game, and was pretty efficient on the ground with the Houston Texans. With the offensive line, bringing in John Runman and bringing in Illuminor. Thank you.
Raiders.
Yeah. Now it's funny because now he's being forced in a position where he has to play right tackle because Evan Neal has the ankle injury. Evan Neal's done.
Neal's cooked,
I'm done with him. It's one of the worst draft picks that the Giants have had, and it always happens with their offensive line outside of the Lord and Savior Andrew Thomas, who is one of the best left tackles. Let me not say most reliable because he has struggled with injury, but when he's on the field, he's at worst to me a top 3 left tackle in the game. Runyon most likely will play that left guard. Michael Schmitz wasn't great in his rookie season, but you have to hope for the best, especially as a second-round pick. I don't love this offensive line, but if it can stay healthy, hopefully it can just be average for the New York Giants and Daniel Jones. Last year when he played, he was one of the most sacked quarterbacks in the league. Maybe you can also allude to his pocket presence not being that great, and I don't disagree overly, but it also gets to a point where you kind of get scarred when your offensive line is so consistently shit. So with Malik Neighbors, with a slightly improved offensive line, I'm hoping that this is a successful season for Daniel Jones. And right now, he's the 16th highest paid quarterback in the National Football League. And to a majority, that is too high. And that's fair, especially with Daniel Jones getting injured last season, his best season having 22 total touchdowns, although it was awesome in the ground in the running game, wasn't as prolific as a passer. But like I mentioned, Darius Slayton, Wan'Dale Robinson, he finally has someone that he can throw the ball to on a consistent basis. I think given contract, it may not be the craziest thing to see Daniel Jones' contract picked up if he plays relatively well this season, especially as the 16th highest paid quarterback. But again, it's all dependent on this year. If he's bad, no way, no how. I don't see it because this is the first time they have an out, and they're not going to miss the opportunity to do that if he plays poorly again.
I think we saw, if everyone watched Hard Knocks, when Joe Shane broke the news to Brian Dable basically saying, we're keeping Daniel, he didn't seem the happiest. I'll say that. I think Brian Dable knows the limitations of
I
Daniel
did
Jones.
everything for him to get a good season.
Like, yo,
Because
like,
it really seemed like they want to go up and get Drake May. That's what the whole show made it seem like. Hard Knocks. They showed scenes of them going with Elliott Wolf. Excuse me, not Elliott Wolf, the New England's GM.
That is Elliott
It is
Wolf.
Wolf?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
my apologies. Going to see Elliott Wolf and talking trades with them, and then basically saying that we're going to stay put. They knew Drake May was going to be available, but regardless, Daniel Jones has the chance to. If the Giants win a lot of games and they make a wild card again, and they're picking at 20 instead of 5 or 6 like they were this year, then Daniel Jones' job is a lot more safe, right? Because you don't have such a high draft pick. But I'd be pretty surprised, honestly, even with how Daniel Jones plays this upcoming year, outside of like a Pro Bowl caliber season, that he'd stay with New York. I think I think the relationship has soured some. I think just based off of Brian Daboll's just energy and just body language, doesn't seem like he's the most happy having Daniel Jones as his quarterback. And I think what he's shown over the last few years is it's just been too many mistakes, whether it's interceptions, sacks, fumbles. And of course you have that 1 year where you go to the playoffs, you beat Minnesota, your first playoff win in however many years, and you bring some hope back to New York. But I think between everything outside of that year, plus you add a torn ACL, and it's your first real chance, like you mentioned, Drew, to get out of the contract and start fresh. I don't know if you're just going to pay Daniel Jones $40 million outright. There's been rumors about Dak Prescott reportedly being available, and it seems like the Giants, that'd be a possible destination. Be funny if he went to Dallas, New York. But I would be surprised if Daniel Jones lasts beyond this year. Malik Neighbors, by far and away, his best option he's ever had. Still think the rest of the options are pretty damn shitty. The running game is going to be pretty questionable, but this is a team that I still think Brian Daboll is one of the better head coaches, better offensive minds, and this defense should win them some games. Like, this is one of the better defensive lines in the NFL, so they should be able to get after the quarterback. It's just, you got to be winning games to get after the quarterback, right? Like, it's great to have a good defensive line, but if you're trailing, it's a bit harder to use that aggressiveness and those pass rushers, because you could just run the ball if you're up 2 touchdowns in the second half. So Daniel Jones, I do think his time in New York is probably coming to an end, and it's probably best for both. He moves on, Giants move on, and I think the 2025 quarterback class, there's a good chance that that's where the Giants quarterback comes from.
Before you go, Joel, let me ask you a question. Any names in 2025
honestly,
that's moving them?
As I was saying, you shouldn't want a top 10 pick. I'm thinking next class doesn't have like a dude. Yeah. You know what I mean? So there's a decent chance that the first quarterback, it's a Kenny Pickett situation from a couple years ago where their first quarterback's going in the teens or the 20s.
Damn, Shador's a Kenny Pickett.
You have like Carson Beck and Shore, Shore, and Quinn Ewers.
What about Drew Allar? What's his
none of these guys seem or project to be like top 10 guys.
Oh, okay.
I think the guy that probably has a lot of upside is Riley Leonard from Notre Dame.
Yeah, I've
heard
that
name
transferred
from Duke to Notre Dame, and I like Riley Leonard a lot.
Another possible Duke quarterback in New York?
He's not a first rounder in my opinion, unless he surprises me this year.
Somebody has to pop, right?
Yeah, somebody does. Carson Beck is the number one quarterback in the class right now.
He's from Clemson, right?
He's from Georgia. Yeah, he plays for Georgia.
Who the hell is I'm thinking? Oh, Cade Kubnik. That's what I was thinking of. I played that college football too much, man.
I'd honestly be shocked if Daniel Jones was the starting quarterback. I'd be shocked if he wasn't benched. I think he's gonna get benched because next year the Giants. Yeah, I mean they really don't have a good quarterback room at all.
Hurt. Also, Marshawn Lloyd looks like he's going on IR.
Damn.
Drew Lock is bad even if he wasn't hurt. I wouldn't put him.
He's not a good quarterback.
He's not good.
Daniel Jones,
his aura though,
has an injury guarantee.
No aura.
If Daniel Jones gets injured and he's unable to pass a physical in March, then the Giants have guaranteed Daniel Jones $23 million of his 2025 salary. If the Giants have plans of moving on from Daniel Jones after this season, and let's say they start out, they're like 3-10, and Daniel Jones isn't hurt, it makes a lot of sense to bench him so you're not on the hook for his money next year in case he does get hurt.
It's a Derek Carr situation. Very similar.
And a Russell Wilson situation. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I do think that Brian Daboll's reputation shouldn't be based off of how good he can make Daniel Jones. I think he was put in a near impossible situation when that's what he was tasked with, and the Moran family has a lot of ties with Daniel Jones because he reminds them about Eli Manning, so they're super loyal to him. It's unfortunate they were unable to get Drake May because them beating the Patriots is the reason why the Patriots got that third overall pick.
We can also say it's super unfortunate, or however you put it, that they've done nothing to benefit Daniel Jones. That's kind of how I see it too, where a lot of my stance is this is the first season, at least how it's kind of how I feel, that they've done something of relevance that we kind of see and we trust. Did we trust Kenny Golladay overly to be an awesome home run addition?
He was supposed to.
I guess in the moment when you're giving 17.
But there was even around the league, there was pause to give him that amount of money.
They traded for Darren Waller. I'm not saying that's the best move.
But the front office has been shitty.
You had to make the playoffs after
they
the Waller
drafted Jalen Hyatt. They've tried.
Yeah, for sure.
They just can't draft.
Because they just won they just won a playoff game and made the playoffs with a worse team.
I feel like they were a clear regression team. They weren't going to do it again.
I guess that's fair. But Daniel Jones also. I mean, the offensive line was terrible. Andrew Thomas was hurt for the first month, and that's the time where Daniel Jones played the most and was his worst, of course. But when you don't have Andrew Thomas, your offensive line's already horrendous. Now it's even worse when you don't have one of the best left tackles in football. There's not much that you can do. And I feel like Daniel Jones, although doesn't help himself a good amount of time, he doesn't get the benefit of doubt a lot, even though he did win a playoff game with a objectively bad offense while he had to be the quarterback and one of the two running backs.
I feel like Brian Dable in his season with Daniel Jones, when Daniel Jones had to break out 15 passing touchdowns, I think that in
800 rushing yards.
season,
You didn't have to say
800 total rushing
that was
yards
a
from
breakout.
regular
That one got
season
down.
and
That one
postseason.
got good.
the 15 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. He was very efficient.
How many rushing TDs? Yeah.
He had he
Eight?
had 7 rushing TDs, 22 total touchdowns, 800 rushing playoff and regular season.
The thing
You know
is,
who did that? 800?
Oh,
it's
Josh
clearly
Allen.
not a stat that
Lamar.
matters. If Daniel Jones
Lamar,
did it too.
Kyler Murray.
Cam probably.
That, again, 15 passing. I can make people laugh.
15 is kind of
800's insane.
15 passes.
Especially when your best wide receiver is step back 3, Darius Slayton. He's
You
a
know-
wide receiver 3 being tasked to be a wide receiver 1. And I feel bad for bashing him every single time I talk about the Giants receiving core because it's not his fault that he's being forced into a situation where he simply shouldn't be.
Those stats are like the army meme with the clown standing next to the 3 soldiers. That stat, Daniel Jones being in that company, because he's not in that company. And the way that
He's an elite rushing option at the quarterback position.
Now he's coming off an ACL. Though.
the way that
know,
he
that
got
hurts.
his production in 2022, he had the lowest ADOT in the NFL. He had the lowest deep pass throwing rate. He didn't target down the field, even when there were avenues for him to target down the field. The reason why he took care of the ball so well was because he was completing easy passes. He was near the bottom of the league in tight window throws. So even with the lack of receivers, he wasn't throwing into crowded spaces. He was throwing into open spaces. He didn't have a high tight window rate when he threw the ball. So Daniel Jones this year, this is why I'm excited to watch the Giants, because based on the preseason, after the 2 interceptions that he threw, the Giants were airing the ball out down the field, and they were making it a point of emphasis to take advantage of Wan'Dale Robinson, of Malik Neighbors, because they have downfield targets.
It was lit.
RG3
So
up here.
this
That's crazy.
year, there's 2 things that can happen, right? One of the things is that Daniel Jones can be an excellent deep ball thrower, and the Giants offense is able to chunk off
used to be known
a
for
lot
that.
of explosive plays. Or the other thing is that he's going to throw a boatload of interceptions targeting the field, targeting down the field a lot. So I think he's going to get benched at some point because the Giants don't want to be tied to him after this year.
I think the most exciting thing about this Giants season is going to be their defense. I think their
Facts.
defense is going to
Cook.
perform at a high level. Probably top 12, top 10 defense more in the back end. Unfortunately, their offense is going to have some trouble, so they may look a little bit worse than what they actually are. But they have the talent in the front 7, and I think their secondary is young. They have some excitement there. They have some youth there, so it can be a little bit better than expecting. I trust Brian Dable. I think he's one of the 5 most trusted coaches in the league. To me, I think he's amazing at what he does. He's a motivator. He's a leader of men. But in terms of just that,
He's an angry fellow, though.
Yeah,
He
emphasis.
is an angry fella. He's lost a lot of weight. Maybe
listen, I'll be angry
lost some
too if I'm out there. Because you're out there, your quarterback's he's just not a guy. But I
Tell you
think.
what, when Rex lost all his weight, they were lost.
No, I know.
Coaching fell off.
Oh,
Yeah.
man, I hate that for him. But to answer the question, I think this is Daniel Jones' last season in New York. You mentioned, and that's why I asked that question about the quarterbacks in the first round, because I think no matter what, the Giants have to go quarterback, right? Like, they're not thinking nobody else. I don't think Dak is going to get traded to New York. I don't think Dallas would ever do no shit like that.
He's
They'd rather
unrestricted
just
next season, isn't he?
he
Yeah,
could
He can't
walk.
be
You
franchised,
could.
right? I don't think he can.
I wouldn't want to give
can't.
Dak that money either, because I don't think the Giants are in a position to jump up to just a Super Bowl contender yet. I
But
think
if Jerry Jones knows New York is calling, he's like, all right, let's get this wrapped up.
we
Dak."
think that, but he just took 2 months to pay CeeDee Lamb, so I legit don't know, and he still hasn't paid Dak, and I don't know how long he's gonna take to pay
Gotta pay
Micah.
Micah, too.
So yeah, like God bless his soul. Jerry Jones is a legend in the game. But I think they'll have to go first. They'll have to go a quarterback in the first round. This offense is just not ready yet, and you need a a new reset, a new quarterback on a nice rookie deal. So you can start sending money elsewhere, at the tight end position. Back more on the offensive line. You got to start either paying dudes, bringing in some help.
Or you can
another
draft
wide
good.
receiver. You can draft good, but what we've seen is they don't hit well.
And then it's Daniel Jones' fault they draft shitty.
Well, it's Daniel Jones' fault that he fumbles a lot and he keeps throwing interceptions. But
That was 3
nonetheless,
years ago.
Nonetheless, he'll have a good year this year.
What's the stat line?
18-7.
So this is a breakout season. Ain't your
I didn't say
that. 18 touchdowns.
Drew, what's your stat
You're
projection?
expecting a lot.
I mean, I'm Malik Neighbors. I think he'll give him 3 more. Like Malik is OD.
I think 24 and
24 what?
13.
Like total?
24 touchdowns?
Yeah, 24
total,
and
right?
13.
Stroud
Can we make a
Stroud had
Please?
23 last year.
please?
Stroud's going to be one of the league leaders in touchdowns.
No, he said last year. You think Daniel could throw more than Stroud last year?
Yeah. He threw 24 his rookie season.
It was a minute ago you just told me. I just told you about the
No,
fumble.
I got
said it was a
you.
minute ago.
That was also his rookie season. He fumbled unbelievable amounts.
did.
He went 24 and 12 his rookie season.
Really?
He fumbled,
Like
I think,
30
13
It
times.
was crazy.
Oh, yeah, it was terrible.
Bro had Carson Wentz syndrome. I get it.
Yeah, but now that he actually has Malik Neighbors, I think that the passing touchdowns will also follow.
Yeah.
Though-
I'm a lot
And
higher
total,
on.
24 total. Just over.
Yeah, 24.
Passing.
No,
Oh,
I
no,
think,
he's
adding the
I
rushing.
think
He's
it's-
locking it in.
Like 30 total at that
No,
point.
no, I won't say all that.
6 rushing.
Brother, he had 23 in his breakout year total.
It's gonna be 24 around 24 though. Like my head is over 20 passing touchdowns, not more than 24 though.
20 and 24.
That's the breakout you're talking about.
How many turnovers?
20.
I think I'm
passing?
around 13, 14
So, can I ask you a
because
question?
again I do think they're gonna air it out a little bit more and he'll have his rushing touchdowns for sure because that's just what he does.
Drew, let's play like a little fun game. Who is he throwing these TDs out to? Like, you got Neighbors. Who else? Like, who else?
Wandale
Neighbors is getting
Robinson
10.
also can get one of those.
So if you had to stretch it out,
Jalen Hyatt
you think
also is a
Malik's
deep
getting
play.
like 5 or 6?
Malik probably can have like 7, 8 touchdowns.
Okay,
his
then
rookie
who's
season.
getting? So then
Jalen
Wandale-
Hyatt can get like 4.
That's 11.
Wandale can probably get like 4.
Okay, that's 14, 15, 15,
Devin Singletary
Career high
can
for a lot
probably
of these
get
guys.
2.
Slayton got to get like 3.
17.
Slayton will
At
inevitably
least
get
20.
3.
Oh,
which
he's
is
20
annoying.
right here.
Yeah,
This is-
that's
you hit 20 flat.
and
Lot of
Ellinger will
optimism.
probably get into the end zone once, twice,
Oh, so
maybe.
he might get 22.
Wow.
A lot of optimism. I love it.
I mean, there's speed on the outside with Jalen, of course, and Malik Neighbors himself.
I'm higher on Wandale
Wandale
and
is fast
Jalen
too.
than most people. So.
Jalen playing on the outside, that's going to be a pretty consistent option for Daniel, especially with the offense that they want to trend towards in this upcoming season. And Jalen Hyatt's a burner. We saw it with Tyrod Taylor that play is there. Daniel just needs to be willing and able to throw it. And I think that he is. When we saw him early in his career, he was a pretty great deep ball passer. Again, they've just done nothing to give him weapons to utilize that and also an offensive line to protect him to air it out. But I think this year he's put in his best situation. Even still, that's not saying much.
So you're describing a situation where he is the Giants quarterback next year.
Again, yes, I guess. But even so, I don't think 20 touchdowns gets you another $40 million.
Just depends what options are out
Yeah.
there.
And I think this defense is going to be amazing. I think you said top 10. I think that's perfectly said. This front 7 is going to be pretty sick. You look at the fact of Sexy Dexy is a top 3 D tackle in the game. Kayvon, Brian Burns, Bobby Okereke. You have Tay.
Thanks.
Thank you very much. He was awesome last season in his rookie campaign. Losing Xavier McKinney really stinks because I think that he really would have tied in this defense perfectly. But $17 million to Xavier when you have so many other players that you were able to bring in Brian Burns and make him one of the highest paid defensive end in football. Although maybe I'd look at that as a little bit of an overpay considering he's still a great option as a defensive end. You lose that secondary play, but you still solidify what matters, and that's obviously a defensive line that can get to the quarterback and alleviate a little bit of pressure on your secondary.
Dehls, I'm playing around. You use that top 10 defense?
I think they'll have a great pass rush for sure. I don't know.
Riv
I do
said
think
top 10, top
Riv,
12.
Yeah,
That's, yeah,
the
Riv.
secondary. I
back end.
do
That's
have
back
some
end.
concerns with the secondary
Yeah, top 10,
still,
12,
but that
12.
pass rush should be elite. Pass rush should be elite.
Listen, we saw with the Raiders a couple of years back when they made the playoffs against the Bengals, where their secondary skill-wise, I think Cam Hayward at the time was their best secondary player, and this was towards the back end of Cam Hayward's career. The pass rush was so great that it made the pass offense look a lot better. In a similar situation where you have Brian Burns, you have Sexy Dexy, and of course Kayvon, who had over double-digit sacks last season, this is going to be an elite trio of guys that can get to the quarterback. And again, make the secondary not look as depleted as it may be right now, minus, of course, Tay Banks.
Who's their projected CB2 this year?
They drafted him in the 3rd round. Thank you very much.
Phillips. Yeah.
It's Drew
They
Phillips.
still have Bobby Okiki.
Okereke.
Okereke.
Okereke, allegedly.
Facts, yeah.
Yeah, he's awesome.
And I thought Micah McFadden was solid last year. Nothing too crazy, you know what I'm saying? I did my little research on the Giants. They all right.
No, they got a cute defense.
Yeah, they do it. Their
He's talking
secondary.
to Seb a lot.
Listen, man, they secondary. I get it.
Seb hates
little-
Daniel Jones.
Yeah, you know he wants
Jets
him.
were tearing them up in joint practice. That's all.
Oh no,
I
we
saw.
were violating them.
No, you should though. You
Yeah.
100%.
and I
should.
didn't even mention it, but
No, Seb
I
wants
hated
dangerous things happen to
I
Daniel
hated the
Jones.
quote that Daniel Jones had after that joint practice.
What do you say?
Malik Neighbors came out and he said that we got our ass
Oh,
kicked,
facts.
and then Daniel Jones was like, "We executed very well." And it's your rookie receiver is holding you guys to this standard, and Daniel Jones is like, that's fine what we did. I'm kind of content with it.
Daniel
And-
Jones' numbers, I remember, were fine. Like, he was accurate and stuff, but the beat reporters there, so it was just like all
Do you
check
guys
downs
know
underneath.
who Bobby Douglas is?
No, DeMario Douglas.
He has the 5th most rushing yards for a quarterback ever.
Bobby Douglas.
He
What
played
year?
for Chicago in 72.
Oh, shout out to Bobby.
Spells Douglas with 2 S's.
There are 2 quarterbacks in the 2020 draft class that have yet to win a playoff game. Joe Burrow has won one. Jordan Love has won one. Jalen Hurts has won one.
Just won more
Multiple.
than one.
But so far,
I know you didn't want to say that, but
so far,
Just won two.
Justin Herbert had his chance, blew
multiple.
a lead at halftime, 27 points to 0, if I'm not mistaken. And Tua had his chance. He didn't play in his first playoff game. Skylar Thompson played in it. And then the second time around, he was in KC and he didn't play well either. Which one of these 2 quarterbacks do you think will win a playoff game first?
I love that.
Before we start, did you? I want to say Zach Wilson, Justin Fields, Trey Lance. They all win the same draft, right?
2020.
We all flopped. That
Yeah,
year.
no, they're
Like,
all. Mac Jones was in that class.
Yeah, like I was a Justin Fields fan. You were Trey Lance. You were Zach. They all suck now, and I find that just so funny. The answer is the Dolphins. And I know, I'm not the biggest Tua fan. I'm also not the biggest Justin Herbert fan. So this is me not being biased. This is me giving my objectivity here. But I just think Miami's a better team right now. And I think, with the way it's played, I think Miami has a chance where they could maybe host a playoff game. And if not host a playoff game, they'll be in the playoffs. And, when you're in the playoffs in the NFL, you just prepare for one game, one night, anything can happen. I think for the Chargers, unfortunately, they did go into that playoff game against the Jags. They were up big in the first half. Second half came out, and, even watching Justin Herbert, he didn't look like the top 5 quarterback that you wanted to see from him. He didn't have a good game, and Tua also had a shitty game against the Chiefs. But I think with Miami, I trust the infrastructure more at the moment. You got Mike McDaniels, you got Tyree, you got Waddle. I think the offense is preparing to have another breakout statistical elite year. I think the defense will be solid. And I think for the Chargers just right now, I think their defense, if they're healthy, it's going to be really good. Offensively, though, I really struggle with looking at the lack of talent they have, and I really struggle. When I get the quarterback discrepancy, I will always pick Justin Herbert over Tua. But I think at the same time, when you have Tua, Tyreek, and Jalen Waddle, it looks a lot different than when Justin Herbert has Ladd and all these other guys. So I think for me, I think Miami would win it before the Chargers. Now, if the Chargers end up 2 off seasons and they bring back an elite team, then I could look stupid for this. But I think Miami right now, I just trust them a little bit more.
Unless your thought process is that neither team wins a playoff game this season, and then next season Chargers have another off season where they can revamp, get another wide receiver, and then now we're talking about next year's playoffs, then you can make your argument. But if we're going solely off this year, the Dolphins have the better offense, they have the better defense. That's what it comes down to. I guess you could look at head coach, and I would still take Harbaugh off over McDaniels, and that's a respect to McDaniel, who is a pretty good head coach in his own right. But Jim Harbaugh has come into the league, has shown that he can be dominant, go back to go coach college, be dominant in his own right, so much so that he had a job immediately when he wanted to come back to the National Football League. So I look at both of these teams, and it's really simple to me. If we're talking about this season, Dolphins have the better team on both sides. When it comes to offense, even though Justin Herbert is better than Tua at the quarterback position, the offense as a whole, it's the Miami Dolphins pretty easily. The offensive line, I probably would lean with the Chargers because they do have Rashawn Slater and now Joe Alt. But the offensive line for Miami, I'll never love it. I understand Armstead, when he's on the field, it is a drastic difference with Miami's offense. But again, it's a certain unreliability that I see with Tehran that I can't trust him fully. You lose Robert Hunt, of course. This offensive line is definitely going to struggle, but with the offense that we've seen in Miami, it's going to be quick, it's going to be fast, they're going to get the ball out, they're going to run the ball pretty efficiently. Also, Raheem Mostert and now Devon Achane. this is a high-powered offense mixed with the fact on the opposite side, at the secondary, you add Kendall Fuller, you add Jordan Poyer, mix that with Jalen Ramsey and Javon Holland. You bring in Jordan Brooks at the linebacker position. You bring in Anthony Long. You bring in, of course, Chop Robinson, who's been pretty good in this preseason, and he was a super raw talent, but he's been showing flashes early on. Jalen Phillips is ready to go. Bradley Chubb will most likely start the season on the PUP, which means he's ineligible for the first 4 weeks. But when he comes back, now we're talking about a surefire defense, an all-around defense. That's obviously what would intrigue me more as opposed to the Chargers, where I can't trust that Joey Bosa is going to stay on the field. I don't know what version of Derwin James I'm going to get. Khalil Mack, another year older, was pretty good last season, but how's he going to look now again, like I just mentioned, another year to his career? I don't love this Chargers team as a whole. I trust Jim Harbaugh. He deserves that. I trust Justin Herbert. Maybe he doesn't deserve that, but the talent that he has, it's obvious. Just go turn on the film. But when it comes to comparing the two, it's obvious the Dolphins are the better team.
I wonder which way you go to spice things up a little bit. I think both teams going into this season, ceiling to me is like a wild card type team. I don't think either team is going to win the division. For the Chargers going through Kansas City, I mean, that would be the biggest surprise of this whole season. If the Chargers somehow come out, win the division, Kansas City doesn't win it for the first time in the Mahomes era, I would be appalled. The Dolphins, of course, have an easier path because the Jets and the Bills, I just don't think are as good as the Kansas City Chiefs. We all have them consensus number one in our power rankings. But I just look at that last 6 weeks Miami schedule that we've gone through so many times, and it doesn't get harder than that. They're playing the best teams in the NFL the last month and a half of the season. And what we've seen from Miami the last couple of years is the same thing happens. They're going to start off on fire. They'll probably start off like 8-1 again, be one of the top offenses. Tua's going to be in MVP talks. But once we get to that final 6 games, they're going to have a really big lead because it's likely they go 1-5, 2-4 at best under that stretch. And 3-3 would be best case scenario. So we're talking about both of these teams, the Chargers and the Dolphins, likely being wild card teams. That means if you're the 5, 6, 7, you're going into the number 2 ranked team in the AFC, whether that's Baltimore, whether that's Kansas City. If the Jets are able to stay healthy, I think all of these teams are better than the Chargers and the Dolphins.
You think Miami going into Houston, though, is crazy?
No, that's doable for sure.
It's in a dome.
That's the one team I look at in terms of division leaders, favorites right now, that if they went into Houston, that's a 50-50 game. That could go either way. But going to, again, those cold weather environments on the road in January is going to be really tough for both teams, I think. So I would have both of these teams probably not winning a playoff game this year. And to Drew's point, the argument you would make, going into next season, with what the Chargers are building, I could see that happening. Miami right now, they just need to show it to me. They just need to show to be able to win those big games down the stretch of the season, be able to lock up the division, be able to win a playoff game. Of course, the Chargers haven't been able to get that done either, but I think it's a little bit different when you hire a new coach, someone as successful as Jim Harbaugh has been throughout his career, whether you look at the NFL or at the college level. I think the culture and the team they're building there over the next 2 or 3 seasons is going to have more success than Miami will.
I feel like this is just between taking something that's known and something that can be an unknown. The public and our perception of these two teams is very much the Dolphins are better. When you look at Vegas and FanDuel and their lines, the win totals, Miami's line is at 9.5. The Chargers line is at 8.5. So they're projecting the Dolphins to be a better team, but by 1 win. And that's just a credit to Jim Harbaugh and respecting him because he's been able to turn around programs before. With the Dolphins, part of me questions if this is the year that things are just going to go right for them. Because you look at the beginning of their schedule, and much like the New York Jets, it's a very easy schedule. If they start off 8-3, which is very possible given how their schedule looks like right now, is this the year that they turn the tide and they start beating these teams or at least splitting them? Because the problem is not that they're losing to an elite team. The problem is that they're always losing to an elite team or a great team. But if they can find a way to split, or instead of going 1-6, you go 2-4, I think now we're talking about a team that maybe can get a home playoff game. I struggle with believing in the Dolphins just because they're a team built for the regular season. They are elite at running outside of their tackles, but their interior offensive line is not very good.
With you.
And in the playoffs, when defenses scheme up for that, they leave that area susceptible, and they're not able to run up the middle. They add another linebacker to the middle of the field and you're not able to throw those middle routes that Tua loves and you force him to throw outside the numbers. I do see a scenario where the Chargers make the playoffs and they face a team like, let's say, a Cincinnati if they happen to win the AFC North, and that's a terrible run defense. And you're like, okay, with this play style, they do match up well with this team. And then there's an upset alert brewing with that because I think the Chargers will be built much more to be a sustainable team and to actually have success against weaker run defenses in the AFC. I'm going to go with the Chargers because I feel like in the AFC, a ton of top teams in the AFC are terrible run defenses. And I think what the Chargers are building with this rushing offense, I think it would be one of the better ones in the league. If J.K. Dobbins stays healthy, I mean, we are really seeing something special because he's an explosive player. And Justin Herbert, I think, is in that tier with the Allens where he is a one-man offense. And they do need to make a move at the deadline, though, because I don't envision myself picking for the Chargers in the playoffs if Josh Palmer, McConkey, and all these guys are still on the team. They need to get a trade for somebody, even if it's somebody like a Jacoby Myers, somebody in that type of tier to at least make this passing attack somewhat respectable.
So you don't think the Dolphins' rushing attack will be better than the Chargers?
This year?
Yeah.
No, the Dolphins, I think, will be better.
So they'll have a
But I
better
think
rushing attack, passing attack, probably a healthier defense, and you're still going with the Chargers.
I think the Dolphins, the way they're going to get their efficiency is on outside runs.
Of course.
And they're able to do that because their running backs are so fast and their tackles play better like that in space. But in the playoffs,
dog shit in between?
Their offense is dog shit when running in between tackles. And I think their offense is very schemable in these playoff environments. And I do trust the Chargers defense. I think that's the unit I'm highest on with their team. Even if Joey Bosa is hurt, obviously I wouldn't want him to miss the entirety of the season.
That's a tough one, man.
But they had a joint practice with the Rams, and they shut down the Rams offense. And that was with Puka, and that was with Cooper Kupp.
Let me ask you a question, because it is preseason. The Broncos shut down the Packers in joint practice. Am I supposed to be here and just be concerned about the Packers offense because the Broncos, who we're all projecting to be one of the worst teams in the league, went and shut down one of the most prolific pass offenses in the league? It's not fair to do that.
I'd be excited about the Broncos defense, and I think the Broncos defense is
So you think the Packers offense is overrated?
No, I don't. I just think the Broncos have a good defense.
We got good personnel.
Yeah.
We got good personnel.
And I think with the Chargers, their defensive line, their duo, their edge rushers are going to be one of the best in the league.
They just have to
play. That if they're healthy,
agreed.
They are a better defensive line than the Miami Dolphins.
Disagree.
Khalil Mack is not the same, though.
I think they both
Yes,
have
he
the
is.
same questions.
Khalil Mack is still an elite edge rusher.
You have 4 edge rushers that all get banged up.
That's true.
Yeah.
I just think you watch that Buffalo and that Chiefs game, and it keeps just wrapping in my brain. That was a team that so bad run defense, ran the ball a shit ton, and just because they couldn't get nothing consistent in the pass game, especially late in the fourth quarter, they couldn't win that game. And I look at the Chargers, and they may have that ability to run on other teams, but it's gonna be a moment where you're gonna have to make a play in the passing.
And that's when you
department.
have Justin Herbert. Well, you just said Josh Allen. To be fair,
you
that's
do.
a good
And
point.
I agree.
Yeah.
Justin Herbert, Josh Allen.
Two dogs.
Yeah, but it's like Josh Allen had Stephon Diggs, and he still couldn't. The Chargers don't have anybody on Khalil Shakir's level, at this point. So it's like
Respect Josh Palmer.
No, that's not even they're just saying they don't have anybody. So it's like you're just relying a lot on the defense being healthy, which they haven't shown us. Unfortunate, because they have a lot of great players on that defensive side. Then you're relying on the run game to be consistent, which in terms of also hoping J.K. Dobbins will be healthy for the first time in his NFL career.
I am hopeful that he is healthy.
And then the
because if he is, he's
receivers
gonna be
who
good.
I don't like receivers to be being rookies or inexperienced to come out and just be amazing. That's a lot of ifs. I don't know.
I'm only expecting one player to stay healthy on defense. That's Joey Bosa. That's the only
Derwin
guy that
James
needs to stay healthy. Derwin James has been somewhat healthy, and
He
last
has to get
year,
back to that form.
him and Alohi Gilman they were one of the better safety duos in the NFL, and I think Asante Samuel Jr. is really good.
Yeah.
I am also counting on Christian Fulton having a little bit of a bounce back. He's been having a tremendous camp, and he's looked really good in his playing time in preseason, and I think he's somebody that going into his third season in the NFL, I was very high on for him to break out, and then he fell off a cliff with Tennessee, and there's a reason why the Chargers signed him. They took a flyer on a guy that was a highly touted prospect who was very talented, and I do trust Jim Harbaugh to get the most of this. And like I said when I begun, this is like taking something that's unknown versus something that you know has shown itself already. The Dolphins over the past, I can say 4 years now, dating back to Brian Flores and his first year with Tua, every year they have had a chance to make the playoffs, and they fumbled twice with Flores, and then with Mike McDaniel.
I mean, they
Tua
made it
got
twice,
hurt
though.
in year 3, so I'm not going to put that much on him because we don't know what they could have been if they went into Buffalo, because Skylar Thompson kept them at least within like fighting distance.
Yeah, that Miami
But the
defense
fourth
showed
year,
out.
you know, they just tend to collapse at the worst time, and their record by month gets worse and worse and worse.
Yeah, no, I get that.
And that to me shows a team that's not built for the playoffs.
The Chargers haven't shown you, though, in the last 3 or 4 years that they can get to the playoffs. They've done it once.
They've had the worst coaching in the NFL.
That terrible coach.
Yeah,
I think what we're
that
saying
is-
is
that is
both
very
teams.
true.
It's matchup dependent. If
super
Miami
selective.
goes up
He
and they
is.
get
You peep, though,
they
right?
get Houston round 1, that's a great matchup. If they can't Kansas City round 1, that's terrible. Same thing for the Chargers. If either of these teams get one of the weaker AFC teams, like they have a chance to beat Cincinnati. They have a chance to beat Houston. Now, granted, we don't know what those teams are going to look like at the end of the year. Like fucking Cincinnati fucks around and has like a top 5 rush defense somehow, then things change. But it's just both of these teams can't go in and beat juggernauts, in my opinion. Like they're not matchup proof by any means. So if they get a favorable matchup, if Miami gets a dome game, for example, if the Chargers get a game against a susceptible run defense, then anything's possible. But I think we all kind of see these teams as like fringe playoff teams. You get the right matchup, you can win a playoff game.
So will any of these teams win a playoff game this year?
I don't think so.
If I'm putting my money on anyone,
I don't even have the Chargers making the playoffs.
my tribal chief.
That's the first step. I
don't.
think Miami makes the playoffs.
It's okay, at least in my opinion and estimation, to trust that the Chargers will be back next year. Year one,
This is a better
immediately,
question for next year.
Harbaugh just comes in. I get it. He's a superstar head coach. He's unbelievably great. I get that, but it's unfair expectation for him for us to go and look at him and think you have to make this team a playoff team in your first year because of who you are.
The Niners went from what, 4 to 11,
Yeah,
13?
yeah, that's kind of what happened.
Like no
6 to
troll.
13?
This is
Yeah.
like.
That
But the
was crazy.
roster's not the Niners
It's
when
not,
he took
yeah.
over.
I mean,
It was nobody thought the Niners
He
roster
also
was the
didn't have
Niners
Justin
roster.
Herbert on the Niners roster.
Yeah, but then you look at that defense: Alden Smith,
Crying. It
was
Justin
nasty.
Smith,
It
Navarro
was
Bowman.
Are the Chargers outright
Patrick
just going to
Willis.
be better than Pittsburgh?
Yes.
Say it again.
Are the
Chargers,
Chargers
Pittsburgh?
outright, just flat out?
Yes.
Yes, they're going to be
And
better
I will
than
say
Pittsburgh.
the
I think they'll have
Chargers.
more wins. John, Pittsburgh or the Chargers? Who do you got?
Like, is that a conclusion? Because we say that, and then Pittsburgh knocks out about 9 wins, and we're like, oh, well, they're here again.
The Steelers' floor is way higher.
It
the
is.
Chargers' floor is 5 or 6 wins. The Steelers' floor is 9.
Five or six is like the fewest Jim Harbaugh's
The
had in his career.
Steelers'
I
floor is
recognize
that. They
That's
had
no,
the
the
worst
Steelers'
No,
point.
no,
like,
the floor
no,
is
They
8
had,
games. The
they
floor is
had the
8.
worst point differential of any
They
team
won,
that
like,
The floor is
Nine
the
games.
floor is 8.
that's been 500.
That
They
shit
had a
don't matter.
negative point differential
And
last
they won
year.
a lot of games.
Actually, yeah, the floor is. It's
Standard.
9.
The floor is
seven.
Nine.
Seven.
I
No,
think
the floor is
7.
9.
You
In
know-
Mike Tom's career, it's been at least 500.
This is what's funny about the
They
Steelers.
went 10-7 last year.
I know.
Joel, be
Mason
careful what you
Rudolph
say.
came
Grace
in.
of God.
Mason Rudolph came in the last month of the year and lit shit on
They
fire.
went
guarantee
10
you the
wins,
Steelers-
9 wins, 9 wins, 12,
I
8,
guarantee you
9, 13. Nah.
The
They sell their
Steelers do.
soul.
The Steelers do
Get
not
9
finish
wins.
with more wins than the Chargers. The Chargers will finish with more wins.
I
than
would
the
take
Steelers.
Chargers over the Steelers too.
I'm not, listen, I'm not
Because
even.
they're sexier. That's really why you do.
okay.
That's
No,
really why
it's
you do
not.
I
that.
think Jim Harbaugh has just shown wherever he goes,
He's
you win.
sexy.
Mike
Yeah.
Tomlin, you could say the
He's-
same thing. He's been here, and
Yeah,
they're good at
you win
worst.
9 games.
They're gonna win 9.
But Harbaugh's like,
So
we'll
they're
win
gonna have
13.
to win 10. If the Chargers win 13, I will do the most disgusting
I don't think
shit
they
you
win
can think
13,
of.
but I think they can win 10 games. I think that's possible.
You know the
What's the 15?
Steelers.
Team's not that good.
The team actually is dog.
That Niners
Since-
team was way better on the cup.
Since
sure, for
Ben
sure.
Roethlisberger has left the Steelers, Mike Tomlin has won about 70% of his one-score games, which is an unsustainable
He's a
rate.
goat. That
Here's
coach
the
Done it
thing.
for so many years.
Here's the thing, though. Here's the thing. With Ben Roethlisberger, when Ben Roethlisberger was in his prime, their win percentage against 500 teams was about 40%, which tells me that what is happening is unsustainable.
well,
Wait,
what
you
about
said-
in one score games?
You said one score in 500.
One score. Oh, when he was with Big Ben in his prime,
Yeah.
the Steelers in 1-4 game and one score games were
40%.
a 40%
So
win
he does
percentage.
less
less
more.
than 50% in one score
70.
games. That doesn't sound.
But
that's
with
interesting.
without Big Ben, it's like 70%.
I've looked at the Steelers' schedule. This shit is nasty.
Isn't it hard? It's the hardest schedule
brother,
in the
it's
league.
like me after 6 margaritas, bro.
Oh wow,
Yeah, it's this.
You don't
shit
want to
is-
be around.
that
you
gets
at
down
6
and dirty
margaritas.
quick.
They finished the season with Bengals, Chiefs, Eagles, Ravens, Browns, Bengals, Browns, Ravens.
Last year in the
That's
division.
the last 8
Heard, like,
games.
fucking
Last year in the division, didn't they go 5-1,
Well, you know they
John?
do too. You know
That's fucking
went what?
nuts. They
3-3?
went 5-1 in the division.
that's because
Yeah.
2 of them was
They're
against the
due to
Bengals.
regress.
They
That's what
whipped the
that tells
Bengals'
me.
ass twice.
They did.
Then they beat the Browns because Deshaun want to fumble and do weird shit. That's 3 wins right there.
That is.
Yeah, but
Shout out to DT.
no, their last 8 games.
And they
is
beat the
nuts.
Ravens. I don't think
They beat the Ravens.
Lamar hasn't beat the Steelers in his career, right, John?
No, tell him October
what is
2019.
bro?
Last time
Yeah.
Lamar beat
Now,
us.
the
Duck
schedule,
Hodges
I
at
understand
the
what you're saying. Now the schedule is crazy. Like they have like 3 winnable. They can still like they can lose to the Giants on some funny shit.
The
Like,
Steelers?
Yeah, like
that's
that's like
gonna be
on
a
some troll
fucking
shit.
33-point over/under.
I just think that the Steelers are not that talented, and I understand the Mike Tomlin
Neither
boo that
are
goes
the
on.
Chargers.
No, the Chargers are more talented than them. They are.
The
They
defense of the Steelers wipes,
It's like
and you trust the offense of the Chargers because they have Herbert more, and that's okay. I agree with that. I
I'm
agree.
with that, but it's like tomato, same vibe, same aura. Mike Tomlin.
The Chargers are going to be 4-2 after Week 6, and we're all going to be talking about them.
No, because the schedule's probably easy. What's this first 6 games?
He was just looking at his phone.
Yeah,
he was
he
looking at
thought he
that
was slick.
schedule.
What's
No,
the
I
first 6
wasn't
games?
actually. I was looking at this article. Look it up.
Okay, let's see.
It's an easy schedule. I'm not going to lie to you. It's an easy schedule.
Didn't we do a record prediction for them?
did.
Sure did. He had him like winning 12 games.
Nah, he had him at like 8-2 at some point or some
Yeah,
crazy
he's
shit.
going nuts. So their first 6 games are indeed the Raiders, which they can lose, the Panthers on the road, then Pittsburgh, literally in Pittsburgh, the Chiefs, the Broncos, and the Cardinals. They can lose 3 of these games.
That's not that easy.
It's not hard.
I
though.
think they beat the Cardinals. I think they beat the Steelers. I
They
think
can lose
beat
in
the Browns.
That's a
Pittsburgh,
pretty easy schedule.
I think they beat
the
for
Raiders.
what's, you know.
Considering the Chargers, in my eyes, are not that great,
they can legitimately lose to
the
Pittsburgh.
Steelers
in
can
Pittsburgh.
beat them.
Yeah,
Panthers, I won't do that to them.
Arizona
They can
can't
beat
upset them.
Panthers.
It's
They
in
have,
Arizona.
they have the best quarterback and coach in almost
Arizona
all
has
all those
terrible
matchups,
defense.
except maybe Pittsburgh with Tomlin.
It's going to be a fucking shootout.
That's a defense that those wide
Oh, they play
receivers with the
Kansas City.
Chargers can
Outside of
actually do
KC.
really well.
Yeah,
They
fact.
got the best.
I watched
quarterback
Arizona
coach
beat
combo.
Dallas and Philly in the same
The Broncos
year.
play them well every time.
That's
every
why-
time.
Split.
They could realistically be 5-1, but I had them losing to the Steelers because of the voodoo, whatever. I wanted to
They
give
can
them
lose to
2
the Raiders,
losses.
bro.
I think they'll beat the Raiders.
I know what you think.
It was
I'm just saying they can.
63-10 last year. It's
Yeah.
not no fucking walk in the park.
Raiders and Chargers.
East
Yeah,
thinks-
He's giving
Yeah,
them
that was-
easy.
that was-
when
Aiden O'Connell.
I mean, I
63.
can't.
Don't gas
the
it.
entire
Dehls,
team
Dehls,
gave up on
63
Brandon
I
points.
don't,
Staley.
bro.
63
You're
points.
going from Brandon Staley to Jim Harbaugh, bro. It's
Do
not
you think
even
the Raiders
same
and the Chargers are an
world.
easy game? You
I think
Chargers?
they're probably split, but I'm not looking at 63-10. Be like they're definitely losing that game. Like it's a
No,
different
no.
year.
I'm saying they can lose it.
Yeah,
That's
think
all
so.
I'm
I think
saying.
we just giving them these wins.
That's
just like,
what
it's,
I'm
it's
saying
losing
too.
me.
I'm here with Riff.
They're
It's
probably
not
around
a
the same
You
full
go
game.
game.
into
a lot of
week
these
one,
teams.
Raiders Chargers. Who are you picking?
Me?
I'm gonna take
I'm
the
gonna
Chargers.
pick the Chargers.
I'm taking the
But am I
Chargers,
gonna
too.
be like, yeah, the Chargers are easily gonna win this
I
game?
mean,
That's
they're
kinda
not
what-
two touchdown favorites, but they should.
He's talking
they should
about
win the
realistically,
game.
they should
Who's
be
home?
5-1. I
Who's
disagree.
home?
It's,
Who's home?
it's the Chargers.
Oh, you know it doesn't matter because the Chargers really don't have that strong of showing when
That's
it
what-
You know,
comes
they
to fans
actually
in the
had one of the
stadium.
highest attendance rates in the NFL. Watch
I think
it.
there were other
They're in
teams.
LA.
Yeah, other
Other
players, other teams.
They're in LA.
This
Fans,
is the
excuse
thing.
me.
This is the thing. I think they'll be 4-2 by the end of Week 6.
I love that. Let's
That's
do
on
it.
the thing. So, do you just want to do Steelers versus Chargers, or you want to do this 4-2 thing?
I want to get if it's Steelers Chargers. I'd like to get in on this.
You know what? No, because the Steelers quarterbacks are
So
really
here's the
fucking
thing.
bad.
Last year, the Steelers went 9-10 and 9-2 in close games. 9-2.
That's amazing.
9-2. It's very unsustainable. But okay, moving on. The Steelers are 29-10-1, a 73.8% win percentage in games decided by 7 points or fewer over the past 3 seasons. Over the first 13 years of the Tomlin era with Ben Roethlisberger, they went 61-50-and-1, a 54.5% win
I
percentage.
knew it couldn't be under 40. I'm just like, it's Big Ben, but that's obviously
So
not
what
nearly
was
as
the
good.
Chargers' record in close games last year?
Oh, they were terrible. They were like, I think 1-5 or 2-4.
They didn't have a quarterback for like
Because you got to think about it.
month and a half, 2 months.
They
yeah,
lost to the
Herbert.
Dolphins in a close
They
game.
lost.
They
Herbert
lost to
played
the
that game.
Cowboys too.
Herbert played that game.
Yeah, he did.
Herbert missed what the last 5 weeks.
He was horrible against Dallas.
Didn't the Chargers
I think
beat
he had
the
the rib
Lions,
injury, though.
or did the Lions end up pulling that game out?
I'll see. But this is the thing. The Chargers weren't terrible last year. They weren't.
When it was Herbert.
When Justin Herbert went down, they were dog shit. But against every other team, they lost to Tennessee by 1 score as well. They just lost these 1-score games, but
Weren't they over 500 when they got
Also
hurt?
have to remember, Keenan Allen was OP last year.
And I would say
They
this:
were 5-8 when he played last year.
Justin Herbert, yeah.
That just said they weren't horrible.
No,
thought
they
they were
weren't.
over
Look at all the one-score games they lost.
5-8's dog shit.
We're moving the goalposts.
It gets moved.
So wait, let me get this
so
straight.
much.
Look at the close games they lost, yet we're picking at the Steelers winning these close games and saying, "Oh, it's not sustainable."
But now they have Jim Harbaugh,
To be fair,
so that's
they
why
lost,
they'll win those games.
Listen, their first two losses, Miami 36-34, Tennessee they lost in overtime.
I remember those games. Those were
their other
close
losses,
games.
Dallas, Kansas City, Detroit, Green Bay, and Baltimore. I mean, those are the
Those are
five
dogs.
best
They
teams.
lost
in the
by
league.
Pittsburgh
3.
beat Baltimore.
Here's the thing. This is using context to it because last year the Chargers were very competitive. Their
I agree.
defense couldn't stop a nosebleed. You went over Miami. They lost by 2 points to Miami. They lost to the Titans in overtime by 3 points.
Yes.
Losing to the
Then
Titans
they
is
beat
disgusting.
Minnesota. They beat the
Watch
Las
yourself.
Vegas.
Watch
It
yourself.
was disgusting.
Watch yourself.
I know it was disgusting that they
okay.
lost to them.
And I will say against Minnesota, they had some luck there in that game too when they beat them. But against Dallas on the
That
road,
was a 17-20
or
game.
was it at home?
It was versus. So I think the Chargers
It
were
was
home.
yeah, they were home.
Chargers were home. Yes.
That was the only game like the entire season where Justin Herbert legitimately played like shit.
No, he was. But I think
And-
he had the rim injury at the time. If he
I think
did.
he was
Looked like shit
I
against
thought
the
he was
Jets.
fairly okay.
He did have the rib injury. That's a
I think he
fact.
was at that time.
Justin
he did look
Herbert,
like shit. Though.
if he plays better, they beat the Cowboys. But whatever, they lose that 1-score game. It's a 3-point loss. They lose to KC by 2 scores. It's KC. They lose to the Lions 38-41.
Yeah, I thought so.
Then they lost to
Green
the
Bay.
Green Bay Packers by 3
23-20.
points. And when watching that game, the Chargers had a chance to ice it, and Herbert threw the ball to Quentin Johnson, and Quentin Johnson dropped it.
Crying.
And that would have been a walking touchdown, and it would have sealed the game right there. And they
better
lost that
players.
game. And then against Baltimore, I don't know if that's the game that Easton Stick played or not.
They were 5-7 when Herbert started.
Okay.
High five. Oh, started. Okay,
Yeah,
I had five
I
in
think
it.
the game against Denver is where you got her. Or no, the game against New England maybe.
Against Baltimore,
they won
maybe?
that game. Funny enough, 6-0.
Yeah, they won 6-0. Herbert led the team in passing.
And
So
against Baltimore, a team that was
6-0
beating
is
the
nuts.
shit out of the Lions.
It's crazy.
They beat the shit out the Seahawks. I mean, the Ravens also beat the shit out the Niners.
And guess who beat Boston? Baltimore. Take a guess.
You're talking about Pittsburgh.
He is.
I know, but I'm saying that against the Chargers lost by 10 points to Baltimore, one of the elite teams of football. Like, the Chargers were competitive in every single one of their loss. And winning 1-score games tends to regress or improve year to year. That's a volatile thing.
But-
like the Vikings when they won 13 games.
But
like,
Pittsburgh
they
hasn't
regressed.
shown any regression in that department over like the
Yeah, and
past
I'm
5
expecting
years.
that it's kind of going to regress.
All right, they're due,
I mean,
I'm
when you're
assuming,
winning
yeah.
74% of your close games, you're going to regress. That's not sustainable.
We
It
just
may
say
not
every
happen this
season.
year. It
We
may
say it
happen
every
next year. Or the
And
year
every
after
year
that.
teams regress. Like the
But
Giants.
no, not the Steelers.
I know, but like the Giants, they made the playoffs off the back of 1-score wins. And then the next year they lost those 1-score games. So
All
it's
I'm
just a volatile thing.
Pittsburgh started their first 5 weeks. They lost to San Fran. They beat Cleveland. They beat the Raiders. They lost to Houston. They beat Baltimore, and they beat the Rams. They
so
also
are we
beat
making
Green
this
Bay.
Chargers Steelers
They
bet?
also they beat Green Bay. They beat Cincinnati. This was week 12, so I think Joe Burrow was relatively healthy week 12, but I don't remember
I
that.
think he was hurt. Yeah.
Oh, he was hurt. And then they beat Seattle. They beat Baltimore again. Listen, man.
I think my main point in all this is
Baltimore
that
week 18 didn't play
Oh
anybody.
yeah, shit doesn't.
looking
take
at
that
how
off
the
there.
Chargers lost their games when Justin Herbert played, they're not that far off from being a 9-8, 10-7
Riv, it sounds like you're
win
trying to
team.
convince yourself to take it, bro.
Nah, I'm just trying to convince ourselves that the Chargers aren't this walkaway grandeur
Listen, I
team.
like
they're
Herbert.
not. I think
like
they'll win. I
Harbaugh.
think they can win 9,
don't
maybe
like the
10
roster.
games.
I don't
maybe
the
eight.
roster
No, I
either.
think they win more games than the Steelers. I'll take that bet with you straight up.
Listen, bro, do you want to bet on Russell Wilson and Justin Fields?
That's why I'm kind of like,
Well, Justin Fields is his guy.
This is guy.
he's my guy.
He might start.
Listen, I let you make 3 bets last episode. Don't make this one.
I could say that, but like Pittsburgh has been locked in. They locked in. But nah, I'm gonna wait.
All right.
I'll wait.
When do I expect the decision to be made?
Before week 1, like literally before the very first game the Steelers and the Chargers play, I will let you know
respect
how
that.
that
You're
goes.
waiting to see if Fields is a starter.
I'm really just waiting to see how everything works out. That's all.
Mike
Just-
Thomas said,
If
at the
they
end of the
get
work,
Brennan
people
Ayuk,
figure it out.
I'm still willing to make the bet with you.
You just told me they could win 10 games with Brandon.
I know.
Are you sure?
I'm taking a risk because I love Brennan Ayuk.
Okay, I would have said that's not fair because we bet prior to that. But okay, if you want to give me that,
Because we
I'll
already
think.
made the bet with the Niners that NFC Championship or bust. If they lose Brennan Ayuk, the
Yeah.
bet's still on.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
So I'll think. But week 1, I'll let you know.
This week in the NFL/NBA, what do you got, Drew?
All right, so first off, Jamar Chase reports back to practice. That's awesome. Obviously, he's looking for his big contract. We've seen all the top guys get their contracts, whether it's Jet, whether it's CeeDee, whether it's Amon Ra. He's due for his contract. The only ones that haven't gotten paid are Jamar and, of course, Brandon Ayuk. Jamar's going to get his money whenever that is, but he did the right thing, in my opinion. Report back to practice after making your stance known. I'm not, I mean business. Pay me my bread. You fucked around with T. Higgins, and now he's most likely not going to come back to the team. I'm 30 times better than T. Higgins. You better pay me my bread. My next this week in the NFL is going to be a trivia, of course. This one's going to be, and if you were wondering why I knew so many stats before about Sammy Watkins and Garrett Wilson, a little bit of spoiler. Mine's going to be, can you name all the rookie wide receivers post 2000 to have over 1,000 receiving yards? Now, of course, we know that they've been some pop-offs recently, so there will be some easy ones. You will have 2 strikes. We will start with Riv, and you can go whenever you're ready.
What was the question?
Rookie receivers to have 1,000 yards receiving.
Oh, okay. Jettis.
Of course, he is on here.
I'll go next. Jamar Chase.
Of course, he is on here. He was the record holder before a player to be named.
Puka.
Yes, obviously, that is number 1 with 1,486. Jamar Chase had 1,455, and Jet had 1,400 flat.
How many numbers do we have to get?
So it has to be over 1,000 receiving
No, I'm saying
yards.
how many people. Sorry.
All right. To do that, to get over 1,000 was 18 players.
Okay. And who were the names we mentioned prior? Just so I can.
There's only been 3 named.
Thank you.
It's been Jet, it's
yes.
been Jamar, and has been Puka Nacua.
I appreciate that. I
You're
really
very
do
welcome.
appreciate that. Next name, CeeDee Lamb.
CeeDee Lamb is not here. That is strike 1.
Oh, shit.
Garrett Wilson.
Garrett Wilson, that was an easy one that we alluded to earlier on in the podcast.
How many strikes I got?
You get 2. You got 1 already. So he did have 1,103 yards.
Does this include tight ends?
This does include tight ends.
Kyle Pitts.
Kyle Pitts is here, of course, 1,026.
Chris Olave.
Chris Olave, bang, number 14, 1042. This is, of course, since 2000.
Odell Beckham Jr.
Odell Beckham was unbelievable. He did this in 12 games, 1,305 yards.
Can I just look at teams? I'm asking.
No.
Okay. Just want to ask questions. That's all.
Appreciate that.
Was Kyle Pitts the only tight end on this list?
He is the only. That's a good question. The answer is yes. He is the only tight end.
Yeah, he's the only rookie tight end to have 1,000.
Idiot.
Odell was the only one I had in my pocket. Should have saved the Kyle Pitts one. Y'all would not have gotten that.
Listen, he got Chris Olave. Get in your bag.
He did.
I love Chris Olave.
I do too. My brother. And just so you guys know, I did this trivia with my actual brother, and he shockingly did not do as well as I anticipated, but he did okay.
Mike Evans.
Bang. Yes, that is another obvious one. That, funny enough, because Charles is a funny guy. If you don't know Charles, that's my brother. He was a Patriots fan, loved Tom Brady, was a Patriots fan when he left, was a Bucs fan, similar to me with Peyton Manning. But then when Tom Brady was done, instead of going back to the Patriots, he decided to be a Giants fan. Loves Daniel Jones, loves the Giants. So at least he's in misery now because you kind of give that kind of opposite. Had the dynasty with the Patriots. But I said one of these guys was on the team, one of the teams that you liked. He goes Patriots, Giants, and for whatever reason goes Titans. I said, bro, what the fuck? But yes, Mike Evans is here, 1051.
This is all time, right? Just actually.
This is since 2000.
AJ Green.
AJ Green is here with 1,057.
DeAndre Hopkins.
DeAndre Hopkins will be strike 1 for you, sir.
Julio.
That's shocking as fuck.
Julio Jones is not here. Had 959 yards. That's strike 1. So lock in. You got a chance, Riv.
Michael Pittman Jr.
He did not do it. That is strike 2, sir.
Can we just get one more strike? 3 strikes.
I hate that you guys sell
please,
these.
please,
Yeah, strike 3. You're getting 3.
I can't
How much
believe
Michael Pittman have? Let me look
that I named DeAndre
John,
Hopkins.
look that up. So he
look it
stopped.
up.
Yeah, please. Thank you.
I thought Hopkins was pretty much a lock. I'm kind of shocked. But there was this other name that I should have mentioned first. It's Jalen Waddle.
Jalen Waddle. Good shit. Had 1,015.
Oh my God. What the fuck did I think he had? Like 1,000.
Rager.
There's so many. There's so many.
Why don't you fucking join the game then, John?
No, John, sorry. He's not. Yeah, yeah. He's right.
Clown face.
All right,
Me
Joel,
sick
lock
to
in.
my stomach, man.
I can't see the time as well anymore. Hold on. We'll get there.
2,000 plus.
I'll tell you right now, it's 2 minutes, 2 hours, 12 minutes, 38 seconds.
Okay.
Give him the 213.
And 5.
No. Stop the
I
count.
said what I said.
Dehls, I tried to help you.
I need an answer.
I don't have.
Give him 10 more seconds. Give him 10 more seconds. 10 more seconds.
You'll get 5 and you'll like it.
Whoa, calm down here, buddy.
I'd say give
Sit
you
type
10.
shit.
Answer.
He did give you like 2 more
Strike
seconds.
2. No, not a bad guess. Not a bad guess.
It's wrong
He
enough?
turned up second half
He
of the
did.
year,
He
but
did.
he didn't have the
It is
first
wrong.
half.
Go ahead.
Who'd you say?
Amon-Ra.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure before I say it. Damn. Andre Johnson.
He fell short as well. He had
Motherfucker.
976.
Oh my God, that's nasty.
You're out. All right, Joel, take this home.
Anquan Bolden.
Thank you. That I can't believe no one said that. He had 1377.
Keep going.
Larry.
That is strike 3.
Damn.
All right. I hate that. I think these trivias are so
How many do
like,
we have left?
a good amount.
No, we have like 12, 13 dudes.
Riv, do you have 3 strikes already?
Yeah,
Yeah, we both do.
Okay, I have 1, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You want to
keep
keep going?
Hell yeah, I want to keep going.
Say hell yeah.
DK Metcalf.
All right, now let's just all jump in.
No,
He's out.
hold on. No.
He's out.
He has 2 more. He has 1 more strike.
Yes, I do.
Oh, shout out to you.
Chad Johnson.
Well, you're out.
Here we go. Let's lock in. Let's get back into it.
Yep.
This is now just free flowing. No guessing. Let's go with Des Bryant.
He's not here.
Randy.
Like,
Yeah.
really,
We're
where
I'm an
where
idiot.
did you guys?
I thought he was.
Oh, post 2000.
no, yeah,
That's
exactly.
wrong.
See, boom! I knew what I'm
Amari
doing.
Cooper.
Yes, he is here, number 9 on this list with 1070.
Allen Robinson.
No.
Reggie Wayne.
No.
Not. Yeah.
Is he pre or just no?
I think he's
I was
post.
Okay.
Oh, he is.
Didn't do
Okay.
it.
Oh, he's post. He just didn't do it.
Calvin Johnson.
No.
Steve Smith.
No.
I think we're thinking too hard. We're thinking.
Can you guys just name
Hollywood.
No!
Okay.
Who is it? Who
Name
is it?
dogs.
No.
Name
We
dogs.
gotta get this list.
Can you
bro.
guys
Lock it.
name dogs?
We've named a shit ton
No,
of
you
I
didn't.
named
dogs.
Calvin Johnson. That's the
I
biggest
named
dog.
Andre
Randy
Johnson,
Moss.
brother.
Since 2000, like, name some guys that rookie season, wow, they popped. Oh, second year, they might have been great too.
TJ Hushmanzada.
Nah.
Yo, John, is this serious?
We gotta lock it. Dehls.
How many
Joel.
do we have guessed already?
No. Okay, you got
Out of 18.
How many? They have 13.
Can you just tell us these last 5?
Yeah, of course I will, because you guys did.
Oh,
Pretty
wait. Let me get one more
dookie
guess. One more guess. Let me get one more guess.
Uh-huh.
One more guess. Just let me.
You know what? You got Olave, you got AJ Green, Riv. Honestly, you
Keenan
showed out the
Allen.
most to me.
Let me get one more.
Joel, I apologize. Good shit.
What'd you get?
Thank
Keenan
you.
Allen.
Let's do. We can fucking do
Yes,
this.
you
Let's
can.
stop
Yes, you
trolling. We
can.
do
That's why
this.
y'all are pissing me off. Joel, can you name me
Come on,
a
Dehls.
wide receiver
Dehls.
that was a dog?
Lock
His rookie season
in.
was a
Lock.
dog a majority of his career until
AJ Brown.
Thank you.
Let's
Like,
lock
bro.
in. Dehls.
Bro, AJ,
Lock in.
bro.
Let's lock in right now.
Yes.
Come on.
Yo.
How many we got left? 3 more?
Yeah, I think what is it? 3?
Smitty?
Yeah.
Nah, he had 9.
No,
Nah,
he did.
he
He had
just
9.
fell short. He just
Come on,
fell
lock
short.
in.
Come
Here we
on,
go.
these are gettable. All
Was
right,
it Brandon
one's
Cooks?
not gettable. One is not
Cooks is a
gettable.
good guess.
No, not a bad guess.
He had
Michael
9,000 yards.
Clayton. You guys would never have guessed it.
Dallas.
No.
The Bucks, I think, right?
Both are on. I can't even. If I say a
Just
team,
say-
you're gonna get it.
NFC or AFC?
I hate that you guys didn't get this guy. All right, NFC.
Chris Godwin.
No,
Yeah.
Deshaun Jackson.
no.
No, he was.
He had
short.
900.
He was
Remember
short.
that-
that next year though. Boomer.
Andy Reid never really had a successful rookie wide receiver.
T.O.
No,
No,
he was
pre.
in the 90s.
We good. We got it.
Riv,
Michael
We
Thomas.
got it.
Shout out to MC.
can you cook?
Wait, why'd you say
Can
my
you
name?
cook?
know.
No, because you've been doing your fucking
yeah, I'm
thing.
trying.
so is
listen,
Joel.
I'm
I'm in
trying.
slacking, I'm
right
slacking.
now.
I had a little 4-game win streak.
So
Now
you
I'm
said
off
they're
my
on the
game,
same
man.
team.
So now we got.
So that means Marcus Colston.
Shit.
Nah, you're on notice.
We named a lot.
No,
of black
I
guys.
said it was Michael
Mr.
Clayton.
Dehls.
Yeah, Michael Clayton was the one that I didn't think they were gonna get.
He played on who? The Bucks, right?
Michael Clayton was the
Cardinals?
Bucks.
Nice.
You had a good-
Kinda remember
you had a
that.
good career.
Not really.
My this week in the NFL is, of course, one of my upstanding big brothers.
Yo, apologize. There was one more. You're right. Apologize. He's the last guy who did it. The lowest, I should say. Not the last guy, the lowest to do it.
She like a new guy?
Terry?
No. Not a bad guess, though. Terry was good.
Yeah, 1K merchant.
That is the 1K
970
merchant.
probably.
Yeah. Was it Kelvin Benjamin?
Yo, I swear.
Oh!
Whatever, you just got it. Yo, are you serious?
Kelvin Benjamin, you cooked.
Your whole bracelet broke.
Nah,
He
that
just
was
got it today.
Yeah, I
He
took it
just
from his
got it
car.
today.
That was
No,
wild.
yeah. I was thinking Watkins, and I'm like, nah, Calvin.
Yo, there's
Yeah.
beads everywhere. My bad, Joel. We'll
Everywhere.
pick that up after the show.
We're good. Lock in though, fellas. We've been here.
Yo!
Yeah, Kelvin Benjamin, man.
Proud of you.
That was Cam, right?
It was a Panthers.
Cam
Yeah.
Newton, yeah.
They tore his ACL. Never the same.
Never the same. Game
had a-
weight, all that.
Yeah.
I was gonna say his name, but I was like, I don't know.
If Kelvin came to
Yo,
your head,
wait,
I would have
I
said
swear
it.
to God,
But
I'm
I didn't
moved,
get it come
bro.
to my head.
I mean, I play Madden.
Holy
I play
shit.
Madden, bro. I play Madden.
All right, go ahead. I'm ready to listen to whatever you have to say right now.
Yeah. This week in the NFL, like I was saying, my brother in Christ, one of my big bros that I look up to in the NFL, he just got his money, man. 4 years,
Facts.
$136 million extension. He receives $100 million guaranteed and a wide receiver record $38 million signing bonus. Listen, I've been up here, and it's been nonstop CeeDee slander from my brothers across the table.
My God,
Not
give
really
it
much,
a
Dehls.
rest.
He wasn't slandering. He just felt other guys were better. He was wrong.
So did I.
But a guy across the table from me was just completely disrespectful.
No,
and
I
I'm-
wasn't.
And I'm glad 3 years later, 3 to 4 years later, we can now look at and see CeeDee Lamb being the highest paid wide receiver, if not the highest, second paid,
Number
highest
2.
wide receiver. He's one of the 4 best receivers in the world. Of course, you could argue Jamar Chase. You know, of course, Tyreek's ahead of him. Justin Jefferson is ahead of him. But CeeDee Lamb has put himself in comfortable conversations, and I don't know why it. Like, I don't know what type of brain it takes for you to just see this is my best wide receiver, pay him, and not take 3 to 4 months to give him his money. But I guess Jerry Jones does things in peculiar ways, and hopefully Dak gets his money, Micah gets his money. But this is your best. I'm being honest. This has been your best wide receiver even before Dez. Like, I think at this point, CeeDee Lamb will be better than Dez, who'll have a longer standing career, the longevity to be there. He just had 1,800 damn yards.
He's going to go down as the best Cowboys receiver of all
You have
time.
Michael Irvin.
Oh, him?
T.O.
Oh, him?
No, I didn't mean like that, but I'm very big on to the
The new guys.
New guys. So I'm a big CD guy.
CeeDee gets a singular ring, he'll have the numbers.
CD, he's gonna have 17 again.
He might.
Yeah, so but no. Respect to Michael Irvin, respect to T.O., of course, and all, but who'll be better than Dez? That's
Michael
what we're locking in
Irvin.
here first.
What CeeDee just had this past year?
18? I think
17.
either 17 or 18.
Michael Irvin never had 1,700.
Of course, he probably never got
No,
forced.
CeeDee had an all-time great season.
Michael Irvin from 91 to 95 had 1,500,
What was his
1,400,
highest
1,300,
target,
12,
though? 'Cause CD got
1,600.
murked mad targets.
In 95, Michael Irvin had 1,600 yards, 10 touchdowns
Wow.
Let me see.
on 111 receptions.
Yeah, it's amazing.
How many targets?
They don't have targets.
Okay.
It says target 0.
How many? 165.
See, CD had 181.
That's a lot.
Yeah, he's getting
Yeah,
milked.
no, they were fucking
Much,
feeding him.
much well deserved though. He needs to get the ball.
My this week in the NFL is actually about your guy, Joel. Can you guess who?
Zach Wilson.
No.
Anthony Edwards.
No.
Luka Doncic.
Low key, new, my guy.
Jalen Warren.
Carson Steele.
Okay.
Carson Steele, if you guys don't know, is the presumed backup running back for Kansas City. And he's probably going to be the RB2. Clyde Edwards-Helaire is there, but he's been dealing with some like PTSD issues. He hasn't been at practice all the time. Of course, let go of Jerick McKinnon. Pacheco is the starter, but it looks like Carson Steele is going to be the primary backup. He's had 11 carries this preseason. He's avoided 11 tackles, 87 rushing yards, 81 of those yards coming after contact. He was listed as a fullback in the draft and out of college just because of his body type. He's a big dude. He's not someone who's going to have like 4.2 speed and burn you down the field or anything, but backup running back is something that the Chiefs are going to have to utilize. And if he's able to keep this up in the regular season, he's going to get looks.
Yeah, I like Carson Steele a lot. He really impressed in his preseason film, and he's hard to bring down. That's why the Pacheco fantasy thing, I'm not well versed in fantasy football, but I do think that Steele is going to eat into his workload just a little bit because I do like what he offers. And like you said, 11 missed tackles on 11 carries
attempts, yeah.
is pretty exceptional. My this week in the NFL is... Let me check it. I forgot this shit.
There we go.
Yeah. So I had a
mad
couple.
funny.
They weren't that notable. It was the Broncos cutting Samaje Perine.
Yep. I just have
And
Who?
going to trade
Patrick.
and or release Timmy.
Tim
touchdown.
Patrick?
Yes,
Yeah.
you didn't see that,
Wow.
bro? The fact that he finally
loyalty
made it
here,
to through a camp and now they want to get rid of him, that shit was a smack to the face.
You know, he's probably just not the same after the injuries,
No.
which is unfortunate. Samaje Perine, they just saw him last year, but I think it makes sense. Javonte's healthy. McLaughlin really
He's
onto the
nice,
scene,
yeah.
And
and you
Audric
drafted a
Estime.
rookie running back. Yeah,
Come here.
it makes sense. But I think Perine can still help a team. I think the problem that plagued him was that he was just dropping too many passes for the Broncos in
He got a
training
ton of
camp
targets.
and in preseason. So that's why they cut him. Jamar Chase coming back to camp, I think for the Bengals is huge on their outlook this year. And the Packers trading for Malik Willis, sending a 7th round pick.
So
They don't
random.
trust Jordan
The
Love,
Titans
man.
were likely to cut Malik, and they got
Probably.
a 7th round pick for it. So
Good
that was
return.
that's pretty okay.
I'll take
Backup
that.
quarterback, has some athleticism, has
think-
some traits.
You think the Cowboys would give up Trey Lance for a 7th right now or no?
You know what?
They traded a
Dehls?
4th for him.
This entire episode, I was trying to remember to say Trey Lance in this week in the NFL. Say Trey Lance in this
Here we
week in
go.
the NFL. Let's talk about Trey Lance.
Blah.
Because Trey Lance had 2 touchdowns and 5 interceptions
Let
in a
him swing
preseason
that
game.
boy.
He's had, he's
40-yard
up there.
rush touchdowns.
He's
That's
thrown
Or
5
over there.
interceptions. I think it's tied with somebody else, but Trey Lance owns the record for most interceptions thrown in the preseason. That's preseason, man. I will say this: up until the 3rd quarter, he was pretty clean, but then all the mistakes started piling up. I thought his 4th interception wasn't really on him, but once you get to 4, I'm not giving you that much benefit of the doubt. But every single one was a terrible decision, and I will say that even though it was an awful performance, I thought it actually benefited Trey Lance's development for the sole reason that coming out of college, the most pass attempts he's ever thrown in the game was 31 in the NFL. Very game manager-esque, not a lot of attempts, and he needs those reps. And it looks this ugly, but this is how ugly it looks when a quarterback that doesn't play much, not in the collegiate level or at the NFL level, gets a chance to throw the ball 50 freaking times. So even though it's a terrible performance, it's like he kind of needed to get that out of his system. I think in every game he's played for the Cowboys in the preseason, he's aired the ball out, and they've rode and died with him playing that way. But obviously at this point, he's raw, and he's going to lose you games if he's out there. And he's the quarterback 3 for the Cowboys. I mean, Cooper Rush is better than him.
SportsCenter was funny. They put the highlights up and they showed the highlights, the good moments, the 40-yard touchdown. He had a nice back shoulder throw. Got a little handsy, but the receiver was able to get away with it, scored the touchdown. But Lord have mercy. I mean, there's really not much to be thrilled about right now, especially understanding that this is their plan B if Dak Prescott does not want to return next year. Or let me say that they don't want Dak Prescott to return next year because of the money situation. If Dak Prescott were not to return, enjoy having Trey Lance be your quarterback. Again, it wasn't good. It wasn't fun to watch. I really don't want Trey Lance to have this be his career path, but an unspoken terrible trade ever in the history of the league will be the Niners trading up for Trey Lance and trading away what ended up becoming Jalen Waddle, Tyreek Hill, and Bradley Chubb.
Terrible.
What do you got to say about it, Riv? What do you got to say about it, Dehls?
He
Because
sucks.
you're the Trey Lance guy.
Dude, what's his year 4 for him? He's played 3 regular season games.
Easily your biggest L.
The odds
It's
of
the
him
Zach
ever
Wilson
becoming
guy and the Trey Wilson guy telling me about Tua Tagovailoa.
the odds of him becoming anything decent is so slim. You know what I mean? It's hard to play in the NFL for 4 years and just
I remember when
never
he
do
was
anything.
competing in camp with Brock Purdy, how the mighty have fallen.
I said during that time, I said Brock Purdy's winning. There wasn't a doubt in my mind.
Yeah, no, it's funny.
It's a shame. Never got a chance.
Sam Darnold beat him out for QB2 at that time.
No, yeah, he was in the mud at that point.
Yeah, I think best case scenario when watching the film back of that game,
XFL?
Trey Lance, no, the preseason.
Oh,
Best case scenario for him, at the final box score stats, could have been 3 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, because he had a touchdown that was dropped that it was a great pass that he threw, but
Is he better than
one
Cam Newton
interception
right now?
wasn't on him.
Like Cam Newton right now.
No, I'll take
taking
Cam Newton.
like if Cam to
full
walk
off
in
season locking in.
that's what I'm saying.
He's a
full
better
off
player
season,
than Trey Lance.
Locking Cam, is he
Yes.
better? Like Joe Flacco come back, is he better? Like
Joe
Easily.
Flacco clears.
He's
Yeah.
so much better. Mac
Like,
Jones right now is
Carson
better.
Wentz or Trey Lance? This
Carson
is where we
Wentz.
get to
Carson Wentz.
Nasty's
Carson Wentz.
area.
I mean, Trey Lance is
Zach Wilson.
bottom of the barrel.
Trey Lance is at
Zach
QB3
Wilson
right
is
now.
better. I think
Zach
Zach
Wilson or Trey? Oh, Zach is
Zach's better.
Overclaimed him again.
Shout out to Sean Payton, someone that
Zach-
can actually develop quarterbacks.
Zach Wilson had a good preseason game, had a couple good moments, and now he's
Maybe he's the future of Denver, man.
he needs to
that's
start
tough.
he's
somewhere.
still really young, right?
Yeah.
23.
They're
24?
both 20 fucking 3.
Hey, listen, I hope that we are wrong about him. It'll make me look better.
Zach?
Yeah, if it was all on the Jets. But I do think that with the Broncos, even like his preseason performance that was labeled great, I thought he actually like was all right at most.
You'll take all right from Zach.
The touchdown pass that he threw, like if the safety turns his head, that's an interception.
Okay, but I'm gonna take it at face value. It was a sexy ass throw.
It was.
Oh, yeah, the safety should have picked that easy.
Yeah.
Or went after
I like
player.
the one where he threw it
Oh, it
in
was
between
right by him.
two defenders on the left sideline.
Yep, that was tough.
That was a better throw. But yeah, Zach Wilson was all right. I still think he plays a little bit scared, and I feel like ever since he got drafted, if you see the footage of him with everybody on stage, that's a first round pick. He looks very nervous.
He's like,
I feel like that personifies
Why am I here?
his career. He plays that way. He plays like he's scared and he's nervous and
Polar bear
he's
in
not totally
Arlington.
confident in himself.
Yeah. You're just not a QB girl, man. That's all that is.
Listen, Riv, last couple of episodes, well, I should say last episode, quite clearly, you are the 90s savant on the show.
I've always been that.
I'm tired of that fucking glazing too. Oh, they just didn't watch Akeem. Riv is the savior of this podcast. I'm not going to air him out, but if only y'all fucking knew.
I'm not the biggest. I've watched the 90s. I'm a big fan of the 90s.
Of course, so have I.
Yeah,
The fuck, I know who was good or who wasn't.
I can feel this conversation is about to get a little funny though, because I'm sure you've seen your brother in Christ, your Almighty Savior, God even take over God. You've seen him talk about the 90s and how he's
Kobe?
you've just seen him, kind of be just show his
Yeah, man, he trashed
maturity.
it. He basically said, Anthony Edwards said that not a lot of guys back then were skilled, except Michael Jordan. They weren't really skilled like
Also
that.
said he didn't watch it, by the way.
And then Magic Johnson replied to him and said, I don't respond to people that haven't won an NBA
Don't
championship.
forget that.
No, he said he said high school too. He said college. He said just hasn't won in life. Yeah, he said all that.
This is the thing with
Nah, good on Magic.
No, Magic
Eat
was
that shit, ho.
He stood on 10.
I think it's the worst when young players now that are supposed to be setting an example for the modern day basketball fan trash the older eras. I think the question that I was just asking myself a couple of days ago was, what's the cutoff point to when we just label a player uneligible to be able to translate in today's era? Because a lot of fans, they shit on the 80s and the 70s, and I think that's going really far back, but a lot of fans don't think that anybody or a lot of players from the 90s wouldn't be able to play today. Like Clyde Drexler, it wouldn't be that good. Or
That's dumb.
These other guys.
That's dumb.
And I think that in no other sport do we do this but basketball, and it kind of pisses me off. Hockey fans don't go around saying, oh, yeah, Wayne Gretzky, he wouldn't be shit today.
No, they call him the GOAT.
He
No.
wouldn't.
Wayne Gretzky is quite literally hockey Jesus.
Nobody says, oh, yeah, Dan Marino, he'd be the 17th best quarterback today. Nobody goes in other sports and diminishes legends quite like the NBA modern fan does. We don't go around saying, oh, yeah, Barry Sanders, he wouldn't be good today. He wouldn't be this, he wouldn't be that. But for the NBA, some reason, even when it comes to these all-time great players, they often get diminished. And I think it doesn't do anybody favors when the history of the game that fans should be learning about and appreciating is trashed in this way. And what Anthony Edwards said was very contradictory because he said he never watched it, but then he's speaking on something that he didn't watch and he's having very strong opinion on. And I think it exemplifies what every modern casual NBA fan is. They have never watched that era. They have never thought to watch a full game of that era, yet they have very strong opinions on players in that era. And I don't know, I don't think it's going to be something that's going to stop because the modern NBA fan has so much pride in today's game with how it's evolved with the spacing and the skill. And I think there is more skill today, but they think that the game has evolved so much that the 90s were like the ape ages of basketball.
Like if you drop Jalen Green in the 90s, he's Clyde Drexler.
Yeah, I think it's weird because I think now today's game, we're a lot more athletic. We're a lot more skilled in the average position. So like an average player in the NBA now is way more skilled than the average player in the 90s and the 80s. That's just evolution. It's gonna happen like that over time. So it's no shame to the game. I do think it's a little bit of a devil's advocate thing because I think also old players do tend to shit on these new players. They do have their fair share of saying, "Oh, this era is soft."
Shaq.
And yeah, Shaq, he's listen, he got a few dudes that can really just say something and be like, no, I know what I'm talking about. In just terms of physicality, but they do tend to do it both ways. But I agree with you. Just the way Ant-Man went about it was just stupid. Like, I don't know who, like, he does tend to have that where he just says what's on his mind. He's going to do whatever he wants. And I respect that about him. But to say Michael Jordan was the only one with skill, and then you brought up Kobe, and then say, oh, but I never watched it, doesn't make sense. Because before Michael Jordan, there was Julius Erving. You know, even before Joel Embiid, there was Hakeem. There was, you know, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Before, there was a 6'10" Ben Simmons running around with no jumper. What do you think Magic Johnson was doing in the 80s? You know, he was literally changing the game. Before there was the Joker, we had Larry Bird. So it's like, it's just, it's kind of thinking the 80s and 90s, there wasn't no skill when I can name about 30 to 40 players that had the same type of skills that we have in today's game. They just either lacked the athleticism or we just lacked the depth, which comes with the evolution of the game. But Ant-Man is just showing his youthfulness. He's showing his immaturity at times. You know, he's showing his just brash way of just saying what's on his mind. You know, I do respect it at times when he does do it, but this is just like you mentioned, a prime example of either people really young or younger than him that just don't understand that, you know, you have the 80s, you have the 90s, the 70s, the pioneers of the games, the guys who kind of paved the way for today's game. You have to kind of show that level of respect or acknowledge that these players were great in their own right. Clyde, MJ, Gary Payton, you know, Hakeem, Dave Robb. They weren't just scrubs that didn't have, like, I'm sure you can go look at the 12th man on the 1991 Charlotte Hornets or something like that, an expansion team. Of course, you're not going to find the same player that's on this team now. Of course not. But to the top players, you know, the guys who made the top 75 team, the guys who were Hall of Famers, Charles Barkley, Steve Nash. There's like so much skill with these like players before. I just think people need to really just jump on YouTube, and it's really not hard to find a 1997 game from the finals or the ECF or the WCF. Just go on YouTube, watch a game. You'll understand how the game was played. You'll understand how different the rules was in terms of what you could do, what you can do. Like in the 60s, you weren't allowed to carry the ball. Mm-hmm. So it didn't give you the same, and I'm not saying he can do what Kyrie does.
Yeah, but it was fucking dunk.
Yeah, like, yo, bro, there was no three-point line. Like, it just didn't give you the same creativity or the same, you know, art to kind of go out there and be Kyrie Irving and be shifty or even be Rod Strickland from the 90s and get busy. You just didn't have that same creativity. So it's like, of course, the game is going to evolve. We're now seeing dudes like Victor Wembanyama. That's a different type of species. Like Zion Williamson a couple years ago, who's just a different specimen of human. But not to say we've seen Zion before, but it was a player like Larry Johnson that kind of had similar vibes to him. You know, so it's like we've always seen these type of players. There's just new players coming up, and I think people need to just be more intertwined with the 80s and the 90s and even the 70s. You know, just even some people don't even know the early 2000s. Like, some people don't understand the dead ball era, like in 2001, 2002, 2003, 2004. Like, half of the people don't even know who Ben Wallace is, which is a shame, and just the fact that people just don't understand. Like, people, I literally was having this conversation about Ray Allen versus Klay Thompson the other day, and people legitimately did not know Ray Allen averaged 25 points a game. It was like astonishing to me. Like, they were so confused at what he did, and they was like, oh, I didn't know he had this much athleticism and he can go to the rim. Like, it's just even that. Like, Ray Allen's probably an up-to-date NBA player, and you only know Boston. So,
again, what you fail to realize, unfortunately,
kids.
There's a lot of kids that watch this show, and a lot of kids that use X or Twitter. I can't believe I really just said X. I should be shunned, honestly. But these are young kids that really don't have the drive and the love for the game to go and do their own homework. Some do, and I respect them. Listen, I'll give it to John. John's a young kid who decided that he loves the game of basketball, and he goes back because he's a basketball historian. Not everybody has that same drive and love for the game like John does. Listen, me, Joel, you, we have a podcast. We have to do our due diligence to go learn about the history of the game. But again, becomes a certain time with ignorance when you go and you look back. And I feel like even you sometimes have a little bit of ignorance when talking about like a Wilt Chamberlain or just guys in that era, where Wilt Chamberlain for his era was an alien. He was the Victor Wembanyama of his era because he was doing things that no other player could do. And in his era, he was the most dominant. He was the most consistent. But again, as evolution goes on, and of course we understand that his skill set may be not the same as a Shaquille, a Nikola Jokic, but for what he did in his time, it was amazing. It was something that nobody had ever seen before up until, of course, his time. So I try not to carry too much weight over. Oh, he's doing it in the 2020s, the 2010s, as opposed to looking at it in the 1990s. But also understanding that when you talk about role players, I feel like that's exactly where I wanted to go. You mentioned the 12th man, but you can make it a little bit more narrow than that. Talking about the 6th, 7th, 8th guys off the bench, I think that's definitely different when you talk about this brand of basketball that they see now, the different levels of players that are in the league now. That's fair, but Dennis Rodman would be a star in today's game. He's still a star in the 90s game. You still have those hard-nosed, like Patrick Ewing would translate perfectly in today's NBA. I have no problem with that. Arvydas Sabonis would come in here and he would be a dominant player in today's game also. There's certain skill sets that you can see translate, but there's also certain types of games that come in and translate because hard-nosed, hard-working individuals naturally translate. So to me, Anthony Edwards showed some hard-headedness, showed some ignorance, and I'm sure he knows that now. And Magic absolutely killed him because Magic is a pioneer of the game. Magic is one of the top 4, top 5 best players that this game's ever seen, and that will never change because in his era, he saved basketball. In the 80s, him and Larry Bird saved basketball, and for that, they should be cherished and polarized for the rest of time. And hopefully they will, and hopefully we don't have people like Anthony Edwards hard-headed to the fact of there was better players than just Michael Jordan. You don't think that there wouldn't be an NBA if not for a Magic, if not for a Larry Bird, if not for a Kareem, of course, if not for a Michael Jordan. But Michael Jordan had to go up against a guy that we don't talk about, had to go up against John Stockton, had to go up against Charles Barkley, had to go up against Clyde. Never went up against Hakeem, unfortunately, but Hakeem won 2 championships in that era. And then came Tim Duncan. It's like, yeah, the guy on Player's Choice talking about Anthony Davis is just a better offensive player than Tim Duncan. You couldn't have done yourself the favor of going quick Google, quick YouTube. Let me look up Tim Duncan highlights. Even though it's not the sexiest, why is he a top 7 player all time? Let me get schooled and hit to the idea of why people hold these guys in such high regard. Sometimes it's just not that hard.
I think just the way NBA is talked compared to NFL is just completely different. We've had this discussion before, Joel, where for the NBA, everything is player focused. Everything is player A better than player B. Like we had like top shooting guard lists, right? Everyone does shooting guards and small forwards and point guards and all of this stuff. And like we're having real debates over Tyrese Halliburton versus Ja Moran. Everyone gets animated and all upset. And like the NFL, like when is anyone over here arguing like we're really getting debates over Justin Jefferson versus CeeDee Lamb or Justin, you know what I mean? Like for the NBA, it's always looking back and seeing what a player does. Like I can't imagine, there's been 1,000 times where when Kawhi got hurt and Paul George those 2 games, but then he missed the free throw. Like there's always different times where specific moments in a player's career for the NBA consistently gets brought up. And that is used to either make that player look better or make that player look worse. We never talk in the NFL, yo, Kirk Cousins, when he was on Washington, remember that game he had like 300 yards in the playoffs and won to debate something against him like 3 years ago against Matt Ryan. Like the debates that are had in the NBA are always so player driven and the traits of the players are always compared so closely compared to the NFL. Like most of the time we're talking about the NFL, it's usually team based or at most quarterback based, but we're never having real debates about like, is Sauce Gardner, can he ever be like what Darrelle Revis was? And Darrelle's like, nah, man, Darrelle Revis is the best to ever do it. Those debates happen in the NBA, like we just had with LeBron and Hakeem, where people really feel a certain way about these 2 individual players. So I feel like when Ant Edwards is having that conversation, it's different than any other sport because in these other sports, we're not comparing player to player, at least for the NFL's sake, because we usually talk about the best teams or 1 or 2 of the best quarterbacks. NBA, we get into debates over like the Derek White, Christian Wood shit. Like there's no comp in the NFL we have ever done, I don't think, that compares to that level of like really breaking down at the time like the 4th or 5th or 6th best option on a team. Like we don't break down slot cornerbacks or the second linebacker on a team like we do in the NBA. So I feel like a lot of the individual skill sets just get nitpicked by certain players. Of course, the Anthony Edwards comment was completely different, but I just think when I look at how we debate NFL, it's usually a lot about teams and quarterbacks. The NBA, everyone gets debated. 6 men get debated. DeAndre Ayton gets debated. We just don't have those same type of conversations in the NFL, and it's it's just weird that like so much of the time we bring up like playoff moments from like 5 years ago to talking like compared to today's NBA, although it's like the same era, of course, and everything like that. It's just the history of the NBA from what I've seen on this podcast, right? Because I didn't consume like pre going on pick a side and everything. I wasn't consuming as much basketball content as NFL content. But now that I'm in the trenches in basketball in here and watching everything else, it's just always like at the neck when it comes player to player, when it comes to the 50th versus 55th best player in the NBA, that in the NFL, you just don't see that happen at all.
I mean, we had a Tyquan Thorne versus Romeo Dobbs.
We did.
Right?
We got into it. You can. To me, it
doesn't like this. The NBA shit happens on damn near every podcast.
But it makes
problem,
sense. It makes sense because basketball is so individualized. Because again, LeBron James can match up with Jason Tatum. He can match up with Kevin Durant. He can match up with Steph Curry. He can match up with Tim Duncan and Nikola Jokic. He can do that because basketball is 5-on-5. It's smaller. With football, of course, with football, it's so hard to get into those unless you're talking about a team.
But we don't even talk about like
quarterback.
Mahomes versus Brett Favre, Mahomes versus like we don't even have like all-time debates about these guys. It's just like
players.
We just know like the dudes in the 80s and the 90s, Marino, Aikman, all those guys. We kind of realized like what they were for their time. They were great. Most of those players don't stack up to today's league because we know it's a different league. Like Dan Marino is probably like the one exception, but look at like Troy Aikman's numbers. He'd be like the 20th best quarterback in the NFL right now.
Even Joe Montana, the guy won hella Super Bowls. His numbers aren't sexy at all.
I think there's a lot of pride when NBA fans feel like the NBA is the only sport that has progressed with its rule changes, because the main argument or point that is used is the reason why a 90s player won't translate today is because the game is played in a different way. And I think that's true to an extent. There are some players that will translate better than others and worse than others. That's just what it is. But in the NFL, I mean, the same thing has kind of happened. I mean, we don't run the ball nearly as much as we used to. Nowadays, a defensive change that's happening right in front of our eyes is that NFL teams are now playing a lot of big nickel. You used to play base personnel, which you would keep like two bigger body linebackers on the field, and now big nickel is having a safety who can play the role of a linebacker and a safety, so you're not giving up or susceptible to the pass while also defending the run. And the rise in cover 3 with Dan Quinn in Seattle, the rise in two high defenses that has essentially neutralized Russell Wilson's career, because the rise in two high has led to his decline as well. We just don't go back in history and say, oh yeah, Champ Bailey, he wouldn't be that good.
You know what's crazy about that? Because I want to dive a little bit into that. You said that now in the NFL, you guys are more pass heavy. But I think with NBA fans, the thing they do is they don't think they players before can translate. But like if you look at grabbing an NFL player, Barry Sanders, right? You grab Barry Sanders. Even though y'all don't run the ball as much as you used to, I guarantee if you pluck Barry Sanders on a team, the whole offense is going to completely revolve around him. Teams are going to start stacking the box again. They're going to change their game plan for him because he was that type of great player. I feel like NBA players act like, well, shit, if you just grab David Robinson, he isn't going to translate. No, if you grab David Robinson, you put him on a team, you put him with this type of training, with this type of medicine, and this NBA, let him adapt. Teams are going to start game planning and starting to figure shit out towards him. The offenses are going to be built around him.
Imagine if he had a 3-point shot.
Yeah, and they just act like NBA players from before just won't come in. They can't translate. They don't have the work ethic. They don't have the skill. They're just like, nah, like they're gonna come in here and just gonna be like fucking a regular type of player. And I think if you're that great, if you are that great, you are that amazing, you are one of the 50 best players in the world. It doesn't matter what era it is. You have that type of skill level. You are going to translate any single era given the right training, given the right adjustment. That's the same way how high school players and college players, they come into the NBA, they adjust. You adjust, and if you're one of them ones, you have it. We've seen it with MJ. We've seen it with LeBron. We've seen it with Magic. We've seen it with Bird. We've seen it with Kareem. If you are one of them, I mean, of course, we got the outliers like Steph Curry and shit like that, but even Kevin Durant, Tim Duncan, when you are one of them ones, Shaq, you come in, there is no adjustment. You come in and you are a top dude from day one. And I feel like NBA players, like NFL, like I mentioned, from what I've seen, y'all don't get into we may get into Jettas versus Tyreek or like Josh Allen versus Lamar type of thing, but it's never no legit passion because at the end of the day, it is really big team oriented. You do need 52 guys to be on their A game to win a football game. As for NBA, 2 of your best players can just perform at an excellent rate, i.e. 2016 finals, LeBron and Kyrie, and you end up winning the damn thing. So it's very interesting conversation for sure.
You know, it's like, because a simplified version of just the conversation is that in football, while things have changed from a schematic standpoint, throwing the ball is still throwing the ball. Catching the ball is still catching the ball. Running the ball is still running the ball. Yeah. With basketball, there have been a lot of rules that are implemented, but dribbling the ball outside of you're talking about the 70s, 60s when they weren't able to carry, dribbling the ball post 95-ish, 90s, you know, it's the same. You know, shooting, they didn't do it at the volley, but they had shooters back then.
Hit them threes.
It's just the skill of playing basketball is still very much the same. It's just how it's played is different. But for some reason, you know, a lot of people think that...
Is the skill the same?
I think so.
No, like the
skills needed.
The skills necessary to play basketball.
I think if you look at bigs before, they're much more skilled than bigs now. But I think even guards before, guards like Isaiah Thomas, guards like Kevin Johnson, guards like Gary Payton, I think they're really skilled.
Who's more skilled, Joel Embiid or Patrick Ewing?
Joel Embiid.
Joel Embiid.
Who's more skilled, Anthony Davis or Patrick Ewing?
Anthony Davis.
On the block? Patrick Ewing.
Offensively, just
I think
more skilled.
Because of the shooting, you would say AD. But I think, like, if you're just talking big men, because they're different. Like, 90s big man isn't the same as
I'll
a
tell you
now
what,
big man.
80s post work is good.
I think it's good. But I think Patrick Ewing on the block,
yeah.
I would go Patrick
Fair
Ewing.
enough.
Like,
He was a big body.
They're just different. Those are back to the basket. Like, AD was never really a traditional back to the basket big. He's really a 4. He's never really been that. Like, these are legit back to the basket, different type of. Same thing like Embiid. Embiid is a back to the basket type of big. You give him the ball, you give him the post, he either faces up or he goes to uses his back and he goes to work. That's kind of like what we used to have. Even like in our semi-era, you had the Al Jeffersons who were back to the basket. You know, you had those type of bigs that were pre-2020. It's just like it's just a different type of skill that's required in 2020 that you need in 1995. I wouldn't say like the skill level between the top guys is a gap. It's really that, like we talked about, that middle to good to great type era, like the Chris Middleton's before, and then like Mark Aguirre before. Like that's the breakup line.
But even in, like, a lot of the 2000s players that we respect, they played in the 90s.
They did.
They played a good portion of the 90s. Like Kevin Garnett
He played
in the 90s. I think he was drafted in 96, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I played in
He
the 90s.
played against those other players, and they gave him the business. And Kevin Garnett translated to the 2000s, and I think there's no question that we think that he translate now. Well, you know, those older players faced off against these players that we respect from the 2000s, but for some reason, the 90s is like the cutoff point. Oh, yeah, if he was there, he can't really play. But speaking of Anthony Edwards, top 10 shooting guards in the NBA right now, going from 10 to 1.
What did we start with Jaylen Brown?
I put him on.
I put him as a shooting guard.
Okay.
Yes.
I did not.
So let's hear your list first.
All right. Number 1, Devin Booker. Number 2, Anthony Edwards. Number 3, Donovan Mitchell. Number 4, Kyrie Irving. Number 5, Desmond Bane. Number 6, Derek White. Number 7, Zach LaVine. Number 8, Mikal Bridges. Number 9, Alex Caruso. Number 10, Malik Monk.
Who'd you have a 1? Was it Mitchell?
It's D-Book.
No,
D-Book.
Devin Booker.
Okay.
Yes, he's trying to Alex Cruz.
The Olympic run moved him.
No, I was
Who?
very moved.
Oh, with D-Book?
Super versatile.
Yeah.
Love him.
Okay.
And the defense.
Let me not. You know
It's
what?
kind of weird that you don't have Jaylen Brown on here because you were arguing that he's the best
It would've
shooting
been
guard
one.
in the league.
It would have been 1.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm not even
But
gonna say anything about the defense.
he logged an insane amount of minutes at the
He
3.
played the 3. Yeah.
He logged it. He like
So
76%.
when we do power forward rankings, Tatum's a 4.
Yes.
I guess so. I mean, I have Jaylen
Like
on
Brown
mine.
would be a 4.
Yeah, he would be.
I have Jaylen on mine, so I'll say Jaylen.
Let me hear yours, Riff.
I will say Jaylen Brown too.
So 1, I got D Mitch. 2, I got D Book. Ant is at 3. JB is at 4. Kyrie is at 5. Desmond Bane is at 6. I have Zach LaVine at 7. 8 is Mikal Bridges. 9 is Jalen Green. And number 10 is Cam Thomas.
Ain't no way you said Jalen Green is better.
My
Okay,
list,
it's Cam Thomas. You believe in him?
my
this
list is
year?
similar
Because
to
shooting
yours,
guard
Riff.
was so fucking tough to just find a shooting guard. I think those two
a lot
guys
of
are
these
like-
guys
yeah.
are tweeners, but I had Donovan Mitchell as the best shooting guard in the league. I have Ant-Man 2, D-Book 3, Jaylen Brown 4, Kyrie 5, Bane 6, Derek White 7, McHale 8, Levine 9. I have RJ Barrett as the 10th best shooting guard.
Cleveland, we've got Dehls.
Yo, RJ Barrett love. Respect.
Yeah, I mean,
What made you change your mind? Just quick question.
about
That's how you
who?
know this position's cooked right now.
Yeah, no, the back end is
Nah,
terrible.
Malik Monk was definitely consideration.
What made you change your mind when D Mitch at 1?
I think him as an offensive engine is a tier above all of these guys.
He fried Boston. He was moved.
A tier above
Yes.
Devin Booker.
Yes.
That is insane.
I think he's a tier above.
No, he's not.
I think
ain't
he's tier
gonna say
above as
that.
an offensive engine.
As a scorer, Devin Booker is better than Donovan.
That's not true.
I don't know.
Why?
That's not true.
Three level scoring. D
He's more
Booker,
versatile.
Donovan.
He's more versatile.
All right,
Devin Booker's more skilled than him.
All right, we're doing this again.
he's right.
I don't know.
I
Donovan
guess,
Mitchell, he's
like-
a 3-level scorer. I know Devin
He
Booker
is.
is too.
Uh-huh,
As a
he is.
playmaker,
Booker
I don't
averaged
think
6
it's that
assists.
different.
As a
Not
playmaker,
this past
I'm
year, but when he was
Mitchell
he was
averaged
close.
Mitchell averaged 7 when they lost
We
in
need
7
to
to the
Stop
Knicks.
bringing up assists when it comes to
I didn't say
playmaking,
that. Did I
'cause
say a
Westbrook
number?
led the league in
Did I say
assists
a
one
number?
time.
And Westbrook's an elite playmaker.
No, but he's no. Wait. Elite is a stretch. But
No,
Before
what?
we get into this-
Westbrook is an elite playmaker
Rave.
why is he elite?
because he gets great shot quality for his
He
teammates.
also turns the ball over at an
So is
insane
LeBron.
rate.
So he's not a great playmaker.
LeBron's a great decision maker. We know that.
Yeah. I think
And LeBron doesn't turn over the ball at the
Is
same
Trae
rate as
Young
Not
an
as
elite
Russ,
playmaker?
but he still has the most
great.
turnovers in
Is
NBA
Trae Young
history.
great.
So Trae Young is great, not elite.
I think I keep elite very restricted.
hold on.
So
Because I think
Russell Westbrook's a great playmaker,
Like,
not an
Who's
elite.
a
And
better
West-
playmaker, Tyrese Halliburton or Russell Westbrook?
Tyrese. But I think Tyrese is an elite playmaker.
I think it's
Like, that's the-
decision making with Russ. He's a great playmaker, but he has bad decision making.
No, it's horrible, especially in the playoffs. It gets objectively worse. Like it gets really,
Oh,
really,
that's
really
true.
bad. At least with Hallie, I know he's not going to turn the ball over. He's going to make the right decision every time with his passing. Like, but elite, I keep it like Chris Paul was elite. Like
Yep.
Jason Kidd was elite.
Yep.
Steve, now even Rondo was an elite passer. For
The
passer.
Rondo assist exists for a reason.
No, Rondo was an elite passer.
Why are you holding back from saying playmaker?
Because he wasn't a great scorer.
For
And
not
'cause
being
also-
a great scorer, he's an elite playmaker.
For
Hey, listen, we want to throw elite playmaker to him. I don't mind that.
Rajon Rondo's assist also, not saying he's not a great playmaker because he is, but his assist, there's a term Rondo assist
Yeah.
because his assists are very much schemed up.
I don't mind that. Some of Tyrese's are schemed up.
Yeah, I
I don't
know.
mind.
Not wrong with that. Get the ball
Westbrook
in your
also
best player's
schemes
hands
up
and go.
turnovers.
Yeah, but Westbrook
rude.
also generates good shot
He's
quality.
a system.
What was your
really,
top
really,
10?
really,
you
really
didn't give
inefficient
me yours.
Yeah, my
Is Ant number 1?
well, I was just stuck on this Westbrook thing. I mean, even
I
if he,
think he's great. I don't
I mean,
think he's elite.
I
I don't think
understand.
it's a
I
big
understand the
difference.
difference in tier you're trying to
Yes.
go for.
Go for it. No, it's what
and,
it is.
I mean, I know Chris Paul's a better playmaker than Russell.
No, it's a gap.
Easily.
No,
easily.
like significantly.
No, it's like a significant tier.
No, I know. I
Now,
think Chris
listen,
Paul is one
Westbrook
of the
was
best
great, but
playmakers
I
ever.
think in the playoffs, you're not saying Westbrook's an elite playmaker, like ever.
Early on in OKC, for sure I am. For sure. I
Okay.
am.
At his prime,
I mean, when he got hurt, the OKC Thunder lost
The
to
year
Memphis
he won
in 5
MVP
games.
was an elite playmaker. Like you gotta say yes.
he was great.
You gotta say, huh?
No, he was an
like
elite
saying
playmaker.
on
that
I just
year.
think you
Stand on
guys,
the
you
stand.
guys.
Nah, he is standing
That
10.
league is
Rave,
great.
don't be hard headed.
It's not being. it's something I disagree.
Listen, I
with.
know what
How
you're
is it being
saying.
hard?
I know what you're saying. I know
Like,
Is he
tell
an
me,
is he an
what-
elite playmaker outside of being a poor decision maker?
I mean, that's a big ass
That
thing.
is
Like I've seen him go to the basket, 3 people on him, and not pass it out. Like Westbrook is a very bad decision maker. Like
Sounds like Jordan.
like in shot diets and making the next pass over. He's not great at reading
But his
defense either.
turnover ratio is still 2-1.
No, listen. In
Jordan-
terms of stats, I'm not even talking about Westbrook's
11
stats.
assist seasons with 5 turnovers. And he turns the ball over a lot, but the volume he had the ball in was
2-1
insane.
assist turnover doesn't.
5
isn't
turnovers
elite.
is insane.
Yeah, that's a lot.
He also had the ball the entire game.
He did.
He does, and that's why I think it's unfair to Westbrook that he has the ball at a significant rate. But I don't think you can also look at his numbers to say he was an elite playmaker. I
Luka
think
is
it's
an
like
elite playmaker.
yes,
James Harden.
yes,
Okay, I know what you're saying.
Steph Curry.
no.
Who's a better playmaker,
Wait.
Russell Westbrook or Steph Curry?
Playmaker,
Who's
Steph.
a better playmaker?
Passer, it's close. Steph be bullshit. Steph be bullshit. But playmaker, it's Steph because when
Steph
you
has hot turnovers too.
no, that's what I said. Like passer, it's close because Steph, them little behind the backs be losing me
Who's
to
a better
throw it over.
playmaker, Draymond Green or Russell Westbrook? I knew this one would make him think.
They're in the similar tier.
Draymond's a great ass.
He is a great
He is.
playmaker.
Draymond's a smarter playmaker. He's not a better playmaker than Russ.
He's definitely better decision
When
maker.
you have a high IQ, that means the world in the playmaking
Draymond
world.
could never handle the type of load that
I
Russell.
wouldn't want either one of them to.
no.
Though.
No, what do you mean? Russell Westbrook had an MVP with that type of load.
And they lost in 5
Yeah,
games.
but he carried a team.
Rev,
I don't
to the
really
playoffs.
care about that.
I see the vision with Draymond though. Because he is so fucking smart. He
can make every pass
when
on the
have you
court.
seen Draymond make a bad decision
In transition.
outside of the
Choking
Grizzlies?
people out?
No,
Oh.
that too.
No, in transition.
But the Grizzlies when in the playing game after you guys lost to LA,
he has his faults
that he goes
for
up
sure.
for that stupid ass bullshit
He
layup.
made a terrible decision when he didn't pass it to Kevin Durant versus the Clippers, and that's what drove
was
KD
regular
out of the
season.
the team.
He has his bad moments, but Draymond is one of the smartest IQ passers in the league. Like he can read defense.
So you
as
think
well.
Rondo's a better playmaker than Russell Westbrook?
No, I said passer.
Okay, well,
Playmaker,
So
I
you
give it
think
to Westbrook.
Draymond's a better? So you think Russell Westbrook's a better playmaker than Draymond?
It's that scoring. I'll go Westbrook. Passer. Listen, but playmaker because you got to take into account the scoring.
Absolutely.
But even then, Westbrook as a high engine scorer, I get we love that triple-double year. I get we
He had it
love that
multiple times.
Yeah, I know. I get
Yeah,
that.
he
I
did
get
that
we
once, and
love
after that, people said,
what he
"Ah,
did
we're
with
straight."
that team. But Westbrook, he's a hard player to judge, man, because he's really inefficient. His turnovers are really bad. He really can't shoot the ball, but gives you high octane energy. You know, he can make good passes. He can be a good player.
getting out in
His
transition.
floor, like his floor raising is really good. Like I'm not gonna say it's not. It's really fucking good.
Yeah, look
But
what he did with Beal.
You're right. His floor raising is amazing. But when it comes to the playoffs, like it's really hard to really because he can get schemed up pretty easily.
Like, and I think there's two different tales for Russell Westbrook. There's the tale post KD when every playoff series for him was pretty much awful. When he played with KD, not every playoff series was awful for him.
No, I don't. That's good. He played with a high, efficient offensive player. That's his role.
He had his flaws. Don't get me wrong. He had
but he
his
wasn't
moments.
like he wasn't after.
But
what he
you
was.
look at the playoff game versus the Grizzlies when they came back and they beat them when Russ was healthy. Russ had some big time moments in that series.
But see, the triple double stuff came after KD, and that's when he was his worst.
I would still say that Russell Westbrook even then was a really great playmaker.
He was an elite playmaker his MVP season.
Sure, I'm no consistent because he elite playmaker in that stretch. I don't think you can confidently say yes.
season?
No, I said that stretch.
What do you mean
It's
by
like
that?
2 to 3 to 4 years. I don't think you can confidently say yes.
Didn't he average like 11 assists each of those years?
Once again, I don't care about assist numbers. I don't.
So John Stockton,
John Stockton
Doesn't
got
move you?
exposed low key.
because of
Fake stats.
No, but I think John Stockton's a great passer.
Russell's
One of the best.
MVP year, he was 5 turnovers, 10 assists.
Brother,
10
you're,
points, 10 rounding to 11.
10.4.
Okay.
you're legit getting 5 flat assists. Like you, but like that's. I just.
I mean, he averaged basically, high 4s to low 5s turnovers his whole career. That was actually
Yeah.
his highest turnover.
I mean,
Looked
listen,
like,
he has bad decisions, but
I mean, against the Lakers,
he does make
they
elite
was-
passes,
It was
though.
guarding him in the paint.
yeah,
Oh, I know.
Rockets him.
did average
Yeah.
32.
Huh?
Did average 32 was MVP year.
Oh no,
I mean,
32. Like fuck you want me to
Not
do?
get it.
His usage rate
Decision
like
making is
all-time
probably.
great.
I mean, is decision making not if one number 2 in terms of importance as a playmaker,
It's literally
like your passing
one of
skill,
the most
but
important
you
things
need to
as
be
a point
able to
guard.
if I'm
You need to
driving
be
down
able
the
to read
lane,
defenses.
someone helps. Someone's got to be
Like, do
there.
you think? Do y'all think? I'm asking you two because you guys are heavy on this elite thing. Do you guys think Westbrook can read defenses great?
Yeah, I do.
You think so?
I think that what he tries too hard to make very tough passes, and that gets him into trouble.
That's decision making.
Yeah, but the thing is
See,
with
I
Russ,
think Draymond does a better job than him. That's
thi-
I can't let go of that one.
the thing is with Russ is that yes, there will be occasional moments where he tries a risky pass and it does get turned over. But he also has moments where he makes that pass and it goes exactly as planned, and it's an
50,
assist.
It's a 50, but it's like you don't always like. That's like I see what you're saying.
Like Draymond doesn't try those type of passes as often
because he knows it's no need to.
but he also is in a system where it's a very safe.
fair point.
It's a very safe
I
system.
will say he's pretty amazing at that drive and lob, drawing that center.
I mean, he's
center-
in
center-
terms of
dribble
just
handoffs,
4-on-3. Draymond's the best in the game.
And I'm
at
not
that.
even talking about just dribble handles. I'm straight up talking. Draymond gets it top key, sees the defense, drives in, fakes, goes, center cuts in, he throws the lob. That's the easiest 2 points that you're going to have.
Yeah, I think Draymond is elite at reading a defender in front of him and making the correct play off of that.
Yeah.
But when a defense is set on him and he has to be the guy to consistently make
Nah, he's
decisions,
not doing that.
I could not see him do
I
that.
see what you
Yeah,
mean.
he's just too limited as a scorer.
That's really what it is. His limitations as a scorer. That's why I said passer. Like
All right,
passer.
top 10 shooting guards. Here we go.
All right, my top 10, I'm going to just go 10 to 1.
How the hell did we get here?
CJ McCollum was my number 10. I know he's a tweener, but DeJounte's with the Pelicans now, so CJ's probably playing a 2. I really wanted to put Devin Vassell in here. I think he could take a leap
had Devin Vassell,
to
yeah.
being
I
a top
forgot
10
Devin
shooting guard in the
Vassell.
league. At number 9, I had Zach LaVine. I just want to see how he comes back healthy, but he's easily the person that could move up the most in these rankings. Number 8 is Bradley Beal. I think even as third option, he had a really elite, efficient season for
You
the
have
Suns.
Brad and Book on here?
Bradley Beal and Booker?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
tough.
that's the thing. I had
They just
Brad
got
at
Tyus
3.
Jones.
No, yeah, I know. Oh, okay. So okay. I see what you're saying. You're saying
Yeah.
going into this year.
I mean, I still view them as shooting guards. And,
Yeah.
Well, with Tyus Jones, I feel like
One of them
he
might come off
really
the
can move
bench.
to the 3.
Yeah, one of them has to. Well, one of them is going to have to
One of
play
them's
that
coming off the
position
bench.
regardless. But I still, even after when the Suns play with them at the 2 or 3, I wouldn't label either of those guys as real
Yeah.
threes. Number 7, I got Mikal Bridges. I just think you can argue that Bradley Beal and Zach LaVine are kind of better in a vacuum, but I think for what Mikal brings, elite defensively, and also has shown he can score 20 in a situation that is kind of bottom dwelling, I'm gonna take Mikal Bridges.
I'm not gonna start.
Number 6
please not.
is Desmond Bain. Desmond Bain, we know what he
So,
is. He's an
I
elite
don't want to
shooter.
cut you off or nothing, but Derek White not a 2 to you?
No, he played point guard last year.
I agree. I thought he was the point guard. These guys, they said put him as a 2.
You know,
said, all right, I'll put him as a 2.
I had
I didn't
Derek White
have
as
Derek
point
White
guard.
on mine.
I know.
I put him as a 1.
Oh, shit. So it was just you.
I had him here.
Yeah.
I didn't want
I
to
got
add
led the wrong
2
way.
because I feel like
When we got out of the car, you said, yeah, he's a 2.
And I'll be transparent. if you want me to swap out
I would have
him
Drew.
and Drew,
no, because remember,
I'll put Drew in that spot.
remember we,
I
had,
feel confident.
we saw
in that.
Jaylen Brown log more minutes at 3, but we're like, fuck it, we're just gonna put him at the 2 because we've
Yeah.
been arguing about it.
And-
No, that's why I said I don't think we should have 2 Celtics.
But
That's
I do
weird.
think I think Derek White and Drew Holiday are both point guards. I think if Derek White
Mm-hmm.
was in any situation that wasn't the Celtics that kind of had a hole at point guard, he'd be starting. Like if he was on the Spurs, I think there's no question that he's the starting point guard.
Yeah,
and
I
leading
feel
you know
the
what I
offense.
think when we do forwards, just forwards, 3 and 4s, top 10.
Just we should have done like top 10 guards. Yeah. That would have been easier.
Because
All
it
right.
just makes it, you know.
What's your top 5?
So I have Desmond Bain, Kyrie Irving. I really wasn't going to put him as a 2, but Drew put him as a 2, and I kind of agree
put
with
him
that.
at
I
the
mean,
2,
he
yeah.
plays a 2
me
for
too.
the Mavericks. So I have him as the 5th best shooting guard. Number 4 is Jaylen Brown, right ahead of Kyrie, especially after the finals performance. And then the top 3, Devin Booker, Donovan Mitchell, Anthony Edwards. I think those are kind of in a tier of their own in terms of
Yeah.
the shooting guard rankings and the hierarchy. But I like Ant's two-way ability. I do.
If
So you have Ant. That 3-2-1 was your order.
Yes, Ant is
Okay.
number 1.
Who's 2?
I'm not mad.
Donovan Mitchell.
We're getting somewhere.
Yeah.
I'm not mad.
Devin Booker, if he playing back in his natural position this upcoming season, he could
Donovan can
easily
never
have
guard like
another
Booker.
Huh?
I'm
great
moving
season.
nasty with Devin Booker.
Donovan
like
has
he's the
guarded
greatest
like Booker
thing.
before. You forgot his first year?
First year.
I
What
mean,
year
if
are we in,
if
buddy?
he played on a team with 12 gunners, he could play some defense.
He's on the Cavaliers, who has a pretty good
Nah,
fucking
Donovan.
defense.
I think Devin
though.
Booker has a real argument because 2 years ago in the playoffs, he was locking
no,
up
for
on D.
sure. No, but Drew, look,
And Devin Booker's playoff run,
Was
not
insane.
this past
2
year, but
years
last
ago.
year,
I agree.
is better than what D-Mitch just did.
Yes.
Yes, it is.
Yes.
It is.
It is.
You talking about when he played Denver?
Yes.
And then he
And
played
the
he played
Clippers
before
in the first
And the
round.
Clippers.
Come on, no.
He was insanely efficient. I can't throw that out just because.
No, I'm not
that
throwing
run
it
was
out.
better. That run
I
was
think
better.
Donovan, he played better competition.
He played the Magic, great defense.
He
the
played two better
Celtics. Yep.
defenses.
I mean,
for
he
sure,
played what,
easily.
2 games of Boston.
3. Don't ever forget that. My only pushback is
2-1.
Donovan Mitchell can be a great defender if he played on the Olympic team.
But Donovan
He doesn't make
isn't the
first round.
greatest defender on an already
I think
great.
Well,
Devin
because he has to
Booker's-
do so much on offense.
Is Devin Booker not a better defender than Donovan Mitchell? I think that's pretty easy.
Yes,
That's
that's
fine.
Yeah.
He's probably, but he's not a bad one. He's probably the worst out the 3.
Him and
Yeah.
Ant, yeah,
Yeah, he's the
and
worst.
Book for sure.
Yeah, I mean, Ant is a great defender, so.
He's a
No,
horrible
RJ
off-ball
Barrett
defender.
love?
He's a great perimeter defender.
No,
Last
RJ
time we talked about
that's
off-ball, remember how I got you in
Man,
trouble?
Alex Caruso got no love.
They got you
I
in
was the
trouble
only one
with
that had
Jaylen
Malik
Brown.
Monk on my list. I was
Malik
surprised.
Monk would have
Don't
been 11.
disrespect Ant-Man.
Ant-Man is a terrible off-ball defender.
Oh, no, he has lapses.
He has playmaking issues sometimes too.
He's the
Young
worst
player.
playmaker
That
out the
really
bunch.
played
Yes,
well.
for
By
sure,
far.
for sure,
Like,
for
that's
sure.
Woo!
That isn't a
Yeah,
conversation.
he's the worst playmaker.
But he
out
showed the
bunch.
best defense this past year. On ball.
I mean, are we counting Devin Booker in the Olympics?
Trust me, I am.
Oh, because if we are,
I'm
then
not,
Against who? Yabusele?
no, on
We're
ball.
talking about competition.
Yeah, no, on ball. Edwards is the best on ball defender
Yeah.
out these 3. Like easily the best.
You think he's a better
defender.
on ball defender than Jaylen Brown?
No.
No, when Jalen's locked in, no. Not
Jalen's
at all.
easily the best defender if you want to group him with these guys.
Yes.
Easily.
No, yeah, Jaylen Brown's the best. He's also the worst offensive player.
Yes.
Depends.
No.
No,
It
it
does
doesn't.
not.
He probably is.
He
Love him
is.
to death.
He's the worst scorer too.
I saw what he did against Dallas.
He didn't
22
score a lot.
points a game?
He killed.
22 a night?
Yeah, he didn't score a lot.
Nah, he was good against Dallas, but
He was good. Yeah,
the
nobody say he's
other
not
three
good.
First
players
3
are-
games, he was averaging 26 points.
He's actually the only.
25.
Damn, I hate we have to get back to this,
Then
but he's
Tatum might
like.
save him in game 4.
Is Jalen Brown
Game
not
4
a
they
real
lost.
two-way player? Is
My
he
bad,
like the
game 5.
prime?
He's a real
He's a
two-way
real
player.
two-way player.
Yeah, because
Jalen
outside
Brown.
of scoring, he's not doing a ton for you offensively.
He's probably the only
He's
two-way
upgrade to
out
like a
these four
decent
guys.
playmaker. But
Well,
defense.
Anthony Edwards.
Low-key, we're cooking.
So this is your definition of two-way, the scoring and defense.
I mean, remember when we used to grow up? It was always we talked about two-way. It was literally just scoring and defense. It was never all that extra shit. Like so, that's how I viewed it. Like
No, the extra-
when we talk about Kawhi, we don't say, "Oh, Kawhi's all-around game is amazing." Nah, we really don't give a fuck about that. It's like
get a bucket and
go
get a
get a
stop.
bucket, Kawhi, and then go play defense. That's what has been.
But it's
his
also
mantra.
because he doesn't have another facet to his game
But
offensively.
yeah, that's why he's labeled as a two-way. Like when you're a two-way, it's like all-around players are all-around players. They get labeled.
So who's
that.
the best two-way player in the game right now? AD.
Yeah,
Maybe what about guards? Let's do guards.
Guards?
Because bigs, I feel like
argue Drew's up there.
Embiid.
Derek White's a two-way player, right?
he is. I think Jalen Brown's a
I
two-way
think he's
player.
a little bit of an all-around, low-key.
Is Ant a two-way player, or
Yes.
are we just disregarding
Right
or
now,
the-
his playmaking
Most
is
definitely.
first.
He is.
That's what we're saying. We're saying get a
Joel
bucket.
Embiid is the best. He's the best.
You can say that
You know,
too.
I will say this. I understand the definition that was used because I was talking to JC the other day. He came to my house and he was telling me, "Oh, when I grew up, you know, that's what I argued, scoring and defense." You know, he sided with what you said. I also think that just because something was defined as what it was for a long period of time doesn't make it the correct
Remember
definition.
playmaking? How it used to only just be passing? Playmaking for the longest was just passing. But now it's what can you do when you're passing, but also how are you also going to get a bucket? How are you going to create for your other teammates? The terms always evolve.
I just feel as if we're talking about two-way players and for defense, we're using every single facet of defense, off-ball defense, on-ball defense, interior defense, how you roam. We're using everything that you do as a defender, but then we're pigeonholing you on offense to just scoring. I don't know if that correctly
At that
defines
point,
two-way
what's
players.
the point of a two-way
No,
player?
because
if it's just
Jalen
your all-around
Brown
game, you know?
was always getting called a two-way because his on-ball defense and his scoring ability.
Paul George is a two-way player.
Yeah, but it was because his
But
on-ball.
he's a playmaker. He can play make too.
Yeah, but it never got like brought
It's
up.
like secondary to
Yeah.
his
And here's the
bucket
thing,
getting.
like, yes, every NBA player technically is a two-way player because they play both sides of the ball.
some.
But here's the thing, because I mean everybody
Cam
plays.
Thomas, fella, I don't know.
Here's the thing, everybody is technically a two-way player. That doesn't make you a good two-way player.
Yeah.
Because, for example, Steph Curry, offensively versus the defense, it's very one-sided.
Yeah.
So he's a two-way
I
player.
would call
He
him an
plays both
offensive
sides.
engine.
Yes,
Yes,
yeah.
but he's not a great or good one. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? But like, I just think we can't remove playmaking from the conversation when we're talking about offense as well in the two-way conversation.
No, I'm all for adding it, but I don't think we would like add like rim deterrence or no. When we talk about guards, it's really for guards. It's just like,
But that's because most can't do it outside like
yeah,
Derek
they're
White.
like mad small.
Like Dwayne Wade is a two-way player.
Yeah, but he also was one of the rare dudes that give you help side defense. Like,
Yes.
yeah, he's
But you would take that into account for him
what?
when you argue for D Wade.
Probably
against
now,
other
yeah.
player.
Before, probably not.
You would take into account his rim protection.
Yeah, but would you take his playmaking? Honestly, like we're thinking about it.
I don't think it was great enough to boost him up in a
Yeah,
conversation.
I don't think you would. If you talk about D-Wade, I don't think you're sitting there like, yeah, his playmaking was also
So
amazing.
the fact that we've talked about the epitome of two-way players, Michael Jordan, that's the definition of a two-way player. Created it.
And he was a great playmaker too.
Yeah, but no, that doesn't get brought up.
My point being is, if you really want to go by his definition, scoring the basketball, there was simply no one better. And then on top of it, defensively, he was a generational defender for the guard, right? Led the league in steals multiple times.
So do we just not have
DPOY.
two-way players now? Or just
No, it's all about
They're all around
evolving
being, like-
the work.
I mean, you are a two-way player. Like I think that a two-way player is just a player that plays offense and defense. That's it.
Yeah, when you go and you
At a high
create
level?
a player
Yes.
on 2K, if you have some level of defensive stats and you also have some level of offensive stats, they call you a two-way player.
two-way
Yeah, but I don't
slasher
think
or
we.
some
I don't
shit.
think when we
No,
like
we
when
do.
you're not good on defense, we're not calling you like we don't call you a two-way player. Like
Yeah, like
Steph
Donovan
Curry
Mitchell's not.
Facts.
lost.
No,
me.
I agree.
You
with
have
you.
to really start watching some Cavs ball. Oh yeah, but like Steph Curry, for example, like or James Harden, we don't
Yes.
sit there and be like they're
100%.
two-way player. No, they're offensive juggernauts that maybe
Luka.
like play Zinger.
No,
They're
I
like-
understand you. Like, and if you told me who's a better two-way player, Drew or Harden, I would say Drew.
Yeah.
You know, like Harden, he's
Yeah,
better offensively,
I use
but
LeBron James. I ain't give you no fucking regular degular.
I mean, you were kind of going crazy. I don't know.
No,
You
the
guys
Tim
are
Duncan
screaming.
stuff was
This
pretty
Tim Duncan
insane.
stuff was nuts.
Well,
I was
I
watching
watched-
2013 finals.
and
he was eating his lunch.
And I also watched
Shout
LeBron
out to
switch on to
OG.
Jokic.
In the Olympics.
No, in
Oh.
the
I thought you were
WCF
bringing it.
and in the first round.
I mean, LeBron James. It's just if he would not be able to hang with centers though. Like he just,
Not all
did
year.
it with Jokic, not in like the entire game.
I mean, that's
but you
kinda-
switch on. That was the whole point.
no. If he guards Jokic, Jokic is getting him 40
But if-
comfortably.
Again, I've watched him switch on to Jokic.
I mean, like for a
and
possession, he could do
Possessions, yeah.
well. But that's the thing is
that
like,
was my whole
But
point.
if you're not consistent
I agree
on it, how
with
can
you.
we give you that? You know?
But we should also not expect LeBron to be able to guard fives.
No, I don't. That's why I
no,
didn't even.
LeBron could guard 1 through 4 effectively.
Yes.
Because he can
Fives
only really
and
guard
sprinkled possessions.
like consistently. LeBron can guard a 5 like Jared Allen. That's the type of 5. Like he's not guarding Embiid on a consistent
Yeah,
basis.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
no,
it's
Embiid
just,
will give him 50.
No,
like-
I watched Embiid embarrass him.
yeah, like and it's no shame. Like Embiid is
No-
one of the
nobody's
best scorers.
guarding fucking
Yeah, you're
Embiid,
not like
no
not even
matter.
bigs could do
I mean,
it.
you're not asking Hakeem to guard Steph. If Hakeem guards Steph, Steph's
getting
getting
fried.
no, bro, it's
100.
quiet. Like,
But the fact that LeBron can even guard these guys in moments and spurts, that's insane.
I mean, I've seen.
Like LeBron picking up Jokic in his prime at the age of 39 years old is in fucking sane.
How many possessions of that though? Like 1 out of 5.
Did
He's
Joker
able to
score
really
in
do
every
something?
possession?
No.
Oh, okay.
That we were better down the stretch with LeBron
Oh, AD was
on
help side?
Yeah, and that shit embarrassed the fuck out of me.
That made sense though.
Yeah. When you have AD as a helper.
He
No, but
can't-
if AD is fucking playing one-on-one defense with Jokic, he should do a better job than
I mean,
LeBron
it's
James.
just- but he's bigger. The
he
Joker
did,
is
though.
bigger.
And Jokic
Yeah,
is just one of the best
no,
offensive
Jokic
players
embarrasses AD every time.
I mean, I told you.
Everyone's got
a,
everyone's got their number.
No,
Someone's
but
got
Jokic is
someone's
stronger than him. That's why it is about strength.
I mean, AD, he's long, he's athletic. He just
Jokic
Like
just
you,
got
who
that,
do you
like,
think stronger,
dad
LeBron
weight.
James or AD?
number. Stronger? I would think
LeBron.
AD.
No, it's LeBron James.
think
You would
LeBron
think
is stronger.
AD.
You
like
because
AD
he's
should.
bigger.
Yeah.
But he's not because LeBron James is so fucking strong.
Do you think it's signed and sealed that Giannis is stronger than LeBron?
Now,
I think
Giannis
Giannis
is
is strong.
Yeah.
He's fucking
I
crazy,
think
bro.
peak, it's a conversation. I still think it's Giannis.
I think Giannis.
Because I've seen Giannis against the
Struggle.
Lakers before the
I've
bubble.
seen it.
No,
Talk.
I've seen
LeBron looked like a
Embiid.
Stonewall.
I've seen Embiid guard Giannis very fucking well, like extremely
Yes.
well.
I've seen
No,
Al
LeBron.
Horford lock him
LeBron
up.
does not give up to Giannis. I just think Giannis.
Giannis is
Because he doesn't
game-
have a jumper.
Yeah,
he's
exactly,
he's
yeah.
tall and he's fucking
So
strong.
if you're just like you're just gonna run through me, if you're
It's not
strong,
gonna work against
you're gonna
LeBron.
have a good chance. Yeah.
that's why LeBron, the ability to fucking dribble, it just made him the
Yeah,
next
but
level.
now when you
bro.
have like an actual legit like post game and you have moves to your arsenal, it makes it a little bit more difficult.
For sure.
Because now you have to watch. I can
That's
hit you
why
with the
fucking
spin.
Jokic got everything.
can you
He could-
imagine if Giannis developed a fucking post
He
fade?
should get in the
I
lab.
feel like he should have been did that. Where's your jumper? It's been 5 years. What's going on?
He doesn't
get
need
better.
it.
No, he does.
No, he doesn't.
He does.
He's a
This,
top two
R,
player
this
in the world.
RB
top
dive
two player
shit
in the
can't
world.
last forever.
No,
You know
like
what I'm
it
saying?
literally
really
won't.
can't.
Like I'm
right,
telling
stop
you.
him.
No, like no,
Stop him.
People have in
Yeah.
the playoffs.
In the playoffs.
Oh yeah, when they put 3 on him.
Remember when he had 8 turnovers against
Remember
the
when he
Heat?
won an NBA championship?
Remember when he blew a 3-2
Bubble.
lead? to the
Remember when he
Celtics?
had bubble?
And then also, Katie's foot was
What
on
are
the
you
line.
talking about?
Katie's foot was on the line.
Oh, and Bam locked him before. Actually, multiple times. Now that I'm thinking
He
about
has.
Now Bam definitely gets
Is
him
Giannis not the easiest superstar to guard?
it. It's Tatum, dude. You fucked
Yeah,
yourself. You fucked
he's a
yourself.
superstar.
Is he? Yo, he should honestly stay out of this conversation, buddy.
You did.
Stay out of this
So Tatum's a
conversation,
superstar.
buddy.
I mean, he's top 10. Yes.
All right.
I
You
mean,
guys, you guys
who's
never
hard-
called him a superstar before,
Who's
so I'm
harder
here
to
for
guard,
it.
Luka or Giannis?
It's easily way harder is Luka.
It's Luka.
Luka, nobody can guard Luka.
No
you
one.
can try Herb.
I've seen
you tried
Jalen Brown
Jaden.
lock him up. I've seen Al
Okay,
Horford
I'm
lock
sorry.
him up.
Okay, I'm sorry. But for the majority purposes, what we've seen over the past 4 years, you can try anything. It really doesn't work against Luka.
Who's harder to guard, SGA or Giannis?
I think SGA.
You gotta.
I'm going
I'll
with
go
Giannis.
You think he's harder
There's
to guard?
only 2 players more unstoppable. 3.
Who's easier to scheme against?
Oh, that
That's
part?
different.
Oh, Giannis.
Does it-
Giannis has the easiest
And
game
like
plan
in like a
book.
playoff
No,
setting?
to guard. Okay,
You have to have the
scheming?
personnel.
Here's the thing: we just schemed up Giannis, right? We just did
But we
it.
don't- if we
That
don't have the
was kinda
personnel, we can't
easy.
do it. Yeah,
We
we
just
can't do
did
it.
it. It was easy. Yeah, well, let's go actually do it. That's where it gets difficult.
Unless you're the Miami Heat, nobody's able to has been able to
Philly can do it.
consistently scheme up against Giannis. In the
You
playoffs.
you literally need 2 brick walls down low to stop Giannis. No one consistently has been able to do it.
I think SGA struggles a little bit with Herb.
There's 2 players that are more 3. Like I said, apologize. Jokic, Luka, and it depends on the day. Joel Embiid.
Is Steph easier to guard?
Probably not.
That's the hardest.
Is
player
LeBron
guard in
easier
the
to guard?
brother. Then who's Giannis?
Giannis.
Steph can shoot from everywhere. You have to guard him when he gets the ball at half court.
I mean,
LeBron is
Giannis
LeBron.
is an amazing passer too. Like I feel like that part of his game does
LeBron
not
has a
get
jump
credit.
Brother, I'll be honest. If Giannis is passing, I'm good.
Yeah.
Like I want that.
No,
I want that.
But my point being is he has a capability. Like Embiid, for a while, his issue
if
was
I'm
that he
gonna- I'm
couldn't
gonna
pass
send
out
two
of a
at the
double.
ball always. I want you.
That's
I
what
want
I'm
others
saying.
to beat you.
But Giannis at the minimum is really good in a double.
I
That's
agree.
kind of why I give him
But it's
some
like
props in that.
he's so secluded to just scoring inside the paint, like or inside like the under the
Bron
mid
shot
range.
40% from three. If he has to go down and get a bucket, it's really difficult to stop him still.
Okay, but it's
And him with the
again,
ball, he can pick you apart from everywhere.
I understand that Giannis's game is not sexy.
It's limited. Also,
He cannot be stopped.
he's been stopped.
His field goal percentage is always high 50s.
That's a lie. Look at Miami.
For the regular season, it's always high
Oh,
50s.
I'm talking about the playoffs. That's
He,
what we're.
he averaged over 30 points. Wasn't it 30 and 60?
No, against who?
Just for the regular
In the
season.
regular season, these great players. They
He
could be
shot,
great.
so the last 2 years, in 2021, 2022, that's when he lost to Boston, EFG 50%, against Miami 53%.
All
The 2
no
years
freeze.
prior, he was 60% and 58%.
Okay.
Though. But the
no
last
freeze.
2 years, I mean,
He's
shit.
been hurt the last 2 years.
Against Boston, he was hurt.
No,
he was played
against
12 games
Boston.
that run.
No, he
Against
Middleton
Boston, he had a
was hurt.
shitty game
Middleton
7.
was hurt, yeah.
But
But
he had-
he
but
played
Ya-
3 games against Miami. so-
Giannis had 40 in that game 6 in Milwaukee and lost when Jason Tatum remembered that, or when he was good.
Yeah, that's fair.
And that's going to do it for this episode of Pick a Side Podcast, episode 401. Make sure to follow us on Twitter at Pick a Side Pod, on Instagram and TikTok at Pick a Side Podcast. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you guys next time.